conference, of course, his introductory press conference as the new offensive coordinator, and stuff, of course, that's who he is, and I actually think some of his press conferences can be fairly entertaining when you consider how some of the other coordinator type press conferences go. He's a fun person to listen to, and he seemed immediately just to be genuinely thrilled to be back in Kansas City. Like, if you have video element, I know yesterday you were listening on the station, but if you go back and watch the video element of his, you can see generally how excited he was. He mentioned that he had just driven back in town from Chicago like overnight, or at least late 2 nights ago, to get set and get back here. I thought the part that was most telling, and we can play some cuts from it if you want here too, was he acknowledged that here's what I learned, perhaps while I was gone, and some things when I was in D.C. with the Commanders, and knowing, hey, you got to match your talent that you have there and all that, which I think is really important. He also said, though, look, at the end of the day, there's one of his phrases, at the end of the day, EB is going to be EB. And
I think that's why they hired him.
That's exactly, that is exactly what you're expecting. And, of course, with that is being a disciplinarian, being a hard ass, frankly, and holding people to an extremely high standard. That's the number one asset. We've talked about, would you have brought him back in or not, all that. But the one thing everybody, no matter what side of it you're on bringing him back, that's the biggest part in maybe the run game as well.
The run game. He'll help the running backs be better.
But making sure everybody is giving max effort, not lazy in their routes, that kind of stuff. Again, we're not talking about they're going to be less penalized. They were penalized when he was here. The part is, are they going to be lazy with their assignments? Are they going to be allowed to not do something at a high level? Not with him around, you're not going to be able to half-ass it.
Because he's here, and we're no longer discussing the OCs we would prefer to have. He's the offensive coordinator. I'm going to choose to look at the strengths and figure out if there's a way that makes the Chiefs better this year. One of those is what you mentioned, right? He's the motivator. He's not going to let you get lazy. Now, I'll point out, and I don't know, till I'm blue in the face, that does not mean penalties. If you expect this team to be penalized less, we've already run the numbers on this show. That ain't happening. What we're talking about is like just general accountability and lazy routes, things that don't show up in a stat book, but that people know exist. Fighting for a football if you're Xavier Worthy, making sure you're studying the tape, the things that just don't exist. What I heard, though, is a guy who did at least, and this is probably the best thing, I needed him to leave and learn some new stuff. Like, I wanted him to take time outside of Kansas City and figure out some things about how Ben Johnson runs his offensive scheme. Because what I'm hoping for is in time in Washington, which is not, that offense wasn't a far departure from the type of offense they run here in Kansas City. But Detroit's is. Chicago's is, sorry. That's a departure. Mm-hmm. That's different than the style of offense that they've been running in Kansas City. The run sets are different. The blocking scheme is different. I'm hoping he can take some of those little adjustments directly into this scheme.
He was asked what he did learn, though, when he was in D.C., when he was in Chicago, or even his time briefly out in UCLA.
Because I've had an opportunity to learn a few things and obviously open up my mind just to how to view things from a different point of view. And it's great. But on top of that, we got to make sure that we're getting down to what is best for us when it's all said and done with. So, yes, anybody can present an idea. But more importantly, we need to make sure, first and foremost, that we're taking a look at anything that we need to continue to improve upon or continue working with, and making sure that we're getting all the answers first with that, and then just figure out what do we need to go from there. But it's day one. We'll figure all that out at some point in time. But I will say this, I'm fired up and excited just to have this opportunity to be in the building and just having these discussions.
Look, I do think he's excited to be back, and you can hear that. And I do think that there's something, too, because the players do like him, especially Travis Kelce and some of these others. I do think there's something to Gold, like it can provide a, not long-term, it's not going to solve all their problems, but it can provide a short-term boost in morale, right? Like he can bring the guys back, like, all right, our guy EB's back. I will say, Travis keeps talking about having him excited to be back in the building. He keeps talking about being excited to work with Mahomes and Kelce again. I'm assuming that's just general coach speak, and I shouldn't just assume that means Travis Kelce told everybody on the team he's coming back, but it is interesting to hear the players that he worked with before.
Yeah, no, I will say how many guys, though, are left that he has worked with. You're right. I think for the key leaders, Kelsey and Mahomes, but wide receiver room, the only other.
Did he work with Pacheco even?
But Pacheco's not going to be on this team next year.
No, I know. Well, I don't want to rule out. He tried to get Kareem Hunt in Chicago, according to reports.
Yeah, I'm just saying, most likely, by the time we get to training camp, how many guys worked with EB in the prior stint? And if Kelsey's back, it's Kelsey. It's Mahomes. It's none of the wide receivers. Rice was post EB. Worthy obviously was post EB. Jalen Royals post. Unless they bring in somebody that's a Tyquan Thornton with no connection to Eric Bieniemy in terms of his previous stint. Yeah. Offensive line, I guess Creed was a rookie. At that point in time.
Trey, he would remember those guys.
I guess what I'm getting at is the key pieces, yes, but the rest of 3 years in the NFL, rosters turn over, man.
I say it's going to be a rude wake-up call week 1 of training camp when EB is. Because if you've ever, I don't know, I guess I've sat probably a little bit closer because I've been to some of the not public ones for OTAs or these mini camps or these other things. I'm just telling you right now, it's not like something we just say. Eric Bieniemy, when sitting on a practice field, he can be heard. Eric Bieniemy stays
true.
on your ass.
That is true.
Okay?
That is true.
He can be heard. This is not just a thing that we say or a behind closed doors thing. You notice Eric Bieniemy, making sure people are on top of it. His coaching style is apparent from a public perspective. And you've been to a training camp, I'm sure you've seen it too. Not you, just in general, if you've been to a training camp. But in those OTAs and in those meeting rooms, he really does, through force of will even sometimes, make sure that people actively work towards that accountability. I'm just trying to decide because I don't want to pretend like there's one thing or another. Mitchell Schwartz was on the show yesterday and gave a lot of really good insight, and I trust his opinion, and he says EB will still be. I think the way he put it, and I think this is a really good way of putting it, he said, of the options that were actually available, this is a great hire. In the sense that Mitchell Schwartz had also advocated online that he thinks Mike McDaniel would have been an excellent hire for Kansas City. But he's saying, of the people who are actually coming to Kansas City to be the offensive coordinator, who are a scheme fit and for what they need, he's like, EB fits those things. It might not be the ultimate guy if you could just have your dream scenario OC candidate of any available person who coaches in the NFL. Sure, Sean McVay can come in and be the OC. But he's talking about, of the guys available who are going to take the job, EB's a great fit.
He's saying that for Kansas City, EB's a much better fit than he would be anywhere else. Because, again, nobody else was calling EB to be the offensive coordinator.
No.
But his argument, it sounds like, is that for Kansas City, EB just fits. Would EB work in LA with the Chargers? Probably not necessarily, right? Where Mike McDaniel is going, for example. So I guess I could hear that argument if we think it is just as we're going to find out as the year gets going. Is it just as simple that they need more discipline and they needed somebody with a bit more knowledge in the run scheme? I think it's more of a combination of things. I think it's that. What I'm really excited about is Chad O'Shea as the wide receiver coach, and then they just brought in 2 new quality assistant guys. You're like, why does that really matter? Well, both have wide receiver backgrounds. They are clearly all in on development at the wide receiver position. Yeah, we will get to that later. You brought up Mitchell Schwartz before we pivot. Do want to play what he said to CDOT yesterday, though, because Carrington asked him about what Eric Bieniemy does as a non-play caller, because we know ultimately Andy Reid is still calling the plays.
Yeah, it's still a very large role. That is something that when these teams are hiring coaches, if they're hiring guys who are coordinators, the question is always, is he going to call the plays, whether it's offense or defense? Because now they're juggling 2 roles. If you're doing all the same OC responsibilities and the head coach responsibilities, that's difficult for someone who hasn't done it before. On game day, I feel like people have talked about kind of the chain of command, the way coach calls plays is he'll kind of give the concept to the coordinator, and the coordinator will be the one in Pat's ear who's actually delivering the play, which is different, I think, than what most other OCs or head coaches. I think, it's McVay and Stafford's ear. I think we've all seen that clip of Stafford talking to his huddle and McVay's in his ear, and he's like, man, this guy's going on and on. But that's not going to be Coach Reid and Pat's ear. It's passed down to the offensive coordinator, whether that was Nagy or EB, and so he's the guy in Pat's ear. Throughout the course of the week, you're still doing all the game planning stuff. You're still trying to figure out the best way to attack the defense. Again, if EB's got a different slant than Nagy, where Nagy might be more pass game heavy, being a former quarterback in that world, and EB's a little bit more run game or play action or protection heavy, then as they're game planning, he can maybe add a couple nuggets here that is more to a specialty.
So there's from someone that played in Kansas City, that knows how the operation is run. We've always had this back and forth with some people at times, I think even on the text line about like who's calling the play and all that. There you go. You just heard the exact process. If you don't believe how we described it, that's from a player describing it. Andy Reid is still ultimately calling the play. EB is the one that is calling it in. That's how the breakdown works.
Yeah, and look, we've explained this before because there was somebody maybe on the text line like 2 months ago be like, I watch him physically. My seats are very good. Humble brag. He didn't put the humble brag part, but that's what it was. My seats are very good. They're at the 50-yard line, and I see Eric Bieniemy talking and Patrick Mahomes nodding his head. I'm like, yes, I understand that. I also got to say that for a system that is for a Chiefs system that I think has a very clear operational effort that goes the same, and they're very clear, and they have rules. Why the hell, when you were on a shot clock, essentially, to get to the line of scrimmage and call a play, do you do it that way? If you've already said the words out loud what the play are to everyone else, just say it to him. This is a really small thing, and the Chiefs are one of the few teams who do it.
It works, though, for that. Like, for Andy, this is how he's done it, and it clearly works.
I just think,
like it does. I mean,
time management-wise, wouldn't Patrick Mahomes be better served stepping up to the line of scrimmage with a few more seconds to diagnose?
That's just how he's done things, and it's been very successful for him in his NFL career as a head coach. I get what you're saying.
It'll be one of the. It's funny because and there'll be other things to watch, but those first 6 weeks, EB will be a big part of the story because if the offense is no better, then we're going to really start getting into the Andy versus EB versus who he brought in and all this other stuff.
It'll be interesting, but I disagree with how much it'll be on EB. As I said when he got hired, EB is in a great spot. He's in a no-lose spot. If the offense struggles the first month, and we also don't know if Patrick Mahomes is available week one, that changes some of the conversation. But let's say Mahomes is ready week one. If there's offensive struggles, I don't think people are going to be saying, oh my gosh, EB didn't fix it. People are going to be saying Andy Reid didn't adjust. It'll be way more on Andy at that point. I actually think it's a really, really good spot for EB. He'll get a ton of credit if the offense fixes itself this offseason and he helps it. If the offense is average again, people aren't going to be pointing at him.
I just think that he'll be a part of the story in the early stage, especially if they change a little bit. What's crazy, though, I don't disagree. Because I'm as guilty of, when we describe the who gets credit in this offense, I'm guilty of it because I think there's some truth to it. So, for instance, they walk in and what we talked about yesterday, the Chiefs changed their offense a little bit. We'll talk more about it now. They changed their offense a little bit and they throw more under center, like you mentioned with Drake May. I'm going to credit Andy Reid for changing that.
Absolutely.
I don't know what to say.
Yeah.
I'm not saying EB can't have an influence, but that's not where I'm giving EB the credit. EB gets the credit for more disciplined running backs, more disciplined wide receivers, and more accountability. Those are the things I'm holding him to. Now, I was thinking about the reinvention of the offense because I think there's a big swing player this year, and we know that. It's Travis Kelce. But what I was thinking about as it relates to Travis Kelce is, do the Chiefs, does Andy Reid, does Patrick Mahomes, do they know how an offense works without an elite level tight end? Have they considered how their offense functions without a pass-catching tight end who has led their offense for the last 7 or 8 years? Do they remember what that's like? Does Andy remember what it's like to have Brent Selleck or something in Philly? Because Travis Kelce doesn't even miss games. Their entire offense has been predicated on the idea that we can operate with a pass-catching tight end. So I kind of feel like more than ever, more than just the who do we draft, they kind of need to know where Travis is leaning immediately because I think you have to change your offense even more if Travis Kelce isn't a part of it.
And they'll know before the league year starts. So, and their actions will also speak to how much they're willing to pivot from that. Meaning, if Travis Kelce were to decide to retire, although the way things are trending, I don't know if many people expect that to be the case, but let's say he did, then if they were aggressive, if they were aggressive in free agency and went and signed somebody that is viewed as the top available tight end, although Kyle Pitts I think is going to get franchise tagged. You know my feeling on him anyway. Yeah. But let's just say people want Kyle Pitts. If they were aggressive and signed him, or if they spend the top draft pick on the Sadiq kid out of Oregon, well then that's pretty telling that post Travis Kelce they still feel like we have to have a dynamic tight end because that is part of our scheme. If Kelce retired and they did not attack it in that way, then it actually would signal to me that they are shifting how they're going to operate their offense. Now, no matter what, whether Kelce's back or he retires, I've said this, I think you agree for the most part, is the offense cannot run through Travis Kelce at this point in his career.
He can be a key factor in it, but I would prefer he is not the leading wide receiver. I think they've made strides to shift away from that with Rice. He's just not on the field enough.
Right, and he missed the first 6 games with the suspension.
Yep.
Travis Kelce, to me, had far too many targets for, if you're talking about the entire body of the offense to get back to where you want to be at his stage of his career. It's not that he can't be effective. Again, you're going to look at the counting stats and say, what are you talking about? This is not the ridiculous national narrative, is he washed or not? That's not what I'm saying at all. He obviously is not washed. I am saying in 2026, their offense, he cannot be a 110 target guy. That means your offense is not flowing right, or guys are just completely not available.
But, like, what are they when, like, any tight end doesn't get that? Like, let's just say Travis Kelce's gone. The leading tight end's going to get like 50 targets. What the hell are they offensively when they don't have a tight end who's just free all the time?
They have more explosive running backs. They have wide receivers that are obviously more explosive and capable of winning in one-on-one. Like, whether you think they don't have the personnel or it goes back to the coaching element, we're going to find out here pretty soon. I think a lot of it is you're more explosive in the backfield, so that's how you make up for some of that.
I think
that does not mean hand the ball off a ton more. That just means that you guys know that when
the running backs again,
when you do hand the ball off, they're more explosive, or you utilize them in the passing game.
That I think actually is the argument to take Jeremiah Love with the 9th overall pick. If you're in that position where you need the explosion, you're like, we have to get somebody, then Jeremiah Love is the guy. That's the reason you take him at 9.
You don't think, and I agree with you that he's explosive. You don't think, though, that they could just do that through free agency and cost way less in terms of capital that they would give up by signing a Breece Hall or somebody else, and then utilize your other picks for other needs? Like, I agree with you.
From
Jeremiah Love is
standpoint,
explosive.
I would take Jeremiah Love over.
How many carries has Breece Hall been having recently?
It's just, I just think that they're,
Because I think
if Travis Kelce doesn't come back, I think they have to go through like a revamp. Like right now, I think they could just
tight end position or just in general in offense.
On their entire offense has been predicated on the idea that the tight end gets open, that the tight end is an elite level pass catcher. Like, what do you do offensively when that is just not true anymore? When it's just Noah Gray or some other dude.
I mean, because we've talked about, like, Noah Gray would be a normal, average, solid tight end if Travis, based on the averages, and then he would get an uptick if he was the guy. Like, he wouldn't be Travis Kelce, but he would be solid. I think that's where you can convince yourself to take Jeremiah Love at 9, or you can take a wide receiver at 9 and just pass on the edge guy if you think that it's that big of an issue if Travis Kelce's gone. If it's that big of a problem, then I think you absolutely talk yourself into taking wide receiver or running back at 9.
913-586-7965 from the 816. Someone says, "Hey, I don't think it's telling that they want to continue to run the offense through the tight end. Today's game uses the tight end more than ever. Why not have another weapon out there?" Well, I'm not anti using a tight end. I'm saying I don't think you want 37-year-old tight end being everything your offense runs through.
He is better than just about 4 guys in the league still. I'm like, how many tight ends are you for sure willing to say today are better than him?
Yeah, not many, Cody, but I would say, again, 110 targets to get to, like, he had 800 something yards. It took 108, I think was the number we looked it up the other day. Yeah, targets to get to that amount. And I'm saying that I think you need to be a little more. I would rather have a tight end, frankly, at this, if we're talking about just looking ahead in the future, a tight end that honestly is a 700-yard guy that is getting 30 less targets than that or whatever it may be, and I'm having a wide receiver that's a 1,200-yard wide receiver instead. I think you're more explosive in that way. Travis Kelce, absolutely this year, if he's on the team, is going to be a part of the offense and can have a 700-yard season or 600-yard season. I'm saying I don't want him getting 110 targets because that means to me you're limiting your offense overall, the explosive nature.
I guess I just would ask the question to Andy, which is, and maybe this is a better question for someone who builds an entire scheme. Do you have to change a lot of what you do if one thing that has been fully a constant in your offense for a decade isn't there anymore? As in, we have a better pass catching tight end than anyone else. We get to operate different. We get to move people different. We get to use people different. Patrick Mahomes in scramble situations gets to do things different. Like, do you have to completely change it, or you just keep running the same thing and hope Noah Gray catches it? You throw it to him less, but you hope he catches it more.
You definitely have to adjust the offense. But again, I think that's what makes this draft fascinating is you have a playmaker that might be available for you to take at 9 in Jeremiah Love, but you also need a passer. I think that's what makes this draft fascinating is if Travis Kelce retires, then you definitely have to really survey your options to the point that you're making, Cody. And even if Travis Kelce returns, do you take a playmaker to try to help the offense out this season?
Yeah.
I think that's what makes this conversation when, I think if everybody had their way, it would be Travis Kelce returns, they pick an edge rusher at 9 and hope that they can get somebody in the second round offensively that can help them and be a little bit more dynamic. But I do think there's an argument based on what you were talking about that you take the most elite player on offense that can help right away. The problem with that, though, is you risk passing on an edge rusher that could be a guy that you could use immediately and could be a double-digit sack guy, and we all agree that that's probably the biggest need for them on this team. It makes it an interesting conversation.
Yeah, I'm
And then
curious
what do they
to
do in
see
free agency and all the other stuff?
week one, how they work under center, out of shotgun, not out of shotgun. And look, all of this is predicated on the idea that Travis Kelce wouldn't be back. If he's back, Gold, then we can just agree. They can use him the way they use him now, just less. Like, you don't have to change anything about how you operate. You still have a high-level tight end for the same reason I just mentioned. There are legitimately maybe 5 tight ends, I am sure, are more capable than Travis Kelce today. And they are just like Warren, Bowers. I mean, it's such a short list. I don't even know if I'd put Loveland ahead of him yet.
No.
He wasn't in the regular season. He was in the postseason, I guess. Pitts? I don't even think I'm not comfortable saying that. So is it 2? There must be somebody else I'm just not thinking about.
The question on Noah Gray, too, are you guys confident? Look, a year ago, we would have had a much different feeling. I think this past year was really, really concerning and disappointing about where he's at. A year ago, as a number 2 tight end, he had 48 catches for 437 and 5 touchdowns. You're like, okay, number 2 tight end, that's this year. And I understand the whole offense was a mess, but they weren't dead last. They were still an average offense. He had 21 catches for 178 yards. I mean, just fell off a cliff.
Yeah,
it was his worst season since his rookie year.
Trey McBride, Cody's the other one.
Trey,
Trey McBride might actually be the best tight end in football right now.
Yeah. Bowers, if he'd stayed healthy, kind of seemed like he was barreling towards that, but Trey's the actual
The
answer.
only running back, somebody said, you take a running back in free agency and draft a D lineman. If you are going to take a running back in free agency, the only one that I think is better in terms of carrying playmaker status better than Jeremiah Love or as good as him is Breece Hall. That's the only one. There's no. I know that Rico Dowdle had a great season. I'm taking Jeremiah Love.
ETN was a top 10 pick. Does he not have that kind of playmaking ability?
Not like Jeremiah
I'm not even
He was
arguing.
a top 10 pick. All I'm saying.
I'm not even
understand.
arguing about who's explosive. I mean, Jeremiah Love, there's no debate. Like he's an extremely explosive player. I just think at number 9, is that where I want to spin a running back? We've kind of had this conversation. I'm sure we'll have another 20 times before we get to Pittsburgh at the end of April when we're out there for the draft. But like, if I'm picking running back at 9, he has to be immediately a top 3, 5 worst case scenario back in football.
And I think they have to use him like that and not be scared to use him.
For sure.
They weren't when they had Kareem Hunt.
That's definitely part of it. I also just think fundamentally, now we don't know what they're going to do in free agency. This all changes. I mean, Drew would agree as well. I mean, if they sign Breece Hall, well, then obviously they're not taking Jeremiah Love at 9. Duh. It goes without saying. But same thing with the defensive line, and I think that's the number 1 priority. If they don't do really anything other than some minor signings in free agency on the defensive line, well, then I will firmly be in the camp of defensive line, whether we're talking about the 2 names at the top and Bailey and Bain, or we're talking about Peter Woods or whoever. As the combine happens, there'll also be other names that emerge and move up the list and all that. So it's interesting, though, for sure. All right, up next, let's pivot a little bit to baseball. We had the Royals general manager, J.J. Picollo, join us. Earlier in the week, we asked him about the Dodgers, the spending, and what does that do for baseball, and what would happen if you had a cap or a floor. And I thought his answer was really interesting about the American League Central. We'll do that. Plus, we got an update on the Hall of Fame voting and had local ties with the whole Belichick vote. That's next.
Watch Cody and Gold on YouTube by subscribing to the 96.5 YouTube channel. Cody and Gold is brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
At Kansas City Proton Institute, we're delivering the future of cancer care with state-of-the-art proton therapy right here in KC. If you have breast, head and neck, or brain cancer, proton therapy may be a better treatment than conventional radiation. Don't wait. Get your second opinion at Kansas City Proton Institute. Come see Kansas City's largest, most experienced, and most advanced proton therapy team. Learn more at kcpi.com. Kansas City Proton Institute, where you see the best in KC.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
ZipRecruiter. My name is Whitney Allen. I am a widow. My husband Ryan died. We never thought in a million years we'd have to use life insurance. The unexpected happened. With Ethos, it is so fast and easy. It's 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage through Ethos.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio.
Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Never have I ever called my sister from the finish line of my first marathon.
Hello?
You won't believe where I am.
Are you running?
Mile 26. I'm gonna make it.
Switch to T-Mobile's 55 Plus plan and get iPhone 16e with its advanced camera system on us. Plus 2 lines for just $30 a line.
Guys, I can't believe it.
I knew you could do it, babe.
That was amazing. Mom, how do you feel?
I feel great. I can't feel my feet. Let's take a picture, and then you may carry me to the car.
Share every stride, every mile, every memory on America's best network. Switch to T-Mobile's 55 Plus plan and get iPhone 16e on us and 2 lines for just $30 a line.
With 24 monthly bill credits and 2 eligible port-ins on Essentials 55 Plus for well-qualified customers with autopay plus taxes, fees, and $35 device connection charge. Credits end and balance due if you pay off early or cancel. Contact us. Finance agreement 128 gigabytes, $599.99 required. Best mobile network in the U.S. based on analysis by Ookla of Speed Test Intelligence data 1H 2025. Visit T-Mobile.com.
Chiefs coverage sponsored by Renner Garage Door. RENNER forward and back.
Hey, it's almost Andy Reid. Who knew a Halloween costume would change my life and lead me to Renner Garage Door? Renner's KC's go-to team for service, repair, and replacement.
RENNER. RENNER.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the DM Injury Law Studios. Mike's got this.
Car, truck, or motorcycle wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
816-888-7500. Mike's got this.
Coming up in about 10 minutes, we will get back into the NFL Hall of Fame. We all know yesterday the big topic around Bill Belichick, not a first ballot Hall of Famer, and we were saying people are trying to track down who were the, as everybody has coined it now, which it actually is kind of funny, the Belichick 11. Who are the Belichick 11? That's what everybody's calling, which is ridiculous.
I know one person who won't be calling him that. Me.
Yeah. Have you guys not seen, though? I'm not making that up. That's what people, this is not me phrasing it that.
Belichick 11.
People have been calling it the Belichick 11.
Making it sound like
I know.
It's like a newspaper headline is what that actually is.
That's the point. People have been calling it that. Well, anyway, we got an update last night that there's local ties to the no vote, or at least a non-vote, I should say, for Belichick. We don't need to rehash our view on the whole situation necessarily, but I do want to talk about what the Hall of Fame said last night, and also what one of the individuals that voted for others, not Belichick, his reasoning was. And it might surprise you a little bit. I think, again, like most things, there's some nuance that's required with that conversation. Let's talk about J.J. Piccolo, though. He joined us earlier in the week. Full interview up on our website, Odyssey app as well. The general manager of the Royals. And we got into a bunch of topics with him. We discussed arbitration coming up with Vinny and Chris Bubich, and also Jack Caglione and Carter Jensen, just in terms of what they're expecting in year 2 for those guys. But also just the state of baseball. We all know heading into 2027, there in all likelihood is going to be a lockout due to disagreements with the CBA and looking ahead to a new one, I should say, with the Players Association and Major League Baseball. The Dodgers at the front of that whole thing because of the amount of money they are spending and deferred money and everything. And so we asked JJ, what do you think it would do for your job if there was a salary cap and if there was a salary floor? And he said, look, they're not going to make excuses. But he also said, look, the AL Central, they're in a division, they're American League Central. I'm paraphrasing, but they're in the American League Central.
Everyone's been the same.
Yeah, they're not in the division with the Dodgers. They're not with the big market teams that are going to be spending a payroll of $230 million or $300 million. And so they're in the American League Central, which I think is one, it's also just a phenomenal answer if you're trying to look at it from that way.
But he's also kind of right.
The other part is, I think he's correct. Yeah. I do think there's fans that hear that though and say, well, then how can you be a little, can you not be a little bit different? Like, wouldn't you want to take advantage of that? Now, that's not a JJ Piccolo decision.
Yeah.
Okay. That obviously is an ownership decision and where they're at with their payroll moving forward. But I would I think this is why this division suddenly has turned into one of the most competitive divisions in baseball, because everybody should be pretty close to each other in terms of what they're spending, and they are, and it's about, as always, development more than ever and developing pitching and all. That's why the Royals, 2 years ago were in the playoffs. Like last year, we saw how competitive it was with the Tigers and the Guardians at the top of the division. The Royals, of course, did not get there.
But I guess this goes back to the thing that you were saying. You can look at it as a positive, as in, I think he's doing this as an excuse of saying, we're not making excuses because our circumstance based on baseball, it's easier. It'd be like a coach saying, well, we're in the NFC South. It should be a little easier to get to the playoffs. And you're like, yeah, but also, why haven't you taken that leap? And what would happen, just hypothetically, if you decided to do the Padres model for a little while when they entered that? And they still have a very high payroll. Or Cincinnati spends a little bit more money than you. What would happen if you jumped up your payroll for the first time? Because here it is right now. Here's the tax payrolls estimates from SpaTrack as it currently sits in baseball. The number one spending team in the division is the 15th highest spending team in baseball. Perfectly average. The Detroit Tigers, they currently have a $203 million payroll. The Royals are second at, they call it one. Now, this is taxable payroll. So this includes other players who might be paid in the future. If we do it in just regular payroll, they're all pretty much in that same range.
Yeah, let's do the regular payroll, please.
Sure. All right, fine. I'll look up the regular payroll. I like that.
Can we just do the normal just payroll
total
breakdown
cash?
where the Royals are at $146 million projected for this year?
Then they are 20th. Okay. Now that's pre-arbitration. They actually estimate that they'll end up somewhere in the 150 range. Okay. But so Detroit 17th, Kansas City 20th, Cleveland 25th, the White Sox 29th, right? And who am I missing? And the Twins 23rd. Like you were talking about, 5 of the bottom 12 payrolls in baseball exist in this division. But there is a part of me, Gold, that does say, hey, what would happen if you just not spent way more, but spent like the Red Sox? You spent like 220, 230. Could you just buy this division every year? Like, could you just own it for the rest of time? Because it does feel like there's a market inefficiency in this division. But it also goes back to the same thing. Well, then everybody else is running their organization better, and that's also problematic. Because if you're not going to spend more, well, then you got to run a tighter shop than Chicago, Cleveland, Detroit. You got to be the better draft and development team. And they have not done that yet. Now, look, I understand they went to the playoffs, but in each of the last 2 years in which they've competed for the division and went to the playoffs once, they didn't win the division either time. And they only went to the playoffs one of the 2 times. So how do you get to a more consistent range if your competition is just worse? Worse. Because they're all spending half as much as, I don't know, the top 10 teams in the league who are all in a division game together. New York, look at the AL East. Some of the top payrolls in baseball, NL East. Some of the top payrolls in baseball are all stuck together.
I think just spending $40 million more doesn't guarantee anything. However, for example, this year, if you tell me that they spent about $11 million more, well, what does that get you? Does that get you closer to an outfield that you feel confident in being better? And I'm, of course, talking about Harrison Bader, for example, with that dollar amount, I believe. Doesn't have to be $40, $50 million more on payroll. That's a huge increase. But 10 or 11 is 12 and like that bit of an increase. Is that a difference? Now, perhaps they view as an organization that $12 million are not going to get much bang for their buck, and so it's not going to be worth X amount of games or whatever to spend $12 million more. Now, if you're in a tightly contested division, Cody, 2 games or 3 games, though, fans would say, well, then it's worth it. I don't know if that's how they operate, though.
I guess there is part of me that does ask a question.
You got to spend, but also I don't think if the Royals just spent $60 million more this offseason that it guarantees them the AL Central.
But why? And look, I've been mostly, I think, complimentary of their spending overall. But their current estimate for SpaTrack this year is around $150 million. In 2015, it was $140 million. That's it?
Yeah, in a 12-year or 11-year period, almost the same payroll.
That's it? Because I'll tell you right now, in 2015, do you want to take a guess at what you think the Dodgers' total cash was? It was a lot, $363. Do you know what it is now? $515. So, they went ahead and jumped up $150 million in payroll during that time. Yankees, $231 in total cash payroll spending.
Now, you know the difference, other than the obvious. The difference, though, too, right? I'm with you that the dollar amount being the same almost in 10 years is a little troubling. But we know the difference is whose TV contract is way bigger now than what it was 10 years ago. Not the Royals. You know, it's increased, but it's not the same. And also, we know with them getting Shohei Ohtani, what that has done for revenue on the international side.
I think it'd be better.
Yeah,
maybe the Dodgers are not a good look. Let's take one of those teams. How about Boston? Boston is largely considered kind of a cheapie, right? They've sold off some assets during that time. They're still a big market team. They were the 4th highest payroll in baseball in 2025. They were spending $193 million in total cash. So, like a pretty good amount. But they have done nothing but try to shed salary, get off the books. They're spending $229, $30 million increase. My issue is that still, even though Boston's been laying in the weeds, trying not to spend money, shipping off high expensive players, they've increased their payroll 3 times more than you have in that same decade. If we continue at that same pace, you'll be spending $170 million in payroll in 10 years, and they'll be spending $330. Like you can't continue spending at that reduced of a rate, I guess, over the course of that time. Look, individual teams do individual things. And look, the thing about the AL Central and the rest of this is still the truth. I'll tell you right now, if I go to Cleveland's or Detroit's, I bet they haven't increased their payroll much in the last 10 years, unless you just it was a bad spending year, I guess, for one of those teams.
I'm not trying to make an excuse for why they don't spend more money. I think, you know, and again, in a given year, spending an extra $10 million to go get an outfielder, I would do that. I will still just say some of this, well, in their division, this is why the example we started the conversation was comparing them to the other AL Central teams and not comparing them to Boston or the Dodgers. Because if you compare to Boston, look, the TV deal for the Royals, now I don't know what it is now because of what's going on with, it was Diamond Sports Group, now Main Street, whatever, and now who knows. But that was like $45 million a year. The Red Sox TV deal, this is 2 years ago, Cody, they were getting $97 million. They were still getting double the television revenue with their TV deal than the Royals were. Now, if you compare it to other divisional, like the Tigers deal, reportedly, this was 2 years ago. These are old numbers. 2 years ago was $60 million. The Royals was $45. The White Sox TV number 2 years ago was $60 million. The Royals was $45. Who am I missing? Guardians. Theirs was $55. The Royals was $45. That was a little bit closer.
I guess it's kind of an ebb and a flow. And it always comes back to the same point is, I'm not saying you have to spend more money all the time. And I like that you are in the AL Central and it gives you a competitive advantage. But are you going to do – he's already spent more and invested more in regular years. But when it comes to a year, are you going to pony up the way Glass – because like in 2016, their payroll was $150 million. So they just won the World Series. Right. In 2015, their payroll was the same it is this year, $150 million. 10 years later, it was the same. Now, they took a big jump in 2016 because they were trying to repeat as World Series champions and the cash was flowing and the money came in. So like – they're in the middle of what I think could be a playoff run for this team. So if there's a time to throw some money at it, I would say this is a good time for.
And that's where I want to see where if they're at the deadline and they're either in first in the division or they're in position to be there, and there's a contract that you would have to take on to get better at the trade deadline, would that be the time where you're willing to bump it up? Or if this team wins the division and there's all sorts of momentum even heading into the next year, is that the offseason that they're willing to do it? They also have a lot of core guys right now, Cody, that the dollar amount that they're making, other than giving extensions, which they just did to Michael and to Bobby. Yeah, I mean, they have made some smart financial decisions with that. Like, would you, I know you know the answer to this. Like, I would rather find out that they're spending this versus, oh, well, they actually paid Bobby Wood Jr. $380 million. Like, that doesn't do anybody any good if I told you that, hey, their payroll was more because Bobby's number was bigger. No, I love the contract they have under Bobby Wood Jr. under right now. Now, I still just think there are some years like this offseason, if you're telling me the difference of shoring up the outfield and adding a piece was spending an extra $10 to $15 million. Easy for me to say, it's not my money, but like those are the moves I would like to see them make if we're talking about that. I'm not sitting here realistically expecting their payroll to be $50 million more than what it is.
No.
But 10?
10,
11?
12, 15?
Yeah.
That doesn't feel like a crazy number. Meanwhile, the controversy continues. For, as you mentioned, the Belichick 11.
The Belichick 11 is what people are calling them. So we all know Bill Belichick, not a first ballot Hall of Famer. There was a leak. None of this was supposed to even come out until next week with the NFL honors. We also have learned today it sounds like Eli Manning's not going to get in, which would have been somewhat funny if he got in before Belichick, considering the 2 rings and everything.
It would have been funny. I'm actually kind of disappointed that didn't happen.
We were wondering, who were the people that didn't vote no and what was their reason? And I think there's going to be a lot of the writers that vote for this that never come forward. So I do give some credit to one of the reporters that we know of right now that was willing to write a column, that was willing to explain their reason. Now, you can still think it's dumb. You can disagree with it all you want.
You're allowed to have a different opinion.
But I do respect the hell out of what turns out to be Kansas City's own Vahe Gregorian over at the Kansas City Star that put pen to paper and said, hey, here's my reasoning. And to sum up his reasoning, it was not, in his opinion, a vote against Bill Belichick. He wanted to make sure some of the senior legend type players that were probably not getting in if they didn't get in this year, get in. Now, we don't know if they will get in, if he was successful in that campaign even. But L.C. Greenwood, for example, and others, Kenny Anderson, he voted for those guys, not for Belichick. Now, admittedly, I do think it is crazy that L.C. Greenwood, who I think has been snubbed, but in general is going to get in a year before Bill Belichick. That's wild. But as I said yesterday, I would have voted Bill Belichick in.
Yeah.
Yesterday was more about the cheating stuff. I told you if somebody wanted to hold somebody back because they were concerned with the cheating allegations and the the cheating that occurred.
Yeah. The actual cheating.
I disagree with it, but I also respect their ability as a voter to do that. And that nuanced opinion people disagree with, that's fine. Vahe's reasoning is his reasoning. I actually disagree with that even more. Like at some point, like you've had 15 or 20 years to get in. You didn't get in. Like what are we doing? Like his thought was, well, Belichick's getting in anyway. I'm going to vote for others. I don't really agree with that philosophy. I just respect the hell out of the fact that he was willing to put his name to it because he's getting crushed. And people are saying terrible things, frankly, in some of the comments towards him, which is disgusting. But
no one's gonna like listen to this nationally and do this. I will say, if you've never met Vahe, I think it is worth noting he might be, and I'm not saying this just to like defend his article or anything else because we can talk about that in a minute. He might be the single nicest person in Kansas City media. He is a kind person, and I think that's part of why he voted this way, Gold. In a weird way, I think his vote was a vote of kindness. He feels bad for the players who've been sitting out and didn't get in. It is not the reason I would give. I'd have just vote if my only reason was I got to put in a guy who's been waiting for 20 years for this thing, or I got to put in Bill Belichick. I got to put in Bill Belichick. He's the single most accomplished coach in history. I think the only really good reason to not vote for it was that Bill Belichick's a cheater, and he cheated. And I think that's the only strongest or is the strongest argument for why you would not have voted for him. This is not like the worst reason of all time. I don't think it's a good enough reason to not vote for Bill Belichick, and I wouldn't have used it. But you guys said you wanted accountability, you wanted some transparency. He wrote an entire article explaining his exact reasoning why. So
he did, and he put a lot of blame on the voting process, which we discussed that a little bit yesterday. And with all these Hall of Fames, I think the voting process sucks, and the limitations, and the fact that it's not a yes or no vote. And there's certain, only so many people in that given window that you're trying to decide on and all that. I think there are some things that are going to have to change with the process. But yeah, I'm kind of with you, which is I would understand hey, I'm not putting him in first ballot because of cheating. This is more of like, well, I want to make sure these other guys get in. I wouldn't operate that way, but that's his decision to make. I respect the fact that he put his name to it. Are any of the other 10 voters? I guess we know Bill Polian's the other. So 9. We know it's Bill Polian. By the way, Bill Polian just vendetta and being just ridiculous.
If he I'd respect him more.
Vahe gave his reason, and then we don't know what the other 9 people are.
Yeah.
And I don't know if we ever will.
No, probably not. Because I said this, and this is where I give Vahe some credit, but like I said this I think off the air more than I said it on. You'd be like, why not just make it public? Because, and I don't know if you guys have noticed this, the internet is a wasteland, and they will say awful and hateful and dox you and miserable things about people just because they don't agree with how you voted on one thing. Because in the end, and I think Drew said this too, in the end, Bill Belichick will be a Hall of Famer. No, it'll hurt because some people do care about first ballot Hall of Fame. Bill Belichick cares about first ballot Hall of Fame.
Well, it clearly matters. Look at the reaction yesterday.
And it clearly matters based off of the reaction of it. But in the end, his life is not harmed. His family is safe. He's all right. His legacy is protected. None of the, he'll eventually be a Hall of Famer. It's okay. You don't have to attack the man on the internet explaining his reasoning behind why he did what he did with hateful comments. Can you say, I don't like your reasoning and I disagree with it? Sure, you just said that, Gold. I said that.
Yeah.
I think if you had said he's a cheater, that's a good reason. I don't think a good reason is I feel bad for the other guys Because the truth is, Bill Belichick is a more deserving Hall of Famer than them. And so unless you're going to change the voting process, the way it works is Belichick gets his spot. He didn't this time, but like, I get it.
Some of the other elements from Vahe Gregorian, who, by the way, will be on the drive, I believe, this afternoon to talk more about this. And again, if you're just joining us, we're talking about the Hall of Fame voting again. Vahe has a vote for a Hall of Fame, and he came out in a column yesterday that said, hey, I was one of the voters that did not vote for Bill Belichick. Now, just some more details to paraphrase from his column. He said, Belichick would inevitably get in, but once he saw that he didn't procure the necessary 80% of votes on the first ballot, he understood the vitriol and backlash that was received once the news broke. He said, quote, at the risk of contradicting my own vote, really, Belichick shouldn't even have to wait. I understand why people are offended that he isn't going to get in the first moment he can. I felt more compelled by what I perceive to be last chances and looming lost causes within the system as we have it, a system I hope the Hall will see fit to change now.
I'm glad that Vahe explained it. And I do like Vahe. You know that he's been the officiant of multiple weddings for people who cover the teams.
Yeah, this is not about whether he's a good. I mean,
I just thought it was fun.
It's not really relevant to this, but I hear you. Like, yeah.
I hate and this is what makes me hate this process altogether just the more. It's just like this idea that now you guys are going to all attack him.
I got text from,
even though I disagree with his vote.
Yeah. People, of course.
Deal.
I think we all agree, hopefully, that, personal attacks of people on social media is disgusting, and people think they can say whatever the hell they want, and that's a whole nother conversation, and it's ridiculous. I got Cody last night. I got probably 4 or 5 texts from other media members in other markets. Basically, I won't read verbatim, but who the hell is this guy? Is basically the text I was getting from people. And I was people are just wondering what the feeling is in Kansas City. And people are trying to make this now like a Kansas City against New England thing. And I'm like, oh gosh, this is not he did not vote for these other guys because
if you knew Vahe, you would.
That's not what the vote was. This was not a Kansas City. Oh, screw New England. That's not what this was.
And you know what I'm mad about more than any of this is that this is funny, and we should be laughing more about this. It's hilarious that Bill Belichick didn't get in, and we should be joking more about it. It's not all so serious. It's funny. It is funny he didn't get in. Come on. I mean, the most hated franchise of all time. It's pretty funny.
I mean, the reaction's funny. I don't know if it's funny that somebody's legacy is getting changed or something. I don't know.
Changes no legacy.
How is his legacy getting? Because I think this is the thing. To me, the bust. It doesn't say first ballot on the bust. It doesn't. There's no pin that says first ballot.
Fine.
There's nothing that says first ballot according to the Pro Football Hall of Fame. It's something that we created as fans, as media, as whatever. We created it. And now we're living with some consequences, essentially, of somebody not getting in who we think deserved to be in their first ballot. I don't think in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't tarnish a single solitary thing that he did because he's going to be in the Hall of Fame just the same as everybody else who's already in there is.
So yesterday, you guys know where we're all at. I mean, I would have voted him in. I also don't have a problem at the vote, but I'll push back on what you said a little bit because yes, there's not a plaque that says first ballot Hall of Famer. And yes, it is something that narrative, and we mentioned first ballot Hall of Famer Bill Belichick or first ballot Hall of Famer Tom Brady or Patrick Mahomes one day, et cetera. It's something that we do attach to people and it is viewed in high regard. But also, I think the issue for some people with Belichick not getting in is that, as you said, though, people will still view you the same. I think people will, not everybody, will view the Hall of Fame differently now, though, because of it. Right?
That might be true.
I think there are people that will view the process of the Hall of Fame and say it's a joke now by this happening. So maybe it's not directly that Bill Belichick doesn't have this non-physical thing that says first ballot Hall of Famer attached to his plaque or bust. But I do think there are people now that will view the Hall of Fame in different regard, and they'll say it's a joke, and they'll say that clearly this is all about petty writers, et cetera. I'm just telling you what the narrative is, and I think that part of it is a problem for the Hall of Fame. That's why they put out a statement last night, very strong,
threatening people.
I just think that it's all an opinionated thing. I think it's the same thing as the greatest of all time debate. There's no set criteria for what makes a Hall of Famer or the greatest of all time. It's an opinion sort of thing, and I think it's a Bill should get in because of this and this and this. That can be your reasoning, and I think I would put him in I would have voted him in as well. But the concept that it tarnishes his legacy a little bit or it ruins it because he's not a first ballot Hall of Famer, I think you can miss me with that because in the end, the gold jacket is the gold jacket, maybe it's the way that I view it. If you're a Hall of Famer, you're a Hall of Famer. Period. There's no separate room in the Pro Football Hall of Fame that says here's the greatest players of all time, and this is where they go to an elevated stage, and this is where you can see their
mark them, put them on their bus.
What I'm saying,
it
doesn't matter. Everybody's together.
Yeah, someone's saying the fit throwing has been hilarious. Well, that's where we agree. Cody's saying that he thinks it's funny he didn't get in. I'm disagreeing with that. Yesterday we said the reaction, the clutching of the pearls from media members about that has been hilarious. Like, I mean, the people acting as if it was the biggest atrocity that's ever happened in sports history is laughable.
Like it's Chernobyl.
Yeah, so like that reaction has been hilarious. I don't think in general like him not being a first ballot Hall of Famer is funny. I think the reaction is hilarious.
Yeah, it's a real mixed bag over there. But again, maybe don't say awful things just because you disagree with people. As a life lesson, Drew, it's important. I also think it's really like the Hall of Fame's so weird. I do think that they should probably look at their voting process.
Have to.
Because it's clearly pretty screwed up that like this is the way it works and I can only vote for one coach or this guy and you're kind of like pitting them against each other. Just like ranked choice vote or 5 people. Like, can you figure out a different system? Like, I understand you want it, but this is the other part. I think sometimes these Hall of Fames, and this is just in general, these Hall of Fames take themselves too serious. And like, I think a Hall of Fame main job is to tell the story of the league in the sense that who are the people you remember and the plays that you remember at the time in that league. You can't tell the story of the NFL without Bill Belichick, right? And so like, when you go back through and you talk about these like historic players, if they at that time in the league, I don't care how many years not a year. I don't care how many years they played. They played like running backs. I don't care if you played 5 years. If you were one of the 10 best players in the league and we all knew it, then you're a Hall of Famer in my way. It's not all longevity. Yeah. It's not all the
I hear
story.
You, but then
it's
it
just
gets
like
into
the story of the league.
But there still has to be some cutoff, though. I hear what you're saying, and like what you just threw out a random number.
We don't just put DeMar Hamlin in because he's a story of the league.
But this is the challenge, though, because you're right. Like, how impactful were you during your era, and were you dominant in your era? And you said it doesn't matter about longevity, and I get the argument, but like you randomly threw out the year 5, and that was just a random year you threw out. That's fine. But I guess this is why you can't just do it by that either, Cody, because then what is it? Like, well, he only played 4, but he was the best running back for 4 years. And then like, well, I got a guy that was for 5 years, but like he wasn't, he was the second best. Like this is why it's still an opinion-based thing. And
because I don't want to just
we have committees to vote on this.
I don't want it to just be numbers.
I'm totally with you. It should not just be stat-based.
No, and I don't need a morality clause, but if you cheat, how do you what's the number for that?
Right.
What's the metric? Right? There isn't one. So like, other than no cheaters get in or whatever. Right. But then what level of cheating, right, Gold? Someone earlier on the text line said that holding is cheating. So it doesn't count.
Oh, that tweet had to have been from a bot. That tweet, do I have it still? Oh my, real quick. There was a real, and I swear it was from a bot. Someone was trying to make the case. Well, I guess we just don't let anybody in. Here it is. More importantly, I'm waiting for someone to explain, how does any player get in, considering every penalty is someone cheating? That is why they are penalized, breaking a rule to gain competitive advantage. I mean, what a ridiculous, like, it has to be a bot, right? That's not a real person.
I don't think that can't be a real opinion. Or they got dropped a lot as a baby or something.
Oh, they're trolling.
Oh,
they know what they're doing.
That
in that case, we just won't have Hall of Fames then. It'll be okay.
All right, up next.
Eliminate Hall of Fames. That's our new stance on this show.
Up next, we will discuss what Mike McDaniel had to say, and maybe it's a bit of a hint towards Andy Reid. We'll explain that next here on Cody and Gold.
What's up, Kansas City? This is Vinny Pasquantino, and you're listening to Cody and Gold, weekdays starting at 10 on 96.5 The Fan.
Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
I wish I'd gotten treated for my erectile dysfunction sooner. Men, I hear this all the time from our patients. This is Jeff for Heartland Men's Health, and if ED is a problem in your life, resolve to get it treated today and stop having it affect you and the one you love. ED is simply a medical condition, and it's fully treatable. And at Heartland Men's Health, we have treatments that are effective in well over 90% of cases. Which means if you're like most guys, your ED will be a thing of the past. In fact, you could be having great sex within a day or two of your first appointment, and you'll likely find you're performing like you haven't in a long time. It's the new year. Resolve to get your ED treated and change your life. Call us at Heartland Men's Health. Your initial visit is only $99. It includes blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call 844-447-6600. That's 844-447-6600 or go to heartlandmenshealth.com. We have 3 offices, Overland Park, Independence, and North Kansas City.
Do you owe $10,000 or more in credit card debt or personal loans? With credit card debt at all-time highs, Debt Relief Advocates is urgently notifying consumers of debt relief now being made available, designed to aid consumers with out-of-control credit card debt. Those who qualify and enroll for this relief program will only have to pay back a fraction of what they owe. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. This is a relief program that credit card companies would rather you not know about, as it ends your debt nightmare and saves you lots of money. Consumers owing at least $10,000 in credit card debt or personal loans can now take advantage of this debt relief as the cost of living skyrockets. Debt Relief Advocates has established a relief hotline for you to call to learn what debt reduction you may qualify for, so don't wait. For this free information, call the Relief Hotline at 800-390-1164. 800-390-1164. 800-390-1164.
And Doug.
Oh, what a horrible call. Hey, ref, open your eyes! Ref, you're really not going to call that? Come on!
Hey, ref, why don't you customize your car insurance with Liberty Mutual and save money?
I don't think you get what we're doing.
Sure I do. We're all just giving him advice. You guys on sports, me on saving money.
Nope, that's not it.
Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Chick-fil-A's new frosted sodas and floats. It's a 10 out of 10. Hey, this is Lizzie, a team member at my local Chick-fil-A, and a little thing I love about the Chick-fil-A chicken sandwich and new frosted sodas and floats is how well they go together. You will love having your favorite soda blended with our creamy ice stream to make a new frosted soda or float. With the mix of the ice stream and soda fizz, it's so delicious, I call it Fizzalicious.
Order a Chick-fil-A chicken sandwich and a new frosted soda and float at your local Chick-fil-A restaurant. Real team member paid for their testimonial.
Honey, that flu keeping you up? Did you take NyQuil Intense Flu?
Nah, I got this. Okay, I don't got this.
Yeah, you need NyQuil Intense Flu.
Undo your flu with NyQuil Intense Flu. NyQuil Intense Flu provides powerful relief of your flu symptoms so you can sleep.
You do got this.
NyQuil Intense Flu. The nighttime sniffling, aching fever. Best sleep with the flu medicine. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Ah, the most beautiful time of year is upon us. Tax season. And Tax Slayer is here to help you file with 100% accuracy for your maximum refund. Guaranteed. Tax Slayer even has support from real U.S.-based humans if you have any questions along the way. File your federal return by February 8th for $22.99, and I'll help you get the refund you deserve. Take it from me, a talking calculator speaking to you through the speakers of wherever you are. Tax Slayer. File fearlessly.
The new era of UFC on Paramount Plus continues with UFC 325 live from Australia. Catch featherweight champion Alexander Volkanovski in a rematch of his epic title fight against Diego Lopez, and the always dangerous Dan Hooker throws down with dynamic finisher Benoit Saint Denis in a high-action lightweight showdown. UFC fans, pay-per-view just got knocked out. Catch UFC 325 on Saturday, January 31st, only on Paramount Plus. Stream every fight live with one subscription. Visit ParamountPlus.com/UFC to get started.
Hey Royals fans, it's Vern, and the Hot Stove Show is back Thursday night starting at 6 o'clock right here on your home for Royals baseball. 96.5 The Fan.
KFNC FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, an Odyssey sports station.
Don't forget, coming up in a few weeks, we've got our Chiefs offseason show. We're going to have everybody in studio, Bob, Dusty, C-Dot, along with Cody and myself, right here from 9 to 11 on Tuesday, February 10th. That's Tuesday, February 10th, the Chiefs offseason show, talking all things heading into free agency, how the coaching staff has come together. By that point in time, maybe we know whether or not Travis Kelce has made a decision as well. So that's coming up in just a few weeks here on 96.5 The Fan.
Somebody said over on YouTube, yep, we'll just base the entire Hall of Fame off of Pro Football Focus rankings. Like,
gosh.
God.
Oh, man.
First ballot, Creed Humphrey.
Oh, my
Straight
goodness.
to the top.
what would they do? Like a 5-year average of your Pro Football Focus ranking, and that kicks out
if
whether
you play
you're a
for
Hall
at
of
least
Famer.
8 years, then then it's a calculated sheet of the top 10 Pro Football
Gross.
Focus players. It'd be a lot of guards, by the way. Somehow Patrick Mahomes will end up being a 4th ballot Hall of Famer due to the fact that the Pro Football Focus rankings don't like him as much as they like other quarterbacks.
Didn't they have Geno Smith as a higher QBR?
For one week, I think it
For
was.
1 week.
For 1 week they did in 1 or 2 categories of their PFF grade. That is very, very true. All right, we know Mike McDaniel is going to be the offensive coordinator with the Chargers, and they're trying to get more out of Justin Herbert. I think it's a hell of a hire for the Chargers. I think it's very smart. We'll see if it ultimately works, as in leads them to playoff wins. But
yeah,
I think it's also says a lot about Jim Harbaugh, his willingness to hire someone that was just a head coach. Like he's not worried about anybody overshadowing him. I think it's a very smart hire and a strong one that only a coach. Head coach that has been around for a while would do. I don't think a younger head coach would feel threatened. I don't think they
agree.
would. I don't think they would bring in.
Harbaugh's been around long enough. He's not worried.
So I give him credit for bringing in Mike McDaniel. And Mike McDaniel was asked, just about at his opening press conference and had some comments, kind of hint maybe to Andy Reid. Just listen to this. See if you felt the same way.
He's firmly capable, and sometimes as a coach, you can. Rely upon that a little too much.
Maybe fall back and just kind of assume
He actually
he's gonna
sounds
make
salient.
the play.
He sounds like he knows what he's talking about, as opposed to when he was the Miami Dolphin head coach and he took everybody round and around first.
I don't know why that continued.
I don't know why that continued either. Yeah. But the way you look at it in the Mike McDaniel audio, he says sometimes when you got a great quarterback, you can lean on too much that they can do everything, and then I make them do everything. Yeah. Hey, Andy, look, you're a great coach, no doubt about it. I actually think this could be a really important offseason lesson for the Chiefs. Just because Patrick Mahomes can do everything does not mean that he should. And I think Mike McDaniel's got a really good point there with Herbert, and they have been asking Herbert to do too much of that. And in the last 2 years, they've been asking Patrick Mahomes to do too much of it. This doesn't go back to like we were having the conversations of, I think Patrick Mahomes needs 5 all-pros around him in order to succeed. But lately, he's been doing it with like 2 nickels rubbed together and hoping that this whole thing just comes together. And so I genuinely think if the way that this works is he should heed this advice. And they got to figure out a way to, I think, take some things off of his plate. And that goes to the playmaker part that we talked earlier, some of this other stuff. But they got to figure out a way to not make it feel like he has to save them every game. This season was a really bad case of that, admittedly, right? Worse than normal. But like playoff Pat had to try to do it for 17 regular season games this year. He only got through 14 before he got hurt. Was it 13, 14? What game did he get hurt in?
Chargers game, right?
I just don't remember which week it was.
That was the Chargers game. This obviously not the first one. The second one.
Yeah, I think it might have been 14 or 15, something like that. He only missed, 4 games? 3 games?
4?
I can't remember exactly.
3.5?
Anyways.
It's been too long now. I mean, nobody remembers in this entire show?
It was the Chargers game. He got hurt.
Gonna make me look it up. Well, I remember
I think it was only 3 he missed, because Gardner Minshew got hurt in the first one, and then they had Oladoke in the last 2. That's my guess.
Oladoke.
Wasn't it? Or am I off on the game I'm talking about? I thought it was the Chargers game. December 14th.
Sure, man. Sounds good. Started 14 games.
It was December 14th. Anyway.
Started 14 games. Look, we got to get to the bottom of that. It was going to drive us all crazy. But
this goes back though, man. I hate to keep kind of repeating ourselves a little bit, but like there is still the same theme of this offense and what we think perhaps that they need to alter. If you are having a successful running game that is explosive, it will take pressure off of your quarterback. They should still be leaning on Patrick Mahomes all the time. He's one of the best, if not the best quarterback. So you have to be in that spot to utilize those skills, and you don't suddenly now just like get overprotective of Patrick Mahomes. But there is the balance of a long season, and that you have to protect him physically, but also just clearly there's the mental side of it as well. Like if you get to a point where you feel like the frustration kicks in, there was clearly frustration this more than ever this year from multiple players on the team. Like that's something that you have to be cognizant as well.
I think that they need to get him, and this goes back to like the making him do less. I think he needs to run less in the regular season. I don't want to take away his running game. I understand its importance to the way he operates and the way he moves and what they just do as a team and everything else. I do understand what an absolute weapon it is. But Patrick Mahomes played 14 games this year versus 16, 16, 17, 17 the previous 4. He had more rushing yards this season in 14 games than he had any of the previous 4 in which he played full, complete NFL seasons. That man ran for 422 yards this year, the most ever in his career. And so, I'm sorry, but like that's the part of like doing everything. He felt like at some point this season, he realized he didn't have the weapons or the time, or maybe it was when like Jawan Taylor was playing bad and it just happened to coincide when Simmons wasn't on the team, and then later the injuries happened. But he was doing, and we talked about this, he was doing stuff that we used to see in like Super Bowls that they were getting beat by 20 in, where you're like, hey man, you don't have to put on the cape today.
Well, every game felt like a playoff game once they dug themselves a hole, right? I mean, that's what it was. They were 6-5 and then they lost out. They were 6-5. It didn't feel good, but every game was a playoff game because you were only a game above 500. And then we all know it all changed.
You're talking about from like a roster construction standpoint, Cody, right? You're not talking because Patrick's
scheme and roster construction, both.
Yeah, because I think Pat's making the decision ultimately on to run or not. Like it's not like they're designing it and he's running because of the scheme. There's nobody open. He thinks it's the better decision.
He's bailing pockets early sometimes.
Whatever the case is,
collapses.
For sure, 100%.
No, it's a little bit. Some of it's scheme because you can help him by just having a better running game.
Yeah, it's scheme, but it is certainly personnel around. And this goes back into the offensive line part of it, which is I still think going back 2 years, there doesn't seem that there's a ton of trust still fully in the O-line. Now, I think that is more on Mahomes at this point because I actually think when the O-line is healthy, this O-line is more than capable of protecting Patrick Mahomes and him feeling or should feel that he's protected. I get it when all of a sudden you're down to your second or third string tackle. I'm talking about week 1 next year, if he's also on the field off of an ACL injury, as tough as that is going to be. If you have Josh Simmons and you've got Kingsley and Creed and Trey and we assume Jalen Moore as your right tackle, that is more than doable. Like, there should not be any problem with trusting that offensive line.
10 best in the league, I would argue. Maybe slightly better depending on the upper end potential of guys like Simmons. And we've had these arguments over, like, eventually quarterbacks do have to do more, right? They have to do more with less. They make more money, the defense makes more money, whatever. That is just like a part of like a fact of life in the NFL. You have to do more with less or suffer the consequences of having a terrible defense or suffer the consequences of having some weaker offensive line play because you wanted better wide receivers or the stuff with it. But he's been having to win Super Bowls with Sky Moore and Kadarius Toney, or play in Super Bowls with an offensive line with no one left on it. I'm not saying you have to give him the world. I'm not here to complain and be like, he's not, but he could use a little more help on that end. And then he could have a little more help in the scheme relation as it does to the RPOs and some of this other stuff to take some of that decision-making out of his hand. And that's where I just think Mike McDaniel's right. Overall, by the way, the Chargers' social media is going to make Mike McDaniel out to be one of the most likable, quirky dudes, and he is a quirky dude. He was talking about his morning routine. Said, hey, describe your morning routine. That was the question on a piece of paper, and he said, well, I like to get up because people don't like being around me because I'm a lot in the morning. So he gets up at 3:30 so he can do all the things that are non-football related so he doesn't drive everyone else in his life crazy, was his answer, Drew.
Well, the combination of him and Jim Harbaugh. Think about Jim Harbaugh does this kind. It provides these gyms.
Locked, cocked, and ready to rock.
I mean,
if worms had machine guns, then birds wouldn't be scared of them.
I mean, so imagine the combination of those two.
It's not just another day.
Does anybody watch
It's today.
True Detective? I feel like everybody in the building, in the Chargers building, is going to be like Woody Harrelson talking to Matthew McConaughey when they're outside the car. And he looks at him, he says, I just want you to stop saying odd S. Do you guys know? Like, I think it's like, man, I just want you to stop saying odd S. Like, that's going to be the entire energy in the Chargers building for the better part of a year.
Real quick, I want to go back to the Pat thing real fast.
Sure.
So I want to make sure that I say this. Patrick Mahomes he's not broken, but from the standpoint that we talk about certain things affecting players and how they play, whether it's offensive line play, and I think offensive line play factors into this, where it got to be bad enough at the point of whatever Super Bowl that was against Tampa, that basically from there on out, it was a trust issue that Patrick Mahomes still hasn't necessarily been able to get over. It caused and created a tendency that he still hasn't been able to overcome from the standpoint of his eyes dropping early or him not being able to fully sit in a pocket because he he knows what it was once, and he got so used to it that it was almost like muscle memory. It's hard for him to shake just trusting his offensive line and sitting in a pocket given history at some point. And not that it broke Patrick Mahomes or is breaking him, but I think it's making him less. It's not making him as effective from the standpoint of what we saw him throwing 5K and 40+ and all those other things. It looks different, and I don't know if that's part of what's just affected that process where it's not even the offensive line's fault. It's not Pat's fault either, but it's a tendency that's been created because of the lack of O-line play going all the way back to whatever year that was, 2022 or whatever.
And now he's hurt. So, maybe he's got a little more fear of that, too. Who knows? That usually shakes off after a couple of weeks, though. Players have gone through injuries like this. Speaking of bad process, the Royals Stadium?
Look, you don't think it's been seamless?
No.
We're talking about this again?
Wow. Here's why.
Let us explain. The reason why we're talking about it is last night, Alex and I, in speaking to some people, want to make it clear, that the Royals do not think Clay County is dead. Interesting that they did not say they think Kansas is dead, but admittedly the Clay County part, in saying that statement that was released 2 days ago that said, they're not going to be on the ballot, we're not negotiating with other jurisdictions. I had said on the air that I thought, I think that's their way of saying they tried to put pressure on the Royals wouldn't cave to it, and that they would never not accept their offer. But are we really, some of this is, am I really to believe that the Royals genuinely think that there is still a chance their stadium could either go in Clay County, Jackson County, or Kansas?
No, I think
and if
they
so,
want to
on January 29th, that's insane. That's insane that you shouldn't be in that position.
I think all that is, and yes, it is. Is it factually correct that Clay County, all they said was they didn't meet the deadline to get the April ballot? And then Clay County in the statement said, we are not going to get into a negotiating battle, basically, with another jurisdiction. That's what they said. They did not say we are out forever. Now, I think we also recognize this, to me, is still, if you're the Royals, especially if Kansas really is out, you still want to show that you have some options to KC Mo a little bit. As much as we know that's ultimately where they want to go, you don't want to be in terms of leverage. They still want to act as if that they are considering other places, even if they're, I'm not saying that they aren't, but even if they're not, and I don't know if they are
publicly, you did. I gotta say, you have got to be 2 years after the vote. You have got to be narrowed. I'm sorry, you have got narrow it. Even from a public perception, you shouldn't still be saying, well, we could go to Kansas or Jackson County or Clay County. The world is our oyster. You're like, why? I understand, from a negotiation point.
I think that's all that is. I think that's all that is they want to protect themselves, one, for negotiating leverage, but also in case things don't come together in KC Mo, Clay County would probably be the only other option at that point.
Yeah, and they're trying to leave the Missouri side options open and all that, but it's just this idea, and I'm not saying Clay...
Clay County's trying to remove themselves from getting into a bidding war, right? Yeah. That's on their side of it. That's why they put out the statement.
Their numbers on paper. I think what their argument is, and Clay County's more than fair, their numbers, they're saying, our numbers on paper. What we're offering is on paper. You know what it is. They wanted them to accept the April ballot so that they just move forward with Clay County, and the Royals said, we want more time. But how much more time?
Well, that's, we've been talking about that for months and months and months. I do think, yesterday we were discussing with Ross Tucker, the Philadelphia Eagles offensive coordinator gig, and he's like, look, have they really offered anybody the job, or is it just hey, I know I'm not getting it, so I'm going to announce that I'm not interested in the job? Is that also a little bit of what you think happened with Clay County? It's the Royals didn't tell us no. They just didn't meet the deadline. It's not the Royals flat out told us no. We're removing our name for the time being for this because the deadline wasn't met.
Yeah.
They didn't. That feels like that's what that is. And it also feels like the opposite on the Royals side, which is we're not telling you we're not interested still in that site, even if we clearly are focused in on KC Mo at this point.
If you made me put a percentage to it, see, this is the problem, is that guessing in this Royal Stadium game, make a lot of mistakes trying to correctly guess where they're going on this one. John Sherman himself could look me dead in the eyes tomorrow and say, Cody, in 1 week, we are announcing that we are going to Washington Square Park. He looked me dead in the eyes, and I don't know that I would be 100% sure. So I'm just going to tell you that short of that, Gold, my hesitation on this thing, John Sherman looking me directly in the eyes and saying, next week, I'm saying we're going to Washington Square Park. An official announcement is coming. Short of that, I think it's like 80% it goes in Jackson County. And I think that's mostly just the Washington Square Park. And then I'm like 10% Kansas, 10% Clay. I think you're lower on both of the other two, but I'm only willing to budge so much.
Yeah, I'm less than 1% on Kansas. I think that's done.
And what percentage are you giving Clay? 5? 10?
It doesn't really
20?
matter. It doesn't really matter. Fine, 5 or 10%. It really just doesn't matter.
It's a small percentage.
Yeah.
You're not. If John Sherman looks you dead in the eye, would you believe it?
Of course, yeah. If you,
okay,
yes,
so that's
absolutely.
It's short of that. I'm just like,
but like I'm sure people listening feel the same way. Like, look, there have been tons of updates, and I think the conversations have been fascinating.
Yeah, I do.
But I think people are just so sick of it. Right? We got the Chiefs figured out, but like everybody, I think, is sick of this discussion. Not necessarily that. I think we're going to continue to talk about on the show when there's new updates. I'm talking about like just in general. Like you go in your group chat with your friends, or if I'm at a bar and people ask, like last night after we were at Centric for their career summit we were doing, the Tech Career Summit, ton of fun out there. And I think you had already left, but I was talking to some people after. And one of the first questions there, like, so where do you think the stadium's going? Like that is still what people want to know, but also people are sick of the conversation, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy.
Like, just tell me where the hell they're putting it is the response I get.
I will say Kansas City, and this just goes back to, it's such the, like, it for the size of city that it is, it feels like such a small town. Yesterday when we were at the Tech Summit, they had Wayside Waste there to do a nice little charity thing. And a gentleman named, I don't have to give his name, I guess, does it matter?
Do whatever you want to do.
Garrett was sitting there telling them the benefits of volunteering your time at Wayside Waifs. And we were doing some raffle stuff for the people who were there so you could, like, win some concert tickets and stuff. And I was like, we were standing there up there, and I was like, man, that guy, Garrett, sure does look familiar.
Okay.
And I couldn't figure it. Like, I'm sitting there and I'm like, that guy looks familiar. I have met Garrett, and I don't know why, but I've definitely met him. I was like, wait, did he come in and bring like a puppy for us to pet? Did he show up when we had like the dogs here? Was he there when I adopted my cat from Wayside Waifs like a month and a half ago? And I searched up Garrett, Wayside Waifs. Like I looked up, I found his LinkedIn. I found all this stuff. I worked with him at Webster House, of all things. How is it that this whole city is just connected by like two people? 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon? I know every person in this city through like a single connection, I think, at this point. That's what it feels like.
Get that as a drop, Drew. Thank you very much. Cody's saying he knows everybody in this city.
All of them, Drew.
Cody says he knows
The whole
everybody.
city.
Everybody. All
Meanwhile, adopt. Don't shop, you know?
All right. Let's
always spay.
My dog's adopt. My dog's adopt. Thanks, Bob Barker. R.I.P. No, my dog is adopted. Anyway, let's get to the trash of the day.
Trash of the day.
All right. This is a story involving someone just flat out being extremely rude, and also speaks to a lot of other issues. So this comes from The Mirror, which I believe is a publication in the UK, where a cleaner quit after a woman did something to insult this individual and was also just flat out rude. So a client of this woman who was cleaning the house said, all right, I want to make sure that I know she's cleaning my home.
Okay.
So the owner of the house left 100 toy ducks around the house, along with a rude note, basically wanting to prove that, like, did she really clean it? She wanted all the ducks found, basically.
Or it
which
doesn't
was very demeaning. So,
but how is she
to make sure she did a thorough job? She was handed the task of retrieving the toy ducks, having been instructed to do so in a rude note left for her. It said, to ensure a job well done, the 26-year-old was told to retrieve each one and place it back inside the jar to complete the game. The anger of the cleaner led her to share a post about the experience online, which gained 3.8 million views, more than 161,000 likes. She started her job early at 7 a.m. on a Monday morning, later labeled the depressing gamification of her work demeaning, and she went online and took pictures of the colorful ducks that were sprawled all across the apartment.
She said she was given a code, they weren't at home, just saw the note, said she was already paid, so she completed the work, and then never is going to work for that woman again. Why would you? Hey, man, this is a free market. I don't have to clean for you, picking up 100 ducks just so you can like demean me by saying I'm not doing a good enough job. There's also a certain number of hours you paid me for. So whether you think I should scrub every single square inch of your house, how long are you paying me to clean it? Am I getting 8, 10, 12, 14 hours of pay? There's a limitation to the amount any person can clean in that amount of time. Someone says it's pretty uncommon for clients to test cleaners in such a bold way.
Well, yeah. I mean, also, you took the time to hide 100 toy ducks around your house before you left for work?
Yeah, you could have just cleaned your house instead of paid somebody.
Yeah.
Wasting your time and theirs. I also just think people doing that kind of stuff, no chance. I'm not working. I'm not.
Well, she quit. As you imagine, it says she quit right after that.
Like, I can't.
Yeah, come on. We're out. We're done.
Like, if we did that to the nice cleaning person who comes to her, who, like, essentially is like an employee in our building because she's, like, the one person who cleans regularly. Like, could you imagine if you hit a bunch of ducks and said, hey, just by the way, today, I'd like to make sure
someone said
you
though,
find all those ducks, make sure this place is clean. What an
someone
awful
said
thing
maybe
to do.
she's not a good house cleaner. That's a possibility. Well, then just fire her if that's the case. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if that really was the reason, if you don't think she's doing a good job, well, then just fire her. Don't like. What are you testing her with 100 toy ducks?
And if you have a standard, if this is your standard of clean, then either overpay. Like, this is the thing: overpay for the service, so that somebody does every nook and cranny, different, all this stuff, or do it yourself. Like, if you have a standard that is beyond any standard that any person can keep, then just do it yourself and leave us out of it. I've hired a cleaner a couple of times, just like as one-offs. Oh, man, what a treat.
Yeah, when I was moving out.
What a treat.
So, like, having moved around a lot, you have apartment clean-outs, right? And some of them can be stricter than others. And so, you don't want to have to pay more money or not get your deposit back or whatever. And I did it once, when I was in Boise before I moved, and I needed to get out quick because I was moving to Houston. And I sold some of my stuff, but I did hire somebody to clean, and they did, like, I got all my deposit back and all that. That's the one time I was like, it was worth it. I spent like $200 to have somebody come in and like completely deep clean the apartment before I left. And it was great. And I got my full deposit back and all that. And so it was worth the money because I got more than that back by doing that. So, and I was like, I can clean it, but I'm not going to do as good of a job deep cleaning everything. And it's just like, I don't want to really do it. So it was worth it for that instance. Like
I paid someone like when we went to go sell our house, even though it wasn't required, right? But a new person was getting ready to move in there, and it seemed really unnecessary for them to move into a dirty house. So I paid a professional cleaner to like clean out the old house. Like, clean it up, make it look good for them, and do all that other stuff. And then I paid for a couple times around like really busy, like right before a kid was born or that kind of stuff where you're like, you know what?
Yeah.
Let's start fresh. Let's have a clean start to this place. And that's one of those things. But here's the thing. If I could pay a cleaner or like someone to do lawn and landscaping, I'd pay lawn first. I don't mind
Well,
cleaning.
sure. If you could, who wouldn't want the house always to be clean for
No,
them?
but I'm saying if like for me, I would pay yard stuff before I'd pay.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Okay.
The actual cleaning part didn't bother me.
I would imagine you have kids. Like I'd imagine having kids and stuff, man. It'd be so much easier if you just had somebody clean the house. Like your wife's busy. She's got trying to clean after the kids and stuff. Like I feel like that would be a bigger asset than like, okay, I can do that. You help your wife out, and your wife can be like, Cody, get your ass out there and mow the yard. Let's keep the house clean instead.
I help with both. Like she's the only person who cleans in the house. I clean all the time. Kids are messy, it turns out.
Yeah.
That's the other part. It'd feel like versus if I were just you, it would feel clean.
I would love someone just once a month.
My house would only feel clean for a very limited window of time.
Like if you have kids, you need it like once a week. For me, I would love if you told me just once a month. Once a month, somebody just came by. Like
Windows,
my apartment's
fridge,
fairly
counters.
clean, but like just once a month, somebody else comes in and does a little deeper clean. Once a month, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, sounds great.
Anyway, that's the trash.
Alex and I are looking for cleaners.
There you go.
913-586-7965.
The trash of the day. Up next, Chiefs Red Half Hour, I believe we'll take a look perhaps at a new mock draft. We'll also talk more about Eric Bieniemy, who had his introductory press conference yesterday. One thing in particular stood out, and I think it's very important for next year.
Cody and Gold.
I'm just telling you the facts.
Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com. 96.5, The Fan.
It's the last call for football on FanDuel. One final Sunday, one last kickoff, the final chance to place your bets before the NFL season closes its tab. This is Super Bowl 60, and FanDuel is making sure you're in on it. And if you're a new customer, you bet $5. You get $200 in bonus bets if you win. So whether you're backing the favorite, riding with the underdog, or you're building one last same-game parlay, make it count because, well, after the Super Bowl, the season's over and football is officially done. Last call for football on FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of Super Bowl 60. Visit FanDuel.com/local to get started. That's FanDuel.com/local. FanDuel Sportsbook's the official sportsbook of 96.5 The Fan. 21 and present in Missouri. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. First, online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com.
At Casey's, when someone asked for a cup of coffee that wouldn't put them in debt, but still had freshly ground beans, rich flavor, and a price that starts with a 9 and ends with a D9 cents, we were too nice to say no. Now get a small coffee, just 99 cents. Limited time only. See store for details.
And Doug.
Oh, what a horrible call. Hey, ref, open your eyes! Ref, you're really not going to call that? Come on!
Hey, ref, why don't you customize your car insurance with Liberty Mutual and save money?
I don't think you get what we're doing.
Sure I do. We're all just giving him advice. You guys on sports, me on saving money.
Nope, that's not it.
Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Need to sell your house in Kansas City but not sure where to start? Selling a home can feel overwhelming, especially if you're facing foreclosure, a divorce, an inherited property you don't want, or just need to move quickly. But you don't have to figure it out alone. Rex Buys KC is here to help. As a local home buyer, I understand the Kansas City market inside and out. My family and I live right here, so I know the neighborhoods, the trends, and the challenges homeowners face. That's why I take a consultative approach, helping you explore your options and find the best path forward. We buy houses in any condition, no need for repairs, no agent commissions, and no hidden fees. You'll receive a fair cash offer with a closing timeline that works for you. Whether that's in as little as 7 days or at your own pace, just a simple, hassle-free process designed around your needs. If you're ready to talk through your options, call me today at 816-330-6000 or visit rexbuyskc.com. Let's find the right solution for you. Rex Buys KC. Local, fair, and focused on you.
Check engine or ABS light on? Take the guesswork out of your warning lights with O'Reilly Veriscan. It's free. Ask for O'Reilly Veriscan.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
We asked parents to share their journey of adopting teens.
They changed who I am because I can't see life without them in it.
Visit adoptuskids.org to learn more. Brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
My name is Whitney Allen. I am a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought in a million years we'd have to use life insurance. The unexpected happened. With Ethos, it is so fast and easy. It's 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage through Ethos.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio.
Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Welcome back to Winter Hack Radio, the place for clever hacks to survive the season. Icy driveway? Well, try spreading sand or birdseed to help with traction. Snowy puppy paws? Well, grab a whisk, brush it off, done. Catch COVID-19? Well, just get...
Actually, there's no hack for COVID-19. But if you test positive, prescription medications for COVID exist. Ask your doctor if they're right for you. Visit PfizerForAll.com to learn more. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Anthony Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electric. Visit AnthonyPHC.com today.
For 75 years, Kansas City families have trusted Anthony for comfort, safety, and dependable service. Thank you for trusting us with your house keys. Anthony, in your home for 75 years.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the DM Injury Law Studios. Mike's got this.
Car, truck, or motorcycle wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
816-888-7500. Mike's got this.
Welcome in to the Chiefs Red Half Hour. Every day at 11:30 with Cody and Gold on your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan.
It is a Chiefs Red Half Hour. We will talk more about Eric Bieniemy. He had his introductory press conference yesterday, right as we were handing things off to CDOT. So we'll play some of the audio from that. I thought there was one thing in particular that stood out, and it really is the reason why. If you are excited about EB being back, it is the reason, and it's very clear that is something they wanted to make sure that he still is bringing to the table. So we'll play some of that and discuss EB in just a bit. You guys can always interact with us. Jay Southland Tow Service text line, 913-586-7965. Video stream up and running as well. YouTube, Twitch, X, and Facebook. That way you can watch the show a different way. Maybe you're in the office, however you usually take in the show. Video, another element.
When I went to go get a drink during the break, I ran into our cleaning person.
Okay.
And I explained the story to her. She said, I would quit that day.
Yeah.
She's like, she said, I'd call 911. This is insane.
Yeah.
Like, she was immediate, like, that'd be it for me. Not doing that.
Yeah.
So, like, we all agree.
Yes.
It was funny that I ran into her. That was just funny timing. I was like, we were just talking about your line of work.
Yeah, that story is just, very, very, very rude. All right, before we get to Eric Bieniemy, normally we have a sounder, and we can play it if you want, but I know it's coming because we saw this one today. So we can get right into it. I want to talk draft a bit.
You do want to talk some draft.
We're almost into February.
Give us a sounder. It feels,
frankly,
it actually doesn't feel right until we
Gold
get
wants
to
the
a
sounder.
draft.
Here we go.
Here's why
That's the first time he's ever called for it. Man.
Here's why I'm calling for it today. We just booked our flights for Pittsburgh today. So that's why I know, I know we're going to Pittsburgh for the draft. That's why I'm excited to talk draft today.
All right. Well, we're gonna go.
We're gonna be there. Get a what do we do in Pittsburgh? Can't catch a Pirates
What is
game
the
the way
place?
out
The
of town.
Primanti Brothers or whatever. The sandwich.
They are gonna be at. They are gonna be out
well,
of town.
the whole city is all geared for the draft.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah,
that would
the
be epic
Royals-
if you guys could see Skeens.
Trust me,
then
I
that
looked.
would be-
I did look, but
that
it makes
would be
sense.
pretty
Everything's
sick.
all around the draft.
Same thing as like when the Chiefs had when we had the draft here, the Royals were out of town.
All right, so Gold's favorite thing with the mocks, we have a trade for the Kansas City
no.
Chiefs.
All right.
This is an Arrowhead
Now we're
Addict.
talking.
This is an Arrowhead Addict mock from Matt Connor.
Okay.
This came out just a couple of days ago. But the first round is not the pick that they trade back from or trade up from. They take David Bailey at number 9 overall.
Perfectly fine name. We've heard a number of times. Okay.
The second round is where it gets interesting. Of course, the Chiefs have pick 40. Matt has the Chiefs trading pick 40 to the Tennessee Titans, and in return, the Chiefs get the 2027 second round pick from the Titans and a third this year from the Titans. So the Titans essentially
don't have a second round pick.
So they don't have a second rounder.
Next year's draft, skill position wise, is viewed as better.
But how good do we think the Titans are going to be is the question? Because 40th overall, it's going to be hard to go higher.
So
than
basically,
that.
what happens is the Chiefs fall.
They move up 26.
Is the Chiefs fall 26 spots?
Yeah.
In this mock draft. And, of course, we jump to then the third round where so they take Edge and David Bailey at 9. That gives them picks 66 and 74 in the third round, which Matt Connor has them taking Emmett Johnson, running back from Nebraska, at 66. And then at 74, Jack Endries, tight end out of Texas. Before then in the fourth round, Eric McAllister, wide receiver out of TCU. He had a very, very, very good season for the Horned Frogs. He's an underrated option in round 4.
So the trade part of it, start there. I think it's interesting, in a year we all know how important this offseason is, and you want to have as many picks as possible. And the 40th pick is very valuable. I mean, it is close to where they've been picking in the first round, frankly.
Yeah.
So it's that. My only reason why I understand it is if you want to make the argument that 2027 is a much better playmaker type of draft.
Wide receiver class.
And wide receiver. And that after this year, in all likelihood, Rashee Rice is probably not back on a new contract. And so this is essentially a contract year for him. So then you look at your wide receivers that are under contract, and it's basically at that point in 2027, before free agency, it's Worthy and it's Royals, and that's it as of right this second for 2027. So you say, hey, we're gonna load up with picks. We'll save that to address in 27 when the draft picks are better for that position. That would be the only logic I could get with it. Otherwise, I don't like it at all with moving down 26 spots in a year in which I want to take advantage of having the 40th pick.
And I guess this is I don't disagree with that. And the idea of getting Bailey at 9 is always appealing. You realize that not normal teams, and maybe this is because the Chiefs are in a different circumstance and are almost never and have not been picking at this location since they selected number 1 overall with Eric Fisher. There has not been a single suggestion I've seen that suggests the Chiefs trading up. Is anyone willing to go up instead of down?
There was one.
I'm just asking because at number 9, the cost to go up is high. I'm not pretending like it's not. It is very steep. Like a future first-round pick, a future second-round pick, depending on how far up you go.
Who are you trading up
is
for,
anyone?
though? Is it,
I guess maybe it's Bailey, right? Like maybe he's there at 7, and you don't want to mess around anymore.
There's one mock that I saw that did have the Chiefs trading up to 5 and taking Jeremiah Love.
5 to trade it for a running back?
Oh,
that's insane.
Because I don't think that
Who suggested that?
It's either Jeremiah Love or it is one of those edge rushers. Because I don't think you're trading up for a wide receiver just based on how things have gone.
The reason why I think it's challenging if you're talking straight up, and it's, I think they're right on why it would be 5. Look, at 7, the Commanders need what you need. The Commanders are going to likely draft a defensive lineman. So you're not, Washington's not trading with you. So you got to get in front of them if you're worried about that. So that means you got to either trade with Cleveland at 6 or the Giants at 5, most likely. So I agree with like where they would have to trade up to. The Chiefs would have to go to 9, from 9 to 6 or 9 to 5 in order to be in play for a defensive player, because I think the Commanders will get you. And
what's the trade chart say that is value-wise?
Yeah, I don't think it's all that in play. Let me pull
Probably
it up.
have to give up your second or
you want to
your
use
third?
the which example do you want to use?
1st to 5th, or is it 9 to 5th?
9 to
5.
Yeah, 9 to 5.
Okay, so if you go
The Dolly Parton, please.
Trade value chart. So if you go 9 to 5, so the 9th pick is worth $1,350. The Giants is worth $1,700. So you got to make up a 400, or 350. I'm sorry,
second round pick?
A 350 point difference. The Chiefs pick at 40, if you were wondering, is worth $500. So you don't have to give up the 40th. You go into the 3rd round, and that pick is worth $220. So you'd have to go 3rd
or a future 2nd
or 3rd and pick 109 to 76. So 220, 76 essentially gets you there.
And for the same reason that Gold said, you want to keep that pick, that second round pick for next year. I would give up a 3rd and a 4th and trade back from your 1st.
They need players. I just don't think they're in the position to give up multiple picks.
Which is why you don't trade up.
Yeah.
No, you trade down, if anything. And we haven't seen a lot of that either, because I think people realize there's not a lot of first-round talent in this draft. So the difference between picking 9th and 16th in this draft in particular is relatively significant.
Is that why you like the concept of trading back from 40? Because you're already keeping your 9 and taking 9, whoever it is, and then trading back a little bit. Do you like the positional aspect of it as well?
Yeah, I don't mind it. I mean, it seems a little early for running back and tight
wide
end.
Receiver. I think most
You'd have to answer me.
have Emmett Johnson like 4th best running back in the draft.
Yeah. It would depend on whether or not Travis Kelce's back and my willingness and how high I'm willing to take
and we'll have
a
lot of the questions we have. We're going to get answered in about a month and a half, whether it's Kelce, whether it's free agency. So much of the thought of what they
also.
so much what they do at 9. I mean, obviously, if they address running back in free agency with a big signing of Breece Hall or Kenneth Walker, well, then the Jeremiah Love mock drafts with the Chiefs all go away.
Yeah, immediately. Because free agency will answer a lot of those questions. I'll also say, Alex, if we're sitting in Pittsburgh and they trade up to 5 to take Jeremiah Love, I'm going to riot. Security's going to have to hold me back.
I mean, it'd be a lot of fun.
I'd be mad.
It'd be fun, I'll tell you that.
He better be better than Bijan Robinson if they traded up to 5 to take a running back. I'm not kidding. He better be better than Bijan Robinson. He better be the best running back in the NFL tomorrow.
I think it would almost be malpractice to trade from 9 to 5 just to get a running back. I really do.
It's insane. There's good running backs in
a year in which you have a bunch of other areas to address, and a year in which I actually think hopefully you would have already addressed free agency.
It's so weird because if I said, does Brett Veach even value running backs like that? The last 2 guys who've started for this team were both taken in the, or the
7th round.
The last 2 guys get regular snaps, like Smith and Pacheco, were taken in the 7th round. But he did take a first round running back once in Clyde Edwards-Helaire. God, if he had just taken Jonathan Taylor, nobody even. I mean, he was like the pick after, 2 picks after.
You want to know more about Eric?
He had the right idea, just took the wrong guy.
Drew, do you still have that Hooters outfit?
It's in the office, so it's still there.
Here you go. If the Chiefs trade from 9 to 5 to get Jeremiah Love, let me be specific. That specific scenario.
They have to trade to get him, you're saying?
Yes.
Trade up.
Yes.
Okay.
If they trade up, like this mock draft, if they trade up from 9 to 5 and draft Jeremiah Love, I will wear the Hooters outfit the minute we get back from Pittsburgh, okay? Because I don't think there's no way that's happening.
You should tell her, hold on. It would be funnier if you took it with you and you wore it on Radio Row.
Oh, the day after?
Yeah.
No chance.
Yeah.
I like that
They won't even let me in the place.
Do you want to know a little bit about Eric McAllister? Because I think this dude's a dog.
Sure, and this is the
wide receiver they have taken in the 4th round. I know it's the 4th round, but Eric McAllister, 6'3", 205. He was a Biletnikoff finalist. He was 7th in the country last year in receiving yards. tied for 12th in the country in touchdowns, had 10 of them, and tied for 16th. He had 72 catches last year.
Why is he going in the fourth?
I
That's
honestly have no idea.
Players that because
might be his 40.
Like, and I do really like a lot of these people are friends and all that stuff. But like the mock draft Kansas City community, they talk about fifth rounders like they're all Jerry Rice. And the way you're describing this guy, you're describing him like, why the hell's he in the fourth round?
I'm not.
What does he stink at? You just described him like he sounded like he was like Jamar Chase coming out of college.
I gave you his numbers in college. I didn't say it must be. It might
Is he
be
slow.
It might be his 40, which again, T. Higgins
What's
had
this guy named? Kevin McAllister? Or
Eric McAllister.
Gotcha.
Kevin McAllister.
T. Higgins had a slow 40, I think, as well. I don't think his 40. He was like a 4.6 40. T. Higgins was. So I'm not
He's
saying
still
that,
in the second round, so it can't just be 40. He stinks at something else.
Eric McAllister. You guys want the quick write-up?
Yeah. Let's do it.
He's going to be a star after all this.
Gets vertical in a hurry. Stacks corners with ease.
The guy that they need. We've talked about it.
You're going to say
What's
this.
stacking a corner?
Let me finish
I don't
this.
know.
Let me
It's a
finish
good-
this sentence before you.
Poke holes in it.
Well, because he's going to try to make a drop out of this. So.
Okay.
Oh, let's
please.
go. I'm ready.
Once he's on top of you, good luck. The long speed is real. Let's see. This kid runs angry after the catch. Broke 5 tackles on one play against SMU. Okay, that's very specific. Sinks his hips and snaps out of breaks cleanly. Shows some dog in the run game.
Dude, he is
Weakness. Blocking technique is sloppy. The effort's there. The one is there, but he whiffs on assignments. Route tree pretty limited. Concentration drops pop up on the easy ones.
Okay.
There you go.
And look, I cover a lot of football. We talk a lot of football in this show. This is a very serious question. What does stacking a corner mean? Does anybody on this show know? What does stacking a corner mean?
I do
Is he
not
just
know.
making up phrases?
No, I'm sure.
I've never heard anybody say stacking a corner.
I'm sure that's a thing.
This specifically is talking about complex turns and tight, precise turns.
I think he is the type of player that he is a poor man's version of Carnell Tate and Jordan Tyson. Like he's a slightly more inconsistent because of the drops. Jordan Tyson, Carnell Tate.
Who wrote
Big
that one,
body
by the way?
wide receiver.
NFL draft buzz.
It was
or
particularly
something.
sexual.
Yeah.
I mean,
NFL draft buzz. I don't know.
about guys climbing on top of you, the whole
reason why
thing.
we read these is because some of them are ridiculous. Yeah. Sinking hips.
I'm almost curious what Emmett Johnson's is because a lot of people on the text line like Emmett Johnson. Like there have been people
Well, they
who said,
like
yeah,
him.
Emmett Johnson,
Look,
please.
he might be a really good player.
Yeah,
They like
they're
him because he went to
Nebraska fans.
Nebraska. We got Nebraska people. They recognize
Hey.
the name. That's fine.
In
but
fairness, Emmett Johnson is considered one of the top 5. He's higher up on boards than Nick Singleton, Keytron
all
Allen
right,
from
here
Penn
we
State.
go. Let me see. Emmett Johnson. Let's see. We'll find a few. Strengths. Electric lower body agility produces string together cuts that leave defenders grasping at air.
I also have an electric lower body agility.
Explosive burst through the hole once a crease appears. Exceptional vision allows him to set up blocks and identify running lanes. Dependable volume back. Weaknesses. Time speed is adequate but not special. Home run hunting tendencies.
I'm going to make start playing
Occasionally hurt him.
the
He'll
What's Your
chase
Fantasy
cutbacks.
music under these descriptions.
Yeah.
It would change the whole vibe. It just changed the whole vibe.
The floor is here a productive rotational piece, is what they say. Durability, workload concerns.
Oh, there are workload concerns. Huh? It was particularly sexual.
The other one, the McAllister. Kid.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
Here we
it
go.
was.
Stack in the corner. Receiver gets on top of a corner to where they can't get to the ball on a vertical route.
Basically, they moss
There you
you,
go.
essentially,
There you go.
like a big body.
I thought we used to call that like blocking out. I thought that we were calling it something
I'm
else
sure
for a
that
while.
phrase could also be used in this.
It's just
but
not a
maybe
phrase I've
it's
heard used
Stacking
regularly.
a corner. I don't know. That
We
might
all
just be the
watched
football terminology
I've never heard a
rather than
single.
basketball.
I've never heard a single
we have
color
not
guy
played, well, because
reference that.
we have not played wide receiver before, Cody.
Yeah, Cody, I'm sure that terminology is used. Like when they're teaching the wide receiver position, I'm sure in coaching they're talking about stacking
Yeah,
corners.
These mock drafters, man, they got to use like layman terms. Say box him out or whatever, like the normal stuff. Say stacking a corner. It doesn't even sound like a thing. Makes it sound like you're standing on top of him.
But now you know if you hear
I've learned.
If you hear Danon talk about stacking corners in some way, shape, or form, you know what that means now.
I do. We've learned something
Perfect.
today.
Or
And it
you
didn't even have to
can
get
bring
to
it
a
up-
Professor Tap segment in order to do it.
You can bring it up to Danon the next time that we have him on the show. But hey, man, stacking corners, is that something that you did as a wide receiver? He might think that we're a
When
smarter
you say
show
it like
because of
that,
it.
it's clear. Yeah, you know what? It's true. He might actually think more of us, which is important, I think. Think
Been
more of us as
watching all
people.
32,
I'll say it to EV.
Well, thank you
the
for
next
that
time I hear
mock
from him.
draft. Thank you for that today. I needed it.
That was a good one.
Needed that. Yep. Once he's on top of you, good luck. The long speed is real. Yeah, I knew that was coming. Yep. That's why I was hesitant to read it. I was hesitant to read it.
I wasn't sure if it was going to last.
Hesitant to read it because I knew I was screwed the moment I saw it.
The next time we'll do a mock draft, we'll have the What's Your Fantasy Bed playing.
Okay. People are stuck on the explosive burst.
Well,
Yep. I'm just
Jeremiah
guys, I'm not
got
making
that.
these up. I'm telling you what the experts are saying.
Yeah, we
about
don't write these to be
prospects, all right?
funny. They said burst through the crease, not us.
Yep.
You're reading it verbatim.
I just read them. And this is what we've been doing for a couple of years around the draft. We're just starting a little early. That's all. All right, you mentioned Eric Bieniemy, though, because he did have a very energetic press conference yesterday. I thought you could sense the excitement of him being back in Kansas City. And Eric Bieniemy, look, he's going to give you the coach speak stuff, like the stuff that we've heard for years. And press conference, that's his style. I thought, though, it was very clear when he said, ultimately, EB is going to be EB. You're like, well, why is that significant? We know exactly what he means by that, and I think that's very clear what the Chiefs said they wanted him, which is like, you went to these other places. Hopefully you learned. He talked about what he learned and what he took away and all that and got better in certain areas. But ultimately, they want Eric Bieniemy to be the Eric Bieniemy that they had, which was the hard-ass discipline, holding you a high standard, which is stuff that like every coach should do, if we're being fair. But that was where he thrived. And the laziness on routes or things like that aren't going to be accepted. You know, this is not the penalty stuff, as we've said over and over. This is talking about, are you lazy with your prep? Are you going to give max effort? Stuff like that at practice that, again, I do think like every coach should be doing that. But for whatever reason, he's better at holding people accountable, and he's willing to say things that others aren't willing to say, maybe to no matter who the hell, whether you're Patrick Mahomes or whether you're the guy they drafted in the 7th round.
I will say, stylistically, he obviously brings a little juice to the building, at least for a day, right? Can it last the entire year? I think EB's, and this is a really difficult thing, I think EB's effectiveness is somewhat related to the success of the team. I think part of the reason he ran into problems in Washington and part of the reasons he ran into trouble at UCLA is those were bad football teams doing bad football team things. And when he tried to coach them up, as in, whip them into shape, it wasn't working because that was a group of team who didn't understand how to win and what it took and all this other stuff. The Chiefs, even despite a bad season, and even though most of these guys have not been under Eric Bieniemy as a coach, small handful, really, they also understand, like Mahomes, Andy, the winning nature of the team, they hold some people accountable in that building.
Yeah.
I just think EB does it a little more forcefully. Like, I think he's a little more in your face about it than Matt Nagy is. Matt Nagy's a caretaker type, and Eric Bieniemy is a tough love type. And I think that is a relation. But like, he does seem excited. I do think he probably learned some stuff outside the organization.
Well, I'll say this. There's some things about me that have changed, but more than anything, EB is EB. We will still be disciplined and detailed in everything and how we handle our business. There's a standard of performance. There's a standard of excellence that'll be expected. But on top of that, there's been a great deal of wealth that I've learned, through the good and through the bad. And the thing that I appreciate is just helped me to grow into this role and have this opportunity to be in this situation again.
EB gonna be EB. And look, I do think
That's
there's
what they need.
I agree. Look, if we talked about this all the time, just because he wasn't our preferred hire doesn't mean that there aren't things Eric Bieniemy can do well and can do well to help this team. And one of those is that. The other thing is the run sets. I'm judging him off of, and we did this topic maybe 2 weeks ago, I'm judging him off of just a small handful of things. One is the improvement of the running game, no doubt about it. And one of them is the improved, I think, discipline in the team, in the sense that I expect wide receivers and running backs, if they have some of the same running backs like Brashard Smith, I expect them to get better under EB. I expect the wide receivers to get better under EB. Even he's not the wide receivers coach, and they hire other guys, and we can talk about them tomorrow. But
they're clearly emphasizing, yes, EB's the OC, but whether it's Chad O'Shea, today there was some news, and normally, I don't expect anybody to necessarily care to discuss the quality control coaches and stuff, but I think it's notable that they're clearly attacking a certain, type, I would say. You guys with wide receiver backgrounds now, a bit more than what they had. That to me is pretty telling. Then even like one of their quality assistant guys that they for a defensive quality control coach, and it's just a quality control coach. But where are they going? They're hiring a younger quality control coach, somebody that's under 35, like brings some new energy. Like I think these are all very smart, seem small moves, but I do think will it result in 2026 necessarily? I don't know. I told you kind of where I think they might be, but long term, I think this is all a good sign though. The questions we've had about will Andy Reid make significant changes? It's hard to argue he is not from a staff. We'll find out if the results are there, but from a staff angle, he has made significant changes, even if he went back to an OC that was already with this organization.
He sounded excited, man. He was happy to be back and probably to be in an offensive coordinator role. By the way, you I got to say, last night on Twitter, why you got to dash my dreams?
Yeah, sorry,
Why?
man.
Hold on, wait.
Yeah.
Why you got to dash my dreams? We are the show of Creed is Good.
We are.
We are supporters of Creed Humphrey.
We are.
When we were in Las Vegas, I placed a bet.
You did.
On Creed Humphrey to be the NFL's Protector of the Year.
That did happen.
And year one of, like I've got the ticket to prove it, not even making this up. Protector of the Year for Creed Humphrey. He was named yesterday a finalist for the award. My man's got a chance to win it.
I mean, yes.
And you're sending out
Factually, he does.
And you're telling me no?
Yes.
You're saying no chance?
Yeah.
Why?
So we talked about this award at the time that likely it ends up being a tackle that wins. And if it's not a tackle, it's going to be a guard. And there are always going to be centers that are nominated for this, the way they have it broken down. So Creed Humphrey is going to be nominated for Protector of the Year a lot in his career because they only picked 2 centers, and he's got the name cachet. It's also former players, as we learned, that are part of this group. So the nominees are Garrett Bowles, the tackle in Denver, Aaron Brewer, who's the other center. He has no chance to win. Creed Humphrey, and then the Broncos guard, Quinn Miners, and then Bears guard, Joe Thuney, and then Lions tackle, perhaps the guy that's going to win it, Penei Sewell. Creed Humphrey's not winning, man. I'm sorry. Like,
You're saying he's not winning Protector of the Year?
I'm glad your ticket is still alive.
Yes, it is.
But Cody, I wouldn't start like if you thought you were about to get about $1,000 or something. I wouldn't start spending that $1,000 yet.
No,
I don't think you're going to cash that ticket.
Do they got offshore odds on this?
Well, all the awards markets are closed because the voting has already taken place. Just like MVP, you can't. It's
because if somebody already knew how the award went, when will I find out? When I get my money?
NFL honors next week.
Do you think if the Chiefs were in the playoffs and
it would have helped?
If they were 14-3, Creed Humphrey Protector of the Year.
I still don't think he would win it, but there would be a real shot. I think it's going to go to either Sewell, Joe Thuney, or Garrett Bowles.
Somebody's asking, what were the odds on Creed when you placed the bet?
27-1.
Yeah, 27-1. Pretty good odds.
It's not giving you a cash out option.
We were at Circa in Vegas.
You know what? In a weird way, and I know that this is not. You talk about this in betting all the time. Just because it's a smart bet does not mean it wins. I think because he's a finalist, it was a smart bet.
Okay.
He was 27-1 and he's a finalist.
Okay.
You know?
Okay.
That man was in it. In it to the end. Probably not going to cash that ticket.
Yeah.
But I might.
Yeah,
I might.
Look, it gives you hope. It gives Cody hope for another 5 days.
Are you going to be locked into the NFL Honor Show to see if? Because you want to hear it live if Creed won it?
Here's the other thing. It is about time they had an award for offensive linemen.
Yeah, sure.
You have, why not?
Yeah.
You have awards for Offensive Player of the Year. You have awards for MVP. An offensive lineman cannot win any of the awards you hand out to this point. So adding Protector of the Year is not the worst thing that's ever happened.
And one of the only places you could vote or bet on it was, I think, was Circa for whatever reason. So
I do think if they did positional awards like college does, where you give it to the best tackle, then you give it to the best interior offensive line, like you could really make it up to be the entire thing, where you're really celebrating player. Look,
that's what all pro is though in the NFL, isn't it? In a lot of ways,
we say sure, but that's also what an All-American is in college. We celebrate the Pro Bowl more than we are going. The Pro Bowl
is a joke. Yep,
is a joke. I do think there's much more significance to who's the best offensive tackle, offensive interior guy, like best tight end. Like I think you could legitimately name it after whatever player you want to, but if it brings a historical aspect to the game that I think can be celebrated beyond just a laughing stock that's the Pro Bowl. Like replace that stuff with the positional awards. I don't know, something like that.
Can I ask a serious question as it relates to this, and then we'll go to break? How many total people do you think in the world voted on Creed Humphrey to win NFL Protector?
Voted or bet?
Bet.
Oh, bet. I bet.
How many people do you think there are like me that bet on
no more than 1,000?
Creed Humphrey. I don't even think it'd be 1,000. It might be 12 of us.
I think there's 50 to 100 tickets on Creed Humphrey to win Protector of the Year
on the planet, right?
Yeah,
that would be interesting to find out. Actually, if you're one of,
I'd love to know.
One of 60.
Can we get that answer from Circa? Can they tell me how many people, at least at their property, They're going to say one. I'm going to be the one outstanding ticket.
I will.
You deserve something for that, honestly.
I will. I'll send a text to somebody, and I'll see if I
find
can
out
get
the
it.
handle.
I'll send a text
on Creed Humphrey for NFL Protector of the Year.
We'll see.
Good luck, Creed.
All right. Up next, we'll get to what's trending. Then we'll talk more about what's going on in Denver. A weird dynamic suddenly after a great year in Denver. Now you got your head coach and your quarterback, like both. I don't want to say taking full-blown shots, but certainly not what you want to hear between Bo Nix and Sean Payton. You do want to hear it if you're in Kansas City, and we will next.
This is Cody and Gold on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5, The Fan. Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
And Doug.
There's nowhere I wouldn't go to help someone customize and save on car insurance with Liberty Mutual, even if it means playing in a football game.
Boom! 42! You're going down, Doug!
Oh yeah? Your price on car insurance when you customize and save is going down.
Hey!
Limu? What are you doing on their team? Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
When winter's chill hits, trust Hamilton Plumbing, Heating, AC, and Rooter. For a limited time, get up to $2,000 in instant savings on a new HVAC system from Hamilton. Our pros offer expert installation, flexible financing, and energy-efficient options that can help lower your energy bills. Over 40 years experience and more than 8,000 five-star reviews are great reasons to trust Hamilton. But don't wait. This is a limited time offer. Visit callhamilton.com/radio for details, terms, and conditions. License number 2025-11121.
DQ presents the Spicy Menu. For a limited time, try the new Flamethrower Chicken Strip Basket for $6.99 with spicy, bold strips that heat you up. Served with a side of famous DQ soft serve as a dip to cool you down. That's right, dip those spicy chicken strips right into soft serve. Plus fries and toast, all for just $6.99. And add a new pineapple lemonade sparkler or cooler made with tahini. It's the limited time only Spicy Menu. Get it delivered in the DQ app. Happy, tastes good. Participation may vary.
Hey Jeff, looks like your business is really booming, even in a tough time for businesses like ours.
Hey Mike. Yeah, thanks to LendSeek, our business was able to take care of some outstanding bills and taxes and to purchase inventory and expand our product lines.
Wow. You know, my business needs working capital, but only from a reputable company that I can trust and count on. How does LendSeek work?
Fast and easy. Just apply at lendseek.com. Their AI lending platform gave my business access to over 100 funding programs with one simple application. And it costs nothing to apply.
At lendseek.com, you can receive business funding with no collateral, no prepayment penalties, and no restrictions on how you use the funds. Whatever your funding needs are, seek no more. Our AI lending marketplace has you covered. If you've been in business at least 1 year with annual revenue of at least $250,000, you could get the funding your business needs in as little as 24 hours. There's no obligation, so apply today at lendseek.com. That's LENDSEEK.com.
SNSA Inc. seeks a facilities coordinator. Requires a bachelor's degree in industrial engineering or related engineering field or foreign equivalent, plus HVAC technician certification, EPA Clean Air Sec 608, plus valid driver's license. Duties: schedule, oversee routine maintenance for HVAC, plumbing, electrical, and kitchen equipment. Assist with vendor contracts and assess performance. Ensure all locations meet health, safety, and sanitation regulations through audits. Assist with maintenance repair budget and track expenses. Coordinate emergency maintenance responses. Monitor utilities and develop energy-saving strategies. Assist with planning, executing facility upgrades, renovations, and installs. Support maintenance needs and help train staff on best practices. Manage inventory of supplies, equipment, and ensure timely procurement. Maintain detailed records of maintenance activities, vendor contracts, and compliance audits. Prepare reports for management. Travel in Kansas and Missouri 2 to 4 times per month to meet vendors, suppliers. Salary $98,000 per year. Mail CV to Farhana Ali, 8397 Melrose Drive, Overland Park, Kansas 66214.
Every morning, we rise and shine, make breakfast, and brush away the night's rest. These routines help us start the day off right. Nature-Made vitamins are a simple step in that daily care regimen. Multivitamins with daily essentials, clinically studied probiotics for gut health support, magnesium to help relax the body. Nature-Made is made to care for you every day. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
The new era of UFC on Paramount Plus continues. Live from Australia. Featherweight champ Alexander Volkanovski.
He is an animal.
Defends his belt at home in an explosive rematch against Diego Lopez.
You gotta be kidding me.
And the always dangerous Dan Hooker. Throws down with powerhouse Benoit Saint-Denis in a high-action lightweight showdown.
There's never been anything like this.
UFC 325, Saturday, January 31st, only on Paramount Plus.
Oh, hello. It's me, the calculator that lives inside of TaxSlayer. And let me tell you, I love numbers. 1040s, 1099s, W-2s, all of them. With TaxSlayer, anyone can file a federal return for just $22.99. You'll get 100% accuracy and your biggest possible refund guaranteed. Now those are great numbers. Need help along the way? We've got US-based real human support. File by February 8th for just $22.99 and get the refund you deserve. TaxSlayer. File fearlessly.
You like saving money, right? We all do. That's why Allstate just lowered the price of car insurance. Not, but wait, there's a catch. Lower. Actually lower. So if you're shopping around or just want to see how much you could save, check Allstate first for a new lower auto rate that could save you hundreds. You're in good hands with Allstate. Not available in every state. Only applicable for new auto insurance business. Rates will vary by several factors, including how you purchase the policy. Potential savings vary. Allstate North American Insurance Company and Affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Be sure to follow us on Instagram at TheFan965 for behind-the-scenes videos like MVP Monday, Chiefs Take Tuesday, and Best Bets. This is your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5 The Fan, KFNZ, FM and AM, HD1 and HD2, Kansas City, an Odyssey sports station. What's trending?
Cheddar, mozzarella, Havarti.
Number one on What's Trending. This from CBS Sports. I guess everything is just leaking out about the Hall of Fame early. Eli Manning reportedly will have to wait at least one more year. The two-time Super Bowl MVP reportedly did not receive enough votes for election into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. This was his second year of eligibility, and that's not confirmed. We'll have to wait till next week, but CBS Sports reporting that Eli will not be in this year, so he'll have to wait a third year.
Boy, their leaks are bad this year, just across the board. Now, the second they probably realized Bill Belichick wasn't going to be a Hall of Famer, I imagine everyone was ready to talk once that got announced. Next up on What's Trending, the Chiefs are hiring Villanova wide receivers coach Nate Pagan? I don't know which way it's pronounced. As a quality control coach, a source tells CBSSports.com, produced at least one all-conference receiver at Villanova in all 6 of his 7 seasons as the team wide receiver coach. So, well-respected. Obviously, just another guy getting added to the mix. A lot of little changes in the staff. Obviously, they did change OC as well. It just doesn't feel like as much of a change because they brought back DB.
I'll mention this only because it's a divisional team. We know the Chargers hired Mike McDaniel to be their offensive coordinator. They just hired a brand new defensive coordinator. Remember, they lost Jesse Minter. He took the head coaching gig with the Baltimore Ravens. So the Chargers hired Western Michigan's Chris O'Leary as their new defensive coordinator. He actually was with the Chargers back after coaching safeties a year ago. So he's back with them, and they just basically essentially almost promoted the guy after he stepped away for a year.
Next up on What's Trending, Patrick Reed is setting a return for the PGA in 2027. 9-time PGA winner aims for reinstatement after leaving for Live Golf. He genuinely seemed like the least likely person on the planet to go because he burned every possible bridge on the way out. He was happy, like he was braggadocious. He was happy to be gone. Drew, I didn't think he was ever going to come back to the PGA, but apparently, setting a return, he'll pay the same punishment that we've seen other guys who
they're all
made
crawling
the signal
back. They're all crawling
Honestly,
back.
if you're the PGA, you got to feel
some
good.
people who are
Yes,
still
not literally all yet.
DJ
Dustin
Cam
Johnson's
Smith.
not coming back. But
I'm surprised Cam Smith isn't coming back.
Yeah, me too.
More so than Patrick Reed for sure. We still have no news on John Rahm yet either. I don't think John Rahm's decided what he's doing yet either. Brooks Koepka's playing right now on a PGA event.
I guess that's true. The Farmers
It feels nice.
Open.
We'll
Farmers
never see him
Open.
playing competitive golf again.
Well, they were just in the Bahamas, a week ago? Now they're at Torrey Pines. Let's see, any notable names atop the leaderboard? Not really.
Oberg struggling.
Yeah, Zalatoris is the biggest name.
Willie Z.
As far as it's at the top. I'll be honest, like the first 6 guys I've never heard of. They're not household names. Zalatoris, though, tied for third, 1 under. I mean, he just got going. It's very, very early at the Farmers Open.
You
Lastly,
know these guys?
no, you see the top name? Eckroyd?
I'm looking at. I'm about to pull up the name.
I don't know. Austin Eckroyd? I have no idea. Anyway, lastly,
Hogard, I guess, at third.
Hogard, oh yeah, for sure.
Missouri, he's tied though with Zalatoris. Missouri gaming regulators voted against allowing specific prop bets on Gatorade color, etc., for the Super Bowl. This is not allowed in most states anyway. There was some people that were trying to get that approved. It did not. So you will not, in Kansas or Missouri, be able to bet on if it'll be purple or orange or whatever.
You have regularly had a source on this, haven't you? Every year, don't you? Haven't you known it 3 years in a row?
Yep.
Ooh.
Yep.
The last couple, yeah, for sure. You
were really bummed that Missouri didn't regulate this then.
Well,
then you could have had a chance to bet it.
Without giving away, I don't think would have worked out this year anyway. So, how about that?
Okay.
That is what's trending.
Interesting.
That's what's trending here on Cody and Gold. 913-586-7965. That is the Jay Southland Tow Service text line. Also, video stream up and running on YouTube, Twitch. Yeah, Cody's waving right now.
Hello.
Yeah, don't scare him off. Don't scare him off. Yeah. He just flipped you all off. How about that? He just flipped all of you off.
You said no wave.
Yeah. So you can watch the show.
I'm a crude person.
If you would like as well. We'll talk some K-State hoops here in about 8 minutes, hear what Jerome Tang had to say. We meant to get to this yesterday, and then we frankly ran out of some time for that. I want to discuss K-State and what Jerome Tang is now saying. But thinking of coaching, Sean Payton, great year, AFC title game. Look, a starting quarterback gets hurt. They make it to the AFC title game. They come up short against the Patriots. Your quarterback, Bo Nix, needs surgery, fractures a bone in his ankle.
Tough luck, man.
Really
Feels
tough luck.
really terrible.
Great defense. You win the division. You take down the Chiefs in the division. First team to do that, of course, in 9+ years. Okay. So why would you try to start any bit of controversy with your quarterback that clearly is going to be your quarterback for maybe the rest of your career? I don't know. Sure seems like it at this point in time. So Sean Payton said this about the ankle injury and how that would have impacted his draft.
He knows, that God's got a plan for him, and he said he had one in high school, and then he said he had one at Auburn. And I said, I didn't realize that. I said, if I'd have known that, I wouldn't have drafted you. But he's a tough cookie. And
so I thought that was after the game, and I thought that was just sarcasm, honestly. I thought that was, okay, like he's just joking. Like I wouldn't have drafted him if I knew this. And then there's been an update to this.
A condition that was like predisposed right at that, they always find a little bit more when they go in. And it wasn't a matter of if, it was a matter of when.
Didn't have any predisposed issues. Man, my ankles were feeling really good.
He said he had one in high school, and then he said he had one at Auburn.
I don't think he really should share how many surgeries I've had in the past, to be honest with you, but because I don't, he doesn't really even know that.
So the first clip, again, post-game, just kind of joking, right? I told him, I wouldn't have drafted you if I knew you had ankle surgery in high school, kind of thing. Like, okay, no big deal. But then he shared more information just the other day that he actually had this condition with his ankle that he was bound to have a fractured ankle at some point in time, which seems, we're not doctors either. That seems very weird to me. Like you knew that he was just eventually going to fracture his ankle. Anyway, okay. But then you heard Bo Nix in that same clip right there.
I shouldn't be talking about my injuries.
So I'm not saying that like, oh my gosh, there's this massive story, but why are you creating a problem with your quarterback?
I think. Genuinely.
People said they couldn't hear the second clip. Sorry.
It's not of great quality, just like the way that it was recorded. But when you look at it and the way he's talking about it, I think there is a little bit of a riff there. Do I think it ruins their relationship permanently and they'll never be able to work together again? No. But I think that this is what eventually happens with people around Sean Payton. Similar to that is, I don't know, maybe it's a good example because like the physical stuff that happened eventually, but like Greg Marshall, or some of these other coaches, Gold, that eventually like run you into the ground because they're just a jerk all the time. Sean Payton's got a real jerky attitude.
Oh, always.
And like when he's talking about his player, he doesn't sound like he's being sarcastic enough. And then his quarterback didn't take it that way because his quarterback's like, yeah, maybe don't talk about my injuries as it relates to other people. And so it just feels like there's already a little bit of that like, do we have to get started off on a wrong foot? In year 2, I got you all the way to the AFC title game. I unfortunately got hurt. We'd have a good chance to win a game and go to a Super Bowl. Do we need to have little fights?
Yeah,
seems unnecessary.
For those that maybe couldn't hear the audio clearly with it being a little muffled there, basically, Sean Payton was seemingly unnecessarily discussing prior injury history of Bo Nix, and Bo Nix was like, hey, Sean shouldn't have said how many surgeries they've had because he doesn't know. He's saying that about his head coach after his coach says that. Remember earlier in the week, Cody, Sean Payton fired his longtime offensive coordinator going back to his days in New Orleans, Joe Lombardi, for seemingly no reason because Joe Lombardi was not the one calling plays.
Well, there's just like a lot of different stuff. So like Bo Nix has already said that Schefter's timeline of 12 weeks is not right for the ankle injury and that it'll be shorter than that. So there just seems to be a lot of, like, for a team that seemingly was maybe a year early, but it accomplished a lot in a short amount of time. How are you already embroiled in even like a mild controversy? And again, it's mild. I'm not here to tell you that it's some big thing, but the fact that he's on a radio interview saying, I don't think the coach, who doesn't know anything about my injuries, needs to comment on them, because essentially Bo Nix probably feels offended that coach is calling him injury prone. He's been having this ankle problem everywhere. He's getting hurt in high school and college and now the pros. And so he's like, I got hurt. I don't think you need to talk about it, or whether he was predisposed to this type of injury, which, again, still doesn't really make any sense to me. And if so, you would think the team drafting you would know that. If you were likely to injure your ankle and miss time, how would the team not? I mean, they run comprehensive medical exams on these people. Like, if you're going to take a quarterback 1-1 overall, man, they come in and see your team doctors go. They get imaging. Like, they make sure you're all right before you get any further. So, like, why cause a problem?
I think we're looking too far into it. I think it's as simple as Sean Payton thought he was making a joke and thought it was funny.
Yeah,
and Bo Nix didn't necessarily appreciate it, and would just rather have had him not say it. I don't. It doesn't change. I don't think it changes anything. Like, I think it's just, hey man, I would rather you have not said that. That doesn't. I don't think there's any rift between the two because he said it. It's just, hey, I don't appreciate him saying it. Like, I think it's as simple as that.
Yeah, I don't think anybody is. Nobody's going anywhere because of it. Nobody's threatening anything because of it. I only push back. I don't think he was joking though. The first clip, I thought he was, because that was after the game, the AFC divisional round game, and he's like, "Yeah, if I would have known that, I wouldn't draft him." To me, that was joking. But then following up this week and saying, "Yeah, he had surgery. It turns out, he's predisposed to injury or whatever. This was going to happen or whatever." And then in a separate interview, Bo Nix could have been like, no big deal. He made sure he was like, yeah, I don't really think he should be talking about how many surgeries I've had in the past. He doesn't even know what he's talking about. It is ultimately not going to be something that week 5 next year we're talking about. You're correct. But it's just something that you don't ever hear a quarterback and coach dealing with at this point. Like, it's just really bizarre.
Normally, that kind of stuff just doesn't come out publicly. Because, like, we know, for instance, I think it's fairly obvious that John Harbaugh and Lamar Jackson were not getting along. But in no public setting were they both saying thing in a radio interview negative about it. Like, not negative, but like argumentative with each other in some way, Like, most of the time, that is something you were good about keeping in-house. I don't think Sean Payton's good at, like, hiding that he's a jerk. I think he has a hard time hiding it because it's his natural inclination.
I just don't think that's him being a jerk. I think it's him being open and honest, and sometimes it doesn't. You're not reaping. You don't know what you're saying until after you've said it. I think that's one of those situations, at least, where I don't know if he's just been that way previously. I don't know what it was like in New Orleans. I don't know what it was like previously, but I think some people are like that, where you can give them media training and it doesn't matter. Their personality is going to show, and whatever you want to view his personality as, I guess it's showing in this case.
This doesn't speak to everybody, Drew, but like in interacting with people for 41 years of life or whatever, what you're describing is something that I tend to be personally very unforgiving of. Because I've been around people, Gold, and I bet you have too, where they're like, I'm just a truth teller. You don't like hearing it honestly. And you're like, no, you're a jerk. You're a jerk. You're not a truth teller. You don't tell it like it is. You're just an a-hole. Like, there's a difference. There's a difference between like honesty and speaking honestly and doing it with some like care or effort or intention. And then there's the people who are just like, oh, you just can't handle the truth and are just jerks all the time and don't understand how to like have an interpersonal skill. I think Sean Payton's the latter. I don't think he has an interpersonal skill. I think he lacks the
like this
subtlety.
John, having Green linebacker for this game, his ability to attack downhill in the run game, just how big is that and the timing of it for this one?
You want him to attack downhill? Is that your, like, what do you know about attacking downhill in the run game? You don't know. All right, that's right.
Yeah, I think he doesn't consider other people's thoughts of how he says things. That's why he says them the way that he does. I think
means that you're a jerk. Which means you're a jerk.
Most people who are not jerks don't do that to people.
Sure, but you could be. but I think you can very much so be just as much a jerk if you say something calmly and it'd be the exact same thing. I think that's why to me him coming out and saying what he said isn't. that doesn't make him a jerk to me. Like either of them, honestly. The first two, either example where he's joking, I want to drafted him. And then he brings it up again. They drafted him
but what
anyways.
about the Greenlaw clip, though? You can't tell me that,
that's being a jerk.
How can you dismiss that as not being a jerk?
Yeah, but that doesn't. I think you doing it 1 or 2 times doesn't mean that that's your personality.
Nobody in Kansas City probably. I bet you
I could say something extremely
clips.
I could say something extremely sarcastic,
but he wasn't saying it sarcastic.
I know, I understand that, but I think he was offended and reacted in an offensive way, just like all of us do. Maybe that's just me, and I look at and I try to understand people for why they react the way that they do. Maybe that's just me.
Yeah, I mean, people I just think are...
I think the same thing can be about Bill Belichick and what we've had about him. He's a jerk of a person to the media, but if based on the reaction from all the players and coaches, they adore that man. And I think that he sounds like he's a great individual, according to... I think everybody's got their own personal opinion on it, and maybe it's just me trying to see the better in somebody or not assuming, but that didn't offend me.
That's okay. Nobody's saying I'm not offended, Drew. I'm not please don't make it like that. We're not me saying he's a jerk. I'm not offended. Oh my gosh, I'm not offended. I think he was a jerk. People are doing way too much work with this. Someone even said, someone else in particular saying he's not a jerk. He just doesn't care about other people.
You're describing a jerk. That's describing a jerk.
Yeah.
Can I say another thing about NFL head coaches while we're on it? I saw a quote from Joe Brady, who got announced as the Bills head coach today. And this is the second quote this week where I think NFL head coaches have a real problem of not caring about their families. Joe Brady in a quote, and the sacrifices coaches' wives make. This game takes away time, energy, and presence from you and carried the weight. Said that he called his wife on the way to a game and she was going into labor. Found out after the game that his wife had given birth. This is in the same week that Mike McDonald said, I try to get home on Thursday so I can see my kid for a half an hour before they go to bed because I don't see him any other time of the week. You can be a football coach and see your family. Those things do not have to be mutually exclusive. You can work 12 hours instead of 20. Coaches make it seem like it's impossible, but I assure you, you can and see your family and be an NFL head coach. They make it seem like that's impossible. It's so crazy to me. Did you hear that Mike McDonald one earlier?
Well, about how he's only spending half hour or whatever it is with his son. Yeah, that's not something anybody should be applauding. That's for sure. I'm not saying
bleak as hell.
I'm not saying he clearly works his butt off or whatever. But yeah, I don't think it's something
anybody. 4 less hours a day, he'd be fine. The job would
probably
still be
shouldn't be certainly applauding his work ethic before. That's problematic. We know no matter coaches, whether you're in college or at the NFL level, the amount of work that they put in, the hours are absolutely insane. If you're arguing do they need to do this much? I don't know. I've never coached, so I don't know, Cody.
I think they're
right?
I don't know. No matter what, I think no matter what job. You and I said, Harry, Alex, actually, we're going to dedicate 15 hours a day to doing this job better. Yeah. There is a break point before you just cycle back to the original thing, go back to the other. There's a break point of productivity that exists in tiredness and sleep cycles, in just ideas and creativity. Andy Reid, if you spend a 17-hour day working, you probably end up in hour 17 on the same play you had in hour 11. And you could have seen your kid instead and then just had the same play. It's
again,
crazy.
That might be true. I've never been in that spot, so I don't know what is actually truly required. It seems like you can find more than a half hour to be with your family. I would agree with you on the surface. I truly don't know on a typical game week what is actually the amount of time that you truly need to spend, and how much is it you just hanging out the office for a couple more hours? I don't know the answer to that, but it is interesting. All right, let's talk about Jerome Tang. We meant to get to this yesterday. Ran out of time with some of the stuff that was going on with the Belichick Hall of Fame situation and not being a first ballot Hall of Famer, and we will get back to that in the 1 o'clock hour today with Vahe Gregorian of the Kansas City Star being the first, known media member to publicly say, hey, I didn't vote for Bill Belichick. He gave his reasoning. We'll get back into that later on in the show. But Jerome Tang, we know Kansas State, they just lost the other night to West Virginia. It has been a dreadful season, to put it nicely. They're last place in the Big 12. They might end up being the 16th seed at the Big 12 tournament. Who knows?
The gentlest you can put it.
Yes. And we have discussed transfer portal and NIL and the advantages and disadvantages and the challenge it is as a head coach. Heck, in year one, Jerome Tang did a great job with that. They were an Elite Eight team, a win away from a Final Four. This was Jerome Tang after the loss to West Virginia, discussing something that I would have understood more if you brought it up in November or in October. Now it just kind of sounds like excuse making.
You know, as the head coach of this program, the CEO of it, to put together a team and build a program that will be on that level year in and year out. And I ain't figured that out yet because they keep changing the rules on me, right? Like once they get the rules set, right, like then I can have a consistent plan because there are 3 guys that should be on my roster right now that are not on my roster because the rules changed, okay? And and that's not even the guys who are injured, okay? So if they will give me consistent rules, then I know how to move forward and operate. And now we'll figure it out because I got a staff that we're relentless. We don't stop. You know, and so if we can bring G League players in, I want to do it. I want to find a judge in Kansas that's going that's a K-State judge that's going to give us that's what they're doing elsewhere. You know, no matter whatever they're going to allow us to do, I want to do, or stop everybody from doing it, and let's all proceed the same way. You know, and so but I just give me some consistent rules and we're going to get it done. But we're going to figure this thing out.
So,
oh boy.
If you say if you say that in November and early in the year, and his point about the G League stuff, we've discussed it. I agree about the G League and how we're allowing players to go from the G League back to college, like Baylor or whatever, that were drafted. Like that's insane. It should not be happening. It's absolutely ridiculous. However, when you're in the spot that K-State basketball is in right now, and we're almost about to flip the calendar to February, and you are discussing this after losing 59-54 to West Virginia, and you sit at 1-7 in Big 12 play, and you're 10-11 on the season.
It sounds like a guy trying to excuse away not losing his job.
It comes across as excuse making. Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely it does.
It's pretty bad excuse making at that. It like, you know, we talk about this all the time. It comes off so completely like, well, they took all my players away, and I was going to be better, but they won't let me. Hey, man, whether you like it or not, part of your job is to figure out what the rules are. Other teams are doing that. So other teams, if you're like, well, they have a G League player and we don't. Well, how do they figure it out, Jerome? That's your job. Your job and the organization and the program's job is to know the rules, figure out the rules, and understand what your roster can look like. That it's your problem to figure out. And now you're just blaming and I'm sure it is convoluted and messy and all this other stuff. But even if you did figure, what do you think? Those 3 players, and you're just like top of the Big 12 all of a sudden? You are in dead last place. You're the worst team in the Big 12 right now.
Do you think they ultimately finish last in the Big 12?
Yeah. I don't know who's worse than them.
Right now, where they're at, so again, we're talking Big 12 record. So they're 1-7. Baylor's also 1-7 and 11-9. K-State's 1-7 and 10-11. Utah is 1-6 and 9-11. And I believe K-State's only win was against Utah, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, so maybe Utah.
Kansas State, they have Iowa State on Sunday. I don't know anybody that's thinking that's going to happen.
No,
TCU, Cincinnati, then Houston, then Baylor on February 17th.
They can beat some of those.
Texas Tech on the road, then Colorado, TCU, West Virginia, Kansas, the last week of the season at Allen Fieldhouse.
It's just crazy because Colorado has 2 wins in the conference. I've watched Colorado play multiple times this year. They just look better than Kansas State. Like, that's a saltier group than the way Kansas State is playing. He's lost it. And I don't know. We've looked at it. His buyout is so insane. I got no idea what their plan of execution
I wish I had
his
agent. My goodness. Props to Jerome Tang and his agent for playing out that Arkansas interview process, because boy, oh boy, did it work out for them. And it's why I'll be fascinated to see how this all plays out. I don't know how you keep them, but I'll admit that buyout, we're not talking about a $5 million buyout. We're not talking about even about a $10 million buyout. It is far more than that. What is it, north of 15?
Yeah, it's a big, and look, he'll get paid. And maybe he's got offset language. And I'm sure
if he gets another job or something. Sure.
But like, it's gone south in a hurry. I don't think Tang would immediately get another head coaching job. I imagine
he would.
You do?
Well, it depends on where is he wearing the coach.
He took a team to the Elite Eight.
He's not getting another
coaching job.
He's not getting another power. I don't think he gets another power 5 job.
How about that?
I don't think it's another power 4.
I have no idea.
But he might get like Dayton or whatever.
Remember, he was a long time assistant for Scott Drew at Baylor.
And it looked like at the moment that they got a great hire.
But man,
like somebody would bring him in. I think
$18 million. Sorry, $18.5 million buyout.
They got enough people in K-State want him out so bad that they're going to pay $18 million. Might have
we're gonna find out in about 2 months.
Yeah.
Less than 2 months. Probably by when's the Big 12 tournament. Whatever the second
March?
day of the Big 12 tournament is, they won't be around after that. So that day, that's when we'll start finding out.
The
if
second day, you're not even saying they'll get a win.
Well,
who are they going to face?
They might
in that
win night
first day?
one and then they'll
On
lose the
Tuesday?
second. I don't know. The 16 seed plays at like 2 o'clock on that Tuesday at T-Mobile. And that's what they're in line for right now, if in fact that's where it goes. All right, up next, let's get back into the Chiefs a little bit. In this offense, with or without Kelsey, what change would happen? Plus the random question of the day right here on Cody and Gold.
You're listening to Cody and Gold.
We're going to try to tickle your tonsils.
Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
Yesterday, I posted a video of the Ford Bronco thanks to Shawnee Mission Ford. You guys know last week I swapped out the F-150, and the Ford Bronco truly has been the best vehicle I've ever driven in the snow. It is not only a reliable vehicle with four-wheel drive, but in particular, the Badlands trim that I'm driving right now has a 17-inch all-terrain, rugged terrain tires, plus other 4x4 features mixed in. It truly is the best experience. It was a lot of fun. I purposely went out and drove a little bit in the snow over the weekend. Just one of the many great features I'm already loving about the Ford Bronco. And I always love the experience over at Shawnee Mission Ford. Whether you're looking for a pre-owned vehicle where they have over 100 of them in stock right now, or you're just trying to figure out what your trade-in value is, they're going to give you the best trade-in value in the entire area. They're also going to work with you post-buying as well. When you need service for your vehicle, they offer mobile service. They will come out to your office. They, in fact, changed, I think, 4 or 5 different coworkers' cars' oil a couple months ago. They'll do that in your parking lot at work. They'll come to your house, so they make it so simple for you. Shawnee Mission Ford is on a mission to do more.
The big game is here, and it's time to elevate your game with Circa Sports. Dane Hughes here, and Circa Sports isn't just sports betting, it's sports betting the way it should be. The big game requires a big betting menu, and Circa Sports has you covered. From player props to game scenarios, Circa Sports has it all, including our fan favorite Circa Squares menu. Instead of picking your big game squares randomly, choose your numbers and place your bets. Download your new bookie today and visit circasports.com. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
And Doug.
There's nowhere I wouldn't go to help someone customize and save on car insurance with Liberty Mutual, even if it means playing in a football game.
Boom! 42! You're going down, Doug!
Oh yeah? Your price on car insurance when you customize and save is going down.
Hey!
Limu? What are you doing on their team? Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty. When it was time to paint the inside of our home, we made one call, and that was the Certa Pro Painters, and the experience was amazing. They took all the stress about the job away from me, and they'll do the same for you. And now's the time to get that painting project completed that you've been putting off. Each Certa Pro Painters business is independently owned and operated right here in Kansas City. So schedule your free estimate online at CertaPro.com. That's Certa with a C. When choosing a painting professional, the choice is simple. Choose happy. Choose Certa Pro Painters.
Men, it's the new year, and for many of us, it's a time of deciding to make positive changes in our lives. This is Jeff for Heartland Men's Health, and if you're suffering with erectile dysfunction and are tired of the frustration and embarrassment ED causes, you should call Heartland Men's Health today, because there probably isn't a better resolution you can make than to be done with ED. You see, ED doesn't just affect you, it can also affect your partner, even if they don't talk about it. But here's some great news. If you're like most guys, the treatments at Heartland Men's Health will give you back your sex life, because our protocols have success rates that work in well over 90% of cases. Seriously, you might even find you're performing like you haven't in years. So, make an appointment and get ED out of your life. Your initial visit is only $99 and includes blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call 844-447-6600 or go to heartlandmenshealth.com. That's heartlandmenshealth.com. We have 3 offices: Overland Park, Independence, and North Kansas City.
DQ presents the Spicy Menu. For a limited time, try the new Flamethrower Chicken Strip Basket for $6.99 with spicy, bold strips that heat you up. Served with a side of famous DQ Soft Serve as a dip to cool you down. That's right, dip those spicy chicken strips right into Soft Serve. Plus fries and toast, all for just $6.99. And add a new pineapple lemonade sparkler or cooler made with tahini. It's the limited time only Swicey menu. Get it delivered in the DQ app. Happy tastes good. Participation may vary.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code FRESH to get an extra 35 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code FRESH for a 35 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code FRESH for a 35 cents per gallon bonus.
At Uline, they know going the extra mile takes hard work. For companies pushing to go further, Uline will go the distance with you. 24/7, they answer the phone to get you the shipping and industrial supplies you need. Business can move fast. Unexpected large orders, adverse weather, new safety guidelines, and changing economic trends. Uline works hard keeping 41,000 items ready to ship, minimizing detours on your way to the extra mile. Visit uline.com.
Save more on the brands pros trust at Lowe's. Right now, get up to 35% off select major appliances and choose from our wide lineup of top brands. Plus, save $100 on a Little Giant 22-foot multi-position ladder, now just $189. Built for strength, flexibility, and job site versatility. Pros, these savings will only be here for a limited time. Lowe's, we help, you save. Valid through 1/30 while supplies last. Selection varies by location. See Lowe's.com for more details.
Rob Sight Ford, KC's Ford volume leader and top rated on Google. 135th and State Line. Rob Sight Ford, your 2025 Ford volume leader. Top rated on Google with 4.8 stars and 3,000 plus reviews. The best selection, best prices, and Kansas City's best customer service. Visit Rob Sight Ford at 135th and State Line. Buy right, save big, and drive home a winner. Only at Rob Sight Ford.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the DM Injury Law Studios. Mike's got this.
Car, truck, or motorcycle wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
816-888-7500. Mike's got this.
You guys ready for your lesson today?
Oh,
got
gosh. No, I'm not. No.
Got about 35 minutes, 40 minutes.
No.
I'm
Professor
pumped up, man.
Tap. No, I'm not ready.
He's a better student than you. He takes notes.
Are you
He's
taking
engaged.
notes?
I took notes one time, and that was because I knew we'd get quizzed on the demon, whatever.
K-pop demon hunters.
Yeah.
Come on, man. You already
he
losing it?
really remembered it. Great job.
Hey, you know what? For that, hey, that in a way was a little bit like certain things you do remember. There's other things. Let me remember it for this 5-week period, and then I'll take a test, and I'll never remember it again after that.
That's true. There's a slight difference between
Let
that.
me lock in for 2 weeks, and then I don't need to worry about it.
So we do have Professor Tap around 1:10.
Let's go.
Coming up.
Every semester, I got to figure out what because every semester the students ask me what to call me in the class, and I always just tell them I don't care because I don't. And so, like, I get a real mix of Cody, Professor, Professor Tap. I think Professor's the one, just flat is what I get the most.
Professor.
They probably just can't remember my name.
I think it's a general.
So Professor's safe.
It's a respect thing, but also just I'm sure they call their other professors Professor. Just rolls off the tongue if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, I guess.
913.
Does it feel weird being called Professor? Does it make you feel like old or something like that?
No, I don't care. It doesn't. We talked about this once, Drew. I think, like I've told you on the air, I think 30's hitting you kind of hard. And that's okay. I think it's hitting you kind of hard. You're making some life changes. It's sticking with you. So
you grow smarter, or there's things that you want to achieve that you're like, enough messing around, I'm going to do this.
Yeah, because you're 30, right? So like sometimes
I don't know if it's necessarily that. It's just the natural, because there's things that I was starting to do at 27 that I'm still doing at 30 that were very much a part of the process that I wanted to figure out.
It just feels like there's been an uptick. But either way, the age part of that, of all the things that do bother me in this world, and there are many, like just, like as in like get to you, right?
Well, let me go ahead and turn my mic off. Go ahead, start listing them off. Go ahead.
Of all the things, no. It's like legitimately the things that like get to me, like bother me, like make me have a panic attack, bother me, age has never been it. Don't care. Like, professor, like, don't you feel old? They call you professor. I'm like, I don't care. Like, it just, that one doesn't get me, or at least not yet. Maybe it will at 50. 40 didn't feel like a big one, but we'll see on the next one. Gold, you're halfway there to 40. How will that feel?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not looking forward to turning 40 in 5 years, if that's what you're asking. For me, yeah, it's not even the number. It's just like knowing what comes with that, I guess. Like, so for me, like more than ever, I want to. I've been going to the gym even last year, but it's more of like trying to stay healthier, because knowing that as you get older, the harder it is to. If you're not getting into a routine now of being a little healthier and going to the gym at 35. The chance of you doing that at 45 is not great, right? So that's more where my mindset is. Anyway, enough of this weird conversation
Let's get real on this show. Let's get deep.
913-586-7965. Let's talk about a tight end, though, that is getting a little bit older, that may or may not be hanging it up, although I think right now the momentum is towards him
coming back,
at least if you get a gauge of the fan base. Travis Kelce, with or without him in this offense, it's no secret that if you don't have Travis Kelce, it changes, to me, your entire offseason plan, and either how you go after a tight end in free agency, the draft. Do you feel like you got to be even more aggressive at making sure you've got a great running game? Do you have to say, all right, we got to really address wide receiver? There's a major shift in your thinking if you don't suddenly have a Hall of Fame tight end. I will still say, and I know people disagree, that at this point in his career, while you look at the counting stats and the numbers and 800-plus yards receiving and all that, that is all great. He is far from washed, which was the national narrative, and that was ridiculous. I still don't think in 2026, given his age and where you're trying to build from an offensive long-term perspective now with some new people in the building, you don't want your offense running through Travis Kelce at this stage of his career. I am adamantly against that idea. It does not mean that he suddenly is getting 40 catches a year, not at all. But 108 targets in a year in which Patrick Mahomes didn't even play the final couple weeks of the season either. So who knows what the targets would have been if he continued to play, trying to get the ball to his guy. I don't think that's the best path for this offense to evolve moving forward. Whether that is Rashee Rice, number one, being available and the offense running through him, whether it is Breece Hall or Tyler Algier or spending a high pick on a running back and having more explosiveness out of that position, Travis Kelce cannot be the save us, safety valve all the time for them anymore.
I'll admit, this is a question I would love to get an answer from like a former NFL head coach or from Andy Reid himself. And I'm not sure I'm going to get that. But this is really the question I have as it relates to Kelce, because if he's gone, does their current offensive scheme still work without a true pass-catching tight end? Because right now, and as you've pointed out, for the last decade, this entire offense has run through Travis Kelce, except for the few years where it ran through Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill at the same time. It did not run through Travis Kelce. He was still one of the most important figures and at times still led this team in receiving. Does their offensive scheme work if there is not an elite level passing tight end and they're just out there, getting cardio, running routes? Because then all those people who've been bracketing Travis Kelce for all these years, they're guarding someone else, Gold. They're not guarding Noah Gray. Any of these linebackers have been playing down, making sure that Travis Kelce doesn't get over the middle for 15 yards. They're going somewhere else on the field. Does your scheme work without Travis Kelce? Like, that is my fear. And not a question I think they can answer easily, but that is my legitimate fear, is if Travis Kelce is gone, how well does your scheme work anymore? Because every single year Andy Reid has been the coach in Kansas City, he has had one of the 5 best tight ends in the entire league. At times, the best tight end for a huge chunk of times. The best tight end in the entire league. But we went through the list earlier, and there might be a handful of tight ends you think are better than him, but it's only a handful. It's just the Trey McBrides and, Brock Bowers when healthy.
Yeah.
It's only a handful of guys in the world who are still better than what he does. I fear that all these guys who've been getting schemed open have been open this entire time. I feel like that kind of works because, Travis Kelce's out there running around. And I don't know that if they don't immediately get another good pass-catching tight end, if that works, or do you just run these wide receivers essentially just running his routes? Does it work if just wide receivers run Travis Kelce's routes? I don't know.
Yeah, I just think with the way they're changing up the coaching staff as well, and we're going to get into it more tomorrow, I think, but Chad O'Shea, wide receiver background, really strong wide receiver background. One of the quality assistant guys they're now hiring from Villanova, pretty strong wide receiver background. I think there's a clear effort being made to make sure at minimum they're doing everything to develop some of these wide receivers, and most notably, I think Xavier Worthy. You know, the fact that after 2 years, he still struggled to find his place on the field in terms of deep passes near the sideline. Like that, to me, that should be something that's extremely coachable. Yeah. Should it not? Like, we can argue about what do we think other deficiencies he might have in his game, and I still think him having the injury from week 1 and all year played a huge role in just his overall performance. But in terms of hey, why has he struggled down the field so much to either track the ball or he's near the sideline too much and stepping out of bounds? That seems like stuff if a coach should be able to coach him up on.
And should have been able to do in shorter than 24 months that they've had him. And Drew, I think, has pointed this out. Like, if you go back and watch his college tape, it didn't seem like something he was having difficulty doing. Knowing where the sideline is, understanding the distance between those two guys and all this other stuff. But it's just like their whole scheme has been operated around this guy for so long. What's nice about it is I don't disagree with you. I do not want him to be the number one target. When on the field together at the same time and both healthy, they throw and target Rashee Rice way more. They just do. Like a pretty considerable amount more over the last 2 years. So they have tried to, I think, pass the baton to Rashee Rice. But here's the other problem. In the long term, next year you pass the baton to Rashee Rice. Well, I don't know if he's a guaranteed second contract guy or Xavier Worthy either. So who are you planning on? This goes back to the top of the draft and all this other stuff. Who are you planning on passing this baton to eventually? Yeah. Because this year, fine, it can be Rice. But the year after that, he's not under contract anymore. Who is it then? You know, there aren't that many elite level free agent wide receivers just putting around. You can't often trade for that type of player. So it's like, what is the in-game plan here? And this goes back to the draft at number 9 or 40 or any of these other spots where maybe you can develop it. And they are slower developing wide receivers. So if they wanted a guy to be their number one wide receiver after Kelsey, after Rice, well, then he has to come in this year's draft. Can't really come in next year's draft.
Look, I hope we're sitting here a year from now, we're saying, well, shoot, why didn't they change the wide receiver coach and stuff a year earlier? Because all of a sudden we're sitting here saying, man, look at the difference. Easier said than done, but it is kind of bizarre. Like, this was not the first year where people were saying, man, you know, the development of the wide receivers is struggling. You got a wide receiver coach that doesn't have experience, frankly, probably to have that position at the NFL, certainly for this franchise with where they're at with the skill setup, the talent, I should say, on the roster. And now they've, rightfully so, gone the complete opposite way, and they have gotten guys with nothing but experience. I mean, Chad O'Shea, his resume, and some of these other guys in terms of their connections with wide receivers, about as good as it gets from a positional coach standpoint.
Yeah, I'd say so. And it's at least far more qualified. It's such an interesting year. If they bring back Travis Kelce, I think their offensive scheme looks somewhat similar with the adjustments that we hope occur that make it a little bit stronger and the talent. If they don't have Travis Kelce, I'm curious to see how much their scheme changes.
I think
because I could see a huge scheme change without Travis Kelce. That's all.
Beyond the like the coaching adjustment aspect of it, I think we talked about it a little bit last year, where getting Patrick Mahomes some help. It felt like the same cries for that Aaron Rodgers was getting at times, where Aaron
they didn't never draft a first round wideout.
Can you get Aaron some help a little bit? And I think it got to the point where Aaron. Where like Pat has carried the Chiefs to more than what Aaron Rodgers did. But I think in the same way, and that goes to show you obviously how we should view Patrick Mahomes, I think, but even more so, like if this trend continues here, where they are either not hitting at wide receiver in the first round or second round, or the guys aren't exactly what they thought, whatever the case is, they're getting in trouble, whatever it is that how we're going to see things? Are we going to see the trickle-down effect be, well, they made the playoffs, but they lost in the division round because, and the cries would be the same for, well, they weren't getting Aaron any help. Eventually, Aaron was like, yeah, I'm out of here. And not that Patrick Mahomes would do that, but is that going to be a consistent thing that we see here over the next 3 to 4 years, where if Rashee doesn't work out, and let's say they take somebody at number 9 and they don't work out either, it's somebody, can we get Pat some help and actually, get the room to be good around him? It's going back to the conversation like with Mike McDaniel, where Pat doesn't have to do everything.
But unlike that, they've been trying at least. Second-round picks, first-round picks, and, other guys. And even, like, going back to Clyde and all that other stuff.
Look, I don't know how it's going to pan out for Xavier Worthy, but, like, I disagree with this text. Someone says, can they coach 2 inches of height and 40 pounds into Worthy? He's a bust. Nope, not an NFL receiver. I'll push back on that one. One, I think it's way too early. Number 2, Devonta Smith is 6 foot, $170. Worthy's 5'11", 165. So let's not act like it's not possible to have success. In general, would I like them to have taller, bigger-bodied wide receivers?
Who are also fast?
Absolutely. Totally. And that's why when we've talked about some of this rookie class of wide receivers, there's a couple that I'm kind of sick of them, that style of receiver.
You're hesitant on a guy like Mekhi Lemon because of the height.
I still think after 2 years, if we've just acknowledged that their wide receiver coach was not great, to say the least, that this offense needs some tweaking, that Worthy was hurt literally week 1 and all year long, playing with a harness or whatever it was on his shoulder, I'm willing to see how year 3 goes. I'll admit, it is everything for him, though, in year 3. But calling him a bust already and acting like no receiver that's 5'11", 165 compared to Devonta Smith, 6 foot 170, can have success. No, I'm not telling you he's going to be Devonta Smith, but I think it's way too early just to go ahead and wrap it up already for him.
No, I agree.
That's kind of crazy to me.
Random question.
Random question of the day brought to you by Kansas City Urology Care at KCUC. Remember, you see the best in KC. Visit kcurology.com today. For you, Gold, you, Drew, text line 913-586-7965. And, of course, on YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, and Facebook. Like and subscribe over on YouTube. See us pop to the top of your feed. Catch all of our exclusive content. I see we've added Max Minute to the mix.
Yes.
Is he doing that every day?
I do
not. Or is that like a once-a-week thing?
I do not know.
I don't know if it's every week, but I don't think it's every week. It might be once or twice a week.
Once or twice a week?
Potentially, yeah.
We need to get Mac on the show. You know who's never been on this show?
Yeah, Mac's never been on the show.
We got to get him in for like a fan club, yeah?
Yeah, he's never been on the show. Honestly.
He's fresh out of college. He probably likes to drink, you know? You think he's a dry January type?
No, I think he drinks.
I don't think so.
I think he drinks.
Let me shoot him a text and say I don't think he's dry January.
Yeah, let's find out. We'll get Mac in this show at some point. Learn more about Mac's Minute. The random question is not about that, but again, for the second time this week, about Valentine's Day.
Again?
But hold on, hear me out. Hear me out. Because this show once relied on content from this for a chunk of COVID when we desperately needed things to talk about. We lived off of this
Last
in the
Dance?
show. Tiger King.
Oh, gosh.
The random question today includes Tiger King. Drew, did you get into that like everyone else? Did you watch Tiger King?
Joe Exotic, right?
No?
No.
You never watched Tiger King?
What? You're the only
It
person
wasn't.
who
It
didn't
wasn't
watch
sport. It wasn't sports. Is
There
what
were
it
no
was.
sports.
But he was watching sports documentaries or something.
There were better things. I found ways to. There were ways to get outside and go around during COVID.
What did you?
You had to get creative.
Well, what shows did you watch?
I didn't watch many shows. I did watch The Last Dance, but I didn't.
You were out here playing golf where you couldn't even like put the ball in the cup. You just hit the stick. Ugh, depressing.
Anyway, go ahead.
The question today
I played a lot of golf during COVID.
relates to Tiger King. He has announced that he is selling phone calls with him from prison that he will do for you for your Valentine. Calling last chance to book a Valentine's call from me. Says if you want to give someone a Valentine's gift they'll never forget, give them a call from Joe Exotic himself with a donation to help free him. Phone minutes are limited, so book yours now. Private message for details. What better Valentine's gift could you get a loved one? A memory that happens only once.
All right, now look, I'm completely.
Do you think this would be a funny thing to get someone for Valentine's Day?
So yes, I think it would be funny. A lot of questions within this question, though, and I don't know. Having not been incarcerated,
he said phone minutes are limited.
well,
so
that's
only
why
so many people.
I've got questions here. So he's seeking out a schedule of calls. He's gonna call you.
Yes.
Okay. Surely,
How's
dumb
he getting
question.
paid?
Well, no. He can just set aside 5 hours one day while in prison and say, I got to make a bunch of phone calls to make money today. Sorry, guys. No, right?
No, but
so then how is he doing this?
But you are allowed time to make calls.
Sure.
So it does feel like he's circumventing some rules here. It says fans were told to send a screenshot of their receipt of payment.
No,
and
this
then
is
Joe's
a scam.
team will set up a
This
time
is-
and day for the call.
You're getting scammed.
So that you can record it. He gave his Venmo, his Cash App, and his PayPal.
No.
Remember, he was
How much is he
sentenced to
charging?
22 years
How much
in
is he charging?
federal prison. That's a good question. The calls will be $25 for 5 minutes or $50 for 10 minutes. Yeah, 5 minutes? What am I going to have him say to my wife for 5 minutes? That's kind of a long time. This could be a 30-seconder, right? How long do we have Scott's stat talk for, like when we paid him?
Someone says, how are you saying it's a scam? Oh, I don't know. I'm going to send money and it's never going to happen? Of course that's what it would be.
I'm going to Venmo him and then he's not going to make the phone call?
Yeah. What are you going to do? Go hunt him down?
Call the Better Business Bureau.
I do think this concept actually is kind of cool from the standpoint of.
Other than he's a terrible person.
Well, I wouldn't go to Tiger King to do this, but like the concept of, like you have, I don't know, pick a random person. Like if you found out Travis Kelce, you could.
This already exists.
Cameo.
Yeah. Having like Cameo, I think
people do that.
is nice.
But this is Joe Exotic, and he's behind bars. Someone says, former prisoner here, you can just sit on the phone all day. Okay, I stand corrected.
All day?
I stand corrected.
Like just as long as you got minutes, huh?
Now, these are collect calls, right? These are, there's obviously no cell phones, so you're just chilling by the payphone or whatever?
I guess some of these questions, like I'm just trying to figure out, like, who do you think the most famous person is on Cameo? Plaxico Burress? You want $100, Plaxico Burress?
It's not Plaxico.
No, it is Plaxico. It's Cameo.
No, I'm saying he's the most famous person.
No.
Okay.
No. Yeah. It's not.
I don't think.
Damn, why are you taking shots at Plaxico Burress?
If you're wondering, other athletes that are on there, Brett Favre is on there, Ray Lewis.
Brett Favre is on Cameo?
Scott Hansen, Aaron Boone, Jackson Dart's on there.
Scott Hansen would, I think,
does he charge more for the photos he likes to
Jackson
send?
Dart starts at $450.
How much is Scott Hansen?
Scott, $250.
Scott Hansen,
$299.
I think that would be a fun.
Michael Irvin, $500.
That would be a fun one too.
Hines Ward, $300. Bryce Harper, $900.
No way.
Terry Bradshaw, $700.
I guess some of the people on here.
We could have him call in and call you a sissy
Dude,
again.
that would be awesome.
I got that for free. $700. He's also proud of his number. How tired do you think the people who are like best known for a couple of things get of getting the same request? Like Dean Norris, who obviously is in Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
How tired do you think he gets of people asking him to like?
Yeah, but that's what you're getting yourself into. People want you to do the shtick.
The most famous thing,
and you're getting paid for it. You know.
I'm just looking at actors now and seeing who's on there. A lot of B tier.
Well, yeah. What did you think? You thought Tom Cruise is just gonna call you up?
Drew? Who's your wife's like favorite musician of all time? We can get like Neo. Who's her favorite musician?
Is Post Malone on there?
No way. He's too famous, right? Right?
No
Post Malone. Who else?
Lance Bass for $299.
Lance Bass, yeah, should be.
Neo for $200. Ice-T for $600.
$200 for Neo might be a steal.
I didn't seem all that bad when Terry Bradshaw won $700.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's relative to the person you're looking at. But so you're saying Tiger King is funnier than most of these and way cheaper, $25.
Mm-hmm.
Like because hey, can I tell you who the under $25 ones are on here? Okay, Frank Alvarez. Do you know who that is? He
Should
does. I don't know.
No.
I don't know who he is. I thought maybe you did.
I don't.
Some streamer called Creek Craft.
There's a lot of TikTok creators on here, I think.
Almost Andy Reid cost $24. I mean, look,
Yeah,
I like
good
our
for
guy
him.
Almost Andy
Make some
Reid.
money. Get your money.
But I can get Tiger King to say something crazy, and I'll get 5 full minutes. I feel like I'm getting more bang for my buck.
A lot of these.
Some guy named Roll Tide Willie.
Yeah, under 25. They're all
Do you
just.
not know who Roll Tide Willie is?
I do not.
How much is Roll Tide Willie?
$65.
Hey, that's not too bad. Roll Tide, absolutely, dude.
You know that
David
person?
Ardsma, former MLB pitcher for 30.
You would have to have Roll Tide Willie at the end of the call 100% say, I don't give a piss about nothing but the Tide. He's that guy, Cody. If you've seen those TikToks before.
Ken Bone? Remember the whole red.
He's still.
Give me Roll Tide
Ken
Willie.
Bone's still out here?
$20.
Let's go.
Yeah. Ken Bone for
I think
$20.
Dusty would agree with me. Under $100, give me Roll Tide Willie.
I don't know who most of these people are. Like almost all of these people.
Oh, man. Okay.
They must all just be like had their moment in the sun as YouTubers, right?
Yeah.
You should follow him on Instagram, Cody, or just go look at some of the
Roll Tide
stuff
Willie?
Yeah.
Never heard of him. You?
No.
Are you familiar with that?
What?
I'd have to see the
You
video.
you guys are on social media enough to know who he is. I think you've come across something, surely.
I mean,
But I don't follow the SEC.
You don't have to.
Some of us know Roll Tide Willie. Some of us watched Tiger King during COVID. Some of us
I
did.
know who he is, at least. I know who Joe Exotic is.
Oh, you can't compare the Roll Tide Willie to knowing Tiger King.
All right.
Now people are asking whether or not X Factor or the Casey, the
Who?
Chiefs of Holic are on there.
Oh, okay.
Woo! Back loud and proud, baby.
Those clips. Man, we really had a run of super fans on this show. It was something.
Yeah.
I appreciate
we did.
I appreciate the content that they brought to this show.
Mm-hmm.
You hold on, Cody.
I'll tell you right now, Chiefs of Holic had one like Tiger King, and it was $50 for him to talk
for
on
the show,
for 10
we would
minutes.
have to.
I'd pay up $50. I can't.
What about his
tell
attorney?
you.
Is his attorney on there?
I can't tell you.
This is not Chiefs-Aholic's last drive.
Do you ever realize that at this point I might have that memorized? I might very well be able to say that word for word at this point. Drew, think about how many times we've played it on this show.
Someone says, how much would you charge for a 5-minute video? Oh, boy.
Just wasting your money.
Yeah, don't do that.
I can't. I'm almost offended that you haven't heard.
Your wife desperately wants to talk to me for Valentine's Day. I'll give you the 5 minutes for free. We can just talk on the phone for 5 minutes.
Why did you take it to the extreme and say, if your wife wants to talk to me?
Well, this was talking about Valentine's Day.
You honestly could have said it.
Yeah, why did you take
You could have said it.
What are you doing? Just sensual calls with Cody Tapp?
I didn't say we'd talk about anything weird. I just said I talked to someone's wife for 5 minutes on the phone. If that's what she desperately wants for Valentine's Day.
Slide into Cody's DMs if you want to have Cody call your wife. 913-586-7965. Cody will call your wife.
Mm-hmm. Did we do happy? Did I do a Mother's Day song?
I don't think you did. You're thinking of the Daddy Day thing.
Are you sure I didn't do one for Mother's Day one time?
I mean, I'm not sure. I've lost track. So many hits. I'll let you find that. And then up next, we'll get back into the American League Central, what J.J. Piccolo had to say about the current dynamics of baseball. Got us thinking about what the Royals are dealing with in their own division.
This is Cody and Gold on your new home for Royals baseball. 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Do you feel embarrassed, trapped, maybe even ashamed just because you own a timeshare? Well, I'm here to tell you you're not alone. Chuck McDowell here, the timeshare cancellation guy. I get over 3,000 complaints a week from all kinds of folks that feel the same way you do. Honest people, teachers, veterans, grandparents, all losing sleep over a timeshare they can't get rid of. That's why 15 years ago, I founded Wesley Financial Group to help people take their lives back. Today, I run Wesley with my 2 sons, a real family business, treating every client and every employee like we would want our own family to be treated. That mindset has helped us cancel over 50,000 timeshares from people just like you. So if you're stuck in a timeshare, give us a call. Let our family help your family.
Call Wesley now for your free timeshare exit kit. 800-261-3377. 800-261-3377. 800-261-3377.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
ZipRecruiter. Real sports talk for real sports fans. What's up, everybody? I'm Nick Costos, and you can catch You Better You Bet with me weekday mornings 9 to noon Eastern on the new Westwood One Sports. From being live from Radio Row for the big game to being joined by the biggest names in sports and entertainment, it's sports talk for people that love sports. Download the Odyssey app and listen from anywhere. It's You Better You Bet with me, Nick Costos, live and interactive Monday through Friday, 9 to noon Eastern, presented by BetMGM on Westwood One Sports.
The new era of UFC on Paramount Plus continues with UFC 325 live from Australia. Catch featherweight champion Alexander Volkanovski in a rematch of his epic title fight against Diego Lopez, and the always dangerous Dan Hooker throws down with dynamic finisher Benoit Saint Denis in a high-action lightweight showdown. UFC fans, pay-per-view just got knocked out. Catch UFC 325 on Saturday, January 31st, only on Paramount Plus. Stream every fight live with one subscription. Visit ParamountPlus.com/UFC to get started.
What if sports were traded like markets? Now you can test your sports IQ in real time with Robinhood Prediction Markets. It's not you against the house, it's you participating in a live market. You can buy or sell your positions all game long. You know the game, put it to use. Trade every play with Robinhood. Download the app today. Futures and cleared swaps trading involves significant risk and is not appropriate for everyone. Event contracts are offered by Robinhood Derivatives LLC, a registered futures commission merchant and swap firm.
Hey Royals fans, it's Vern. I'll be broadcasting live from Royals Rally on Saturday, January 31st, starting at 9 a.m. as I sit down with the biggest names in the organization before they head off to spring training. This is your home for Royals baseball. 96.5 The Fan.
96.5 The Fan. KFNC FM and AM. HD1 and HD2 Kansas City. An Odyssey sports station.
I did do
What?
I did do a Mother's Day song. I found it.
Oh, good.
I kind of forgot. I asked somebody to play it, and they played it for their wife in the kitchen.
Same beat as the daddy did.
Yeah, that was the point.
Happy Mommy
Okay,
Day.
all right. Okay, yeah.
What did I say?
Hey, mommies, you've got fine bodies.
Hey, mommies, you've got fine bodies. That was the line.
Dude, I don't remember singing that.
Hey, mommies, you've
Cody will
got
sell you that
fine
song
bodies.
for $5.
She's the one in charge, so don't disobey. The rest of the day, we can't get sappy. If we do, it makes her so very happy.
Okay, you can turn it off.
What? I forgot about that
I
one.
did forget about that. That was a really blip. That was a blip in the
Yikes.
radar of the
Text line
songs
says,
on the
I
show.
want Cody to call my wife as much as the convicted attempted murderer Joe Exotic to call my wife. I'm good.
Oh, man.
I don't think it needs to be that. I could be a step above that, couldn't I?
You're talking about being like Kramer, essentially, doing having the phone calls from Seinfeld. Phone sex, basically, is what you're talking about. It's crazy.
I just said I'd talk to them.
Well, on for Valentine's Day?
Someone's asking if I'll do a song as a part of the call.
Oh, wow.
Specifically for your wife? I don't think you want that.
You'll just send her that one.
I'll just send her that one. I'll just send her the first 15 seconds of that one. We'll just call it good.
$20 to make it stop. We got our first offer.
Someone said Cody is the best wingman for your own wife.
Yeah. Because I'm going to make you look so much better. Think about it.
Mm-hmm.
You know? Yeah. Can work a number of ways.
$20 to make it stop, somebody says.
Yeah.
Yep.
So.
Professor Tapp is coming up in about 12 minutes, I think.
It's
Let's
remarkable
go,
they
I
let me
think.
work at an institution of higher education.
It really is.
You
Like,
know?
honestly,
I guess it's
when
kind
you think about it from that
it's kind of
perspective.
shocking. It really is. It
Dude,
is.
did you and Casey hear any of this
I was gonna
before
say,
they employed me?
Do they know that you've made songs before? Do they know these things?
Could you imagine if in the editing class I was like, hey, sometimes you're going to have to edit stuff in radio, and then I played this today as an example
play
of
that for your
something you
kids.
could edit.
Play that for your
for the
students. Tell me what their reaction is, please. Yep.
I don't think we'd be able to finish the class. I think everyone would be so uncomfortable. We would just have to move on.
Yeah. This guy's teaching our future generation. Wow, we are screwed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Only at one university and 2 classes. It's fine.
Anyway,
only.
Let's talk some baseball. We had JJ Piccolo, Royals general manager, president of baseball ops, on the show earlier in the week. Full interview up on the Odyssey app and our website, 96.5 The Fan. And we asked him about the dynamics right now in baseball because we all know where 2027 is headed, unfortunately, likely to a lockout. And the big debate, salary cap, salary floor, what the Dodgers are doing is pushing this more than ever. So we asked JJ, hey, what would it do for your job and frankly for the Royals if there was a salary cap or there was a salary floor? And he said, and I'm paraphrasing, basically like, look, we're in the AL Central though. We're in the AL Central. We're competing with organizations in this
who spend the same amount of
about
money.
the
as
same
us.
amount of money. We're not in a division with the Atlanta Braves and the Mets and the Yankees and the Dodgers. And on one hand, absolutely. But I also think some fans hear that as if like, well, and this is not JJ Piccolo who gets to decide the payroll. That's ownership. That's John Sherman.
Yeah.
But like, well, then why not take advantage of that in your own division? And it's not even about, I think they should be spending $50 million more a year, but an extra 10 or 11, if that's the difference to get Harrison Bader or one of these other players out there.
And never mind, take advantage of it while this is what the division looks like. Gold, have you seen the proposed divisions? If they add 2 major league clubs, which they want to do, well, congratulations. Teams like the Houston Astros, who spend $100 to $150 million more per year than you, or the Rangers. Like, you're in the division and everybody spends the same amount of money. That gravy train might be leaving at some point. So why not take advantage, as you pointed out? But the other, and to me, even bigger issue in this is, let's just say we all agree. Hey, it's nice. You're a small market ball club, and you're in a small market division. Therefore, competing for you is easier than if you were a small market team like the Marlins trying to be a part of the AL East. Almost impossible. You have to be perfect at everything you do. It just makes it, to me, a little more embarrassing that over the last 10 years, since they've been to the World Series, that they have been unable to compete regularly because the playing field is equal. So that means during that time, you were worse at drafting, developing, signing free agents, all of it. You were worse at the job this whole time than everyone else in your division. Hell, since 2015, has every other team other than the White Sox won the Central? Twins have, Tigers have, Guardians have. So the only team you've been better than in the last decade, and JJ's not responsible for all of that, is the White Sox. That's it. Feels like you should be able to out-scout Cleveland once or them once. And I think sometimes it's just about and it doesn't have to be, I'm not saying spend $100 million more. But if there is just one more outfielder you think makes you better, Bader, or one more reliever you think makes you better, do not hesitate and spend that money. But I actually do think JJ has a point in the sense that I think you can judge them in a way, judge them harshly if they don't win the division or make the playoffs this year.
Oh, it's playoffs.
You have a massive advantage in being in this division.
It's definitely playoffs or bust this year. You were in the playoffs 2 years ago. Last year, we know how that played out. We knew outfield was the biggest issue. They have gotten better in the outfield. I'm not so sure they addressed it in a way that makes you feel real confident that it's going to be a hell of a lot better. It is banking on Cags improving, which definitely could happen. It's banking that Lane Thomas might have a bounce back year, certainly possible. Isaac Collins is incrementally better than what you had for sure, compared to what you rolled out there last year at outfield, which wasn't saying a whole lot and doing anything, frankly. Your opening day left fielder and right fielder are no longer with the organization. Neither is even under contract with a single team, as far as I know right now, unless I missed that. That's pretty telling. So we'll see, but there's no as far as excuses. No. It is playoffs or bust, and they should be expected to compete for the American League Central. Absolutely.
And I think I think his point was more of one, and I'll give him credit for this. He could take an excuse, Gold. It's easy to be a general manager right now of a small market ball club and be like, what do you want me to do? Have you seen the Dodgers payroll?
Part of the answer.
Have you seen the Mets payroll?
I don't want to play. It's 2 minutes long, so that's why we tried to summarize. But here was some of the answer.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely would change, but in the end, I'm not trying to avoid the question. We're in the American League Central, and our peers are of similar payrolls, maybe a tick more, maybe a tick less. But our competition's the same. So regardless of what any other club does, the task that we have in front of us is the same. If we all were on a level playing field, sure, it'd be interesting. But we've seen all the numbers that have come out here, especially approaching the Super Bowl. What league offers the most parity in baseball? Because of the nature of our game. Just because you have the highest payroll. In our opinion, it's the most difficult sport to get through October because it's not about winning one game; it's about winning series.
Yeah, I know someone's saying "Hey, but you gotta compete against them in the playoffs." Sure, but that's the thing about baseball is that you can, even though the Dodgers spend $4 trillion more than you, you can still win a random 7-game series. Is it likely? No, they're better than you. They got better talent. They got more talent. But it's at least plausible. It's not just one game. There's still in a weird way in baseball. It might be better if it was one game against a team like the Dodgers because then just one pitcher could get hot once and maybe you could.
That's why I think we all appreciate for sure what happened in 2015 and 14. I mean, that's and with the way baseball is set up, that's not supposed to happen. A team from a small market is not supposed to go to the World Series in back-to-back years, let alone win one. They're the only small market club to be able to do that.
Yeah, there aren't many small market teams who've ever competed for.
What you're saying, Cody, is you would if you're going to lose to the Dodgers if you're going to lose in the playoffs to any of those big teams, you might as well be in the playoffs on a regular basis and spend a tick more than everybody else and get yourself in.
And it's bites at the apple. It's the same thing we talk about Cincinnati versus Kansas City. You can't win a Super Bowl. You can't win a World Series unless you're actually in the playoffs first.
Sure,
it's a long shot, even if you're the dead last seed in the AL, barely scraping in, but at least you're in. At least there's a chance. Look, and you weren't here, Drew, but in 2014, the Royals were not expected to go to the World Series.
Yeah, they were in the wild card
game. They were in a one-game wild card game that took an insane extra innings affair, come from behind all-time victory just to survive. And then, they went on a run. They swept their next 2 series and then got to Game 7 of the World Series before losing. They were not supposed to be in that spot. But they gave them
a Cinderella-ish sort of. Totally. It was a Cinderella March Madness type of story, but in baseball.
But they gave themselves a chance. They were in Game 7 of the World Series because they were in the playoffs. If you're not in the playoffs, turns out, I don't know if anybody knows this, you can't win the World Series.
Yeah, and we're gonna have plenty.
So.
We'll have plenty of time to talk about the playoff part of it for this year too. I mean, the Royals were 82-80 last year, and that was 5 losses more than that 5 wins less, I should say, than what was required to get in the postseason. So this year, I'm not saying that that'll be the exact number, but 87. Basically, can they get above 87 wins in 2026? That's just for a wild card spot. In this case, that was the Tigers, and we all know the Guardians came all the way back and won the division with 88 wins. So it is a very competitive division, but you're not in a division where it takes 94 wins like it did for the Blue Jays in the AL East. You get to 88, you got a great shot to win the American League Central in 2026.
There's a huge difference in that when you're talking about buying victories from players. We're talking about how you get to those victories. If you know you only got to get to 90 gold, it's so much easier to win the AL East every year. What do you actually tell yourself? 100? To be sure you win it? Doesn't mean that's what the actual number is, but that's probably you set 96, 97, 98 to win it. I know 94 won it last year, but I bet that's what you tell yourself when you go out there.
Yeah, I don't know what the average has been. I don't know just brief history. You look, it was the last 2 years, 94 won it, then it was 101, then it was 99, then it was 100.
Yeah, so 100 is probably a pretty good baseline, before you get any further. And in the AL Central, I mean, the Royals had, a bunch of wins in 2015, but most given years, that's just not what it takes. Like I'm looking at it now, 88, 92, 87, 92, 93. Then the Twins had 101
8 to 10 less wins you would need to win that division.
There was just, it was
There's a big
so
advantage in
much
that.
about 14 and 15, though, as you know, was just truly like a little bit of luck, right? But also they found that, hey man, we can build up this bullpen, historically great bullpen, and we can do it within our cost, our payroll confines that we have and all that. Like,
Ever seem like a fever dream that they won that World Series?
Like, it's not supposed to happen in baseball. I understand. Like, I get from a GM's perspective, you don't want to say that, but like the Royals were not supposed to do that in 14 and 15, and in 2026 they're not supposed to. But sports are great. Anything can happen. You got to at least put yourself in a position to get in the dance. And the expectation has to be a playoff team. And I think right there for the American League Central crown. If not, that's a major disappointment. And if they don't make the playoffs, it's a flat out a failure here in 2026.
If you go back to what JJ even said, like what one of the goals, I think it was after this season was done and doing the wrap up, it was trying to get the team back to being consistently good. It wasn't even necessarily winning the World Series.
Not one-off years.
It was consistently good. And not that there's a soccer level of appreciation, but if you know your team is not as good as the top teams, you're content. There's teams that are there's clubs that are content with finishing 6th in the Premier League because it's a really solid, a really good season.
It's a good place to be.
In a way, it's like that, but obviously with American sports, you get the playoffs and stuff, so you're giving yourselves a chance. You can say you're in the playoffs. It feels good to be well above 500, to not be struggling, and there's a level of that where even if they didn't win the World Series, if you were to say they were consistently a playoff team for 5 to 10 years, that would be nice.
Such a weird. I miss the 14-15 runs. I just want to get back to the playoffs because then again, at least you have a chance.
Welcome to the classroom. Whether it's cooking lessons, singing lessons, or how to commit a heist, this guy wants to teach you what he knows. Well, what he thinks he knows. It's not Cody to you. It's Professor Tap.
After the show ends, I got to go teach class again tonight. Tuesday and Thursdays is when I'm out on campus. Had no other plumbing-related issues. Although I did have a student who found a box of empty cassette tapes in a room that adjoins mine that is just for storage that he desperately wants. And I don't know if I should ask somebody at the university if he can have them.
You said they're empty, like they haven't been used yet?
Like,
or they have...
No, they haven't been used. They are blank cassette tapes.
Interesting.
Do I ask? Does it matter? Does the university want those? They're just empty.
No, you shouldn't have said that,
I think
now,
you should ask.
Now you can't
go
just
ahead
let
and
him
ask.
have them.
Cody, all of a sudden, you will be that kid's favorite teacher all of a sudden. If you let if they're in on the cassette tapes.
He's a big fan of physical media.
Oh, well then I would ask.
So like he was like
that's a
upset.
problem.
I mean like cassette, like 80s cassette tapes.
like cassette and VHS and
not
those
VHS,
sort of
like audio cassette.
Okay.
So like a ton of them. Who knows? He was fascinated by them, so I guess I got to ask at this point.
Okay.
That's not what we're learning about today.
Okay.
What we're learning about today is Alex and I have to book flights to Pittsburgh because this show is going to go to the draft. And Alex, if you and I are going to go to the draft, then we need to officially learn, not just me joke about it, what a yinzer is.
Okay.
So I have done the research. I will teach the class. With the draft being in Pittsburgh this year and the Chiefs picking number 9 overall, I think it's important that all of us know exactly what it is. So, first off, Obviously, it's for people around Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and the surrounding Pennsylvania area. They use a specific dialect that they call Pittsburghese.
Okay.
And I'll give you like an example. I'll try to do an example of it maybe later, but it is a little bit tough. They identify strongly with Pittsburgh culture, big sports fans, care about specific blue-collar work, and pride is all a part of it. So, like, their pride of being the Rust Belt, Steelers loyalty, unique dialect. That's essentially what makes you a Yinzer. Now, however, when they say Yins, Y-I-N-Z, that is the same as saying you all. So if I walk into the room, I'm like, you Yins going to go to the game tonight. That means, are you all going to go to the game tonight?
Interesting.
So you wouldn't say are you Yins, you would say, because that'd be you.
Oh, yeah. Yins going to the game tonight?
Yeah.
It qualifies for you all, right?
Okay.
It is an encompassing thing, meaning, I guess it comes from the Scott, Irish, you
I can just imagine this now.
That's what the Yins comes from. If you
I can just imagine we're in Pittsburgh and we're on camera and Cody's going around the city and we're just trying to, and people are looking
I'm
at us
saying
like,
Yins going to the
and people are going
Penguins
to turn
game
around
tonight?
and be like, who the hell are you? I can
the
see
other
this.
part is like clearly my accent is not gonna match those things. Some of the core values of their sports lifestyle, they're superstitious. They care more about the Steelers than any of the other ones. You can imagine that the Pirates are at the bottom of this list, to my understanding. I had to get a little background information. The type of blue-collar work it's most closely associated with: steel mills, factories, trades, and union-based jobs.
Right.
And hard work being a part of that identity. They're also reportedly a little outsider unfriendly. Friendly in general, but outsider unfriendly is something I'm supposed to do.
So if you walked around and started saying it, people would like give you
Cody's
funny
gonna
looks,
get,
I guess?
Cody's
or
going
what?
to give you what looks?
Funny looks.
Oh, God. I thought.
I heard it.
Did you hear what I heard? I did not think you said funny
good.
looks.
We're good.
Anyway.
Text line said what?
Someone said Cody's going to get drunk and do some stupid bleep, isn't he? Yeah, probably.
You think I'm going to try to drop Yins everywhere?
Yes.
So
going to get us beat up in Pittsburgh.
The dialect, the hallmarks of the dialect are flattened vowel sounds. And so like ow sounds like ah. So like you got to do a little bit of that kind of stuff. Fast clipped delivery, to my understanding. So like it's supposed to be kind of quick. This example sentence that I pulled up, and I don't think I can say it right, is I don't think I can do it. The car needs washed not before Yins go downtown. So like downtown. So like it's all supposed to be quick. I can't say it fast enough, but used is also acceptable. Yins are Yuns. There's a lot of different variation of it, but Yins
So if you were to say
replaces
down instead of down at Don.
So somebody's now texting me. I got some other
Yins going
notes.
down to the bar? Is that, I guess, is that y'all going down to the bar?
Nebby is nosy.
I'm being told that they also do not say Pittsburgh. They say Pittsburgh.
What?
Pittsburgh?
Pittsburgh.
Okay.
And Steelers.
Is there a reason?
Steelers,
Is there
you
a
know?
reason?
Steelers.
Because of the Yinzers.
The Steelers.
They drop some of those vowels.
Steelers.
You know?
Is there a reason why they call it
Both those
Pittsburgh?
vowels.
Because Stillers I can understand.
It's a
but
dialect thing. They're not
Pittsburgh?
saying that's just how they talk, man. Like that's just how they talk. We got to learn about this language. We're going to be in Pittsburgh.
I think we'll make it through if we don't learn about it. Something tells me we'll be okay.
Someone says Cody's going to catch a terrible towel to the face.
Yeah, probably.
This
I just want to go to Primanti Brothers or whatever it's called. That's all I care about.
Oh yeah, we could probably get that.
I think, Cody, I do think there will be a moment where you genuinely try to say a sentence in like the Yinzer accent.
If you guys want, I'll try to.
It doesn't go too well.
I'll give you an update from the draft today, but I'll attempt it in a Yinzer accent.
Oh gosh.
And do the best I can to try to get it.
Please do.
Because like I was even looking up like some of the food terms. Because like in each thing, like have you ever heard like
Don't
like
worry,
in Wisconsin they call like what is it like I can't remember their names, like ham in a can or something. Like they call beer something kind of different. Like in Pittsburgh they call jumbo, that means bologna. Chipped ham is like shaved ham, ultra thin, deli ham, like all that other stuff that is just relative to the area. So we're going to have to learn some stuff.
Don't worry, guys. I'll
Steelers.
get video. If he gets beat up, I'll get video of it, so we'll have it for content.
Yin's going to the Steelers game.
That's exactly how it would
Yin's
sound.
going to the
If people
Steelers
would look
game.
at you like,
Be
what are you trying
What
to
is this
say?
idiot doing?
What are you going to try? Cody's going to be like,
who
are you all going to draft? But he's going to try to turn it into.
I put together
quite
like a
the
whole bunch of
adventure
these.
for a few days.
Because
I
like
think
it's such a specific dialect. So instead of saying "Did you eat," you would say "Jeet, Jeet, Jeet,
Jeet,
Jeet." Did you eat Jeet?
Jeet. What?
Do you like today's lessons at least? Short clips. It's quick.
It's semi-relevant. Yeah. It is semi-relevant. I'll give you that.
It kind of feels like the coach from, like Bobby Boucher's linebacker coach is like the understanding of it. You're like, I don't know anything. Anyone saying you got to be like.
Dusty and I were.
So Dusty got to be specific to that region to get it.
So Dusty and I were in Omaha. Obviously, we were there to watch Cags, right? Remember, we drove up to Omaha. This was back in the summertime. So in May, I guess it would have been. And at the bar by the hotel, there was a live band. And the first night was it was awesome. So we went back another night. The second night, it was a Cajun band.
And you couldn't understand a word?
Oh my gosh. Not a word. Nothing. So that would be, I have. Someone say, have you had that? Someone said, can we also stop having Professor Tapp teach us? We're getting dumber.
I don't think that's true. Someone did say they tried to claim on the text line that they tried to follow my advice for freezing pipes only to have their pipes freeze. I don't think that can't be true. I gave, you know whose pipes didn't freeze? Mine.
Yeah.
Mine didn't freeze. I'm guessing yours didn't either, but you're in an apartment complex, so.
Mine did not freeze
Correct.
at all.
Correct.
Someone said you just have to talk like McAfee. I think Pat does give off a, Pat, because
where's he from?
Hammered down. I think that there is a level of.
Yeah, is he doing that though? Because that I feel like that just feels like a shtick.
I think that's more of just who he kind of is.
I think that's it.
I don't know, man. He's from Plum, Pennsylvania. Maybe that's close enough.
I think he overemphasized it on purpose, though.
He does exaggerate it, but I wonder if that's I wonder if that's just the Pittsburgh way.
Allegheny County.
So he's from there. I'm just saying on his radio show, I think he goes over the top on purpose. That's fine.
Yeah, that might be true.
Someone says for us to try the Roethlisberger burger while in Pittsburgh. Okay. All right. What's on that?
Is that at that place you want to go? To the...
It is a famous sandwich.
Clementi Brothers or whatever?
Most notably from Pepe's Old Time Sandwich Shop.
I mean, that just sounds like a great place to get a sandwich, I'm going to say.
Ground beef, Italian sausage, bacon, various cheeses.
If I were going with you guys, I would not get the Roethlisberger burger. And not because I don't like Ben Roethlisberger, because as a Bengals fan, I feel like it is against my fandom to have something that's associated with the Pittsburgh Steelers. I can't do it.
Just nothing associated with the Pittsburgh Steelers?
Can't do it. Nope.
I mean, in Cincinnati, they got the terrible
Heinz Ward onion rings. No, I don't want them. Sorry, I don't like anything to do with the Steelers. I respect the organization, but I can't do it.
I mean, you guys got that nasty Cincinnati style chili or whatever it is.
Well, I'm not from there, so it's okay. I've never had that.
You know what I'm talking about.
And won't have Skyline chili either.
Skyline chili.
That ain't gonna happen.
Thank you, Skyline.
Spaghetti and.
Somebody says that burger comes in a helmet.
Chili.
Or comes with a helmet. I don't know.
That actually is kind of cool.
Really?
That's really cool.
Wait, what are we going to do with that?
Garage sale, I guess. I don't know. I got nothing for you. That's about all I got.
Hey, next up on Cody.
That's it. That's my lesson for today.
From the text line, Cody takes on the Big Apple. We need your Stephen A. New York accent.
I might be better at that one. I've never done a Yinzer accent before. So, I didn't.
What would the New York one sound like?
I mean, if you want to give me some time, I'll work on it. I told you, the only accent I do well is Irish. Other than that, they're all just really bad. And the only reason,
yes, they are.
And the only reason I could do the Irish one is because I did dialect tapes for months.
Yeah, you did say that.
Yeah.
Your Irish accent would be. You need to be giving the open updates.
Here's the deal: Patrick Mahomes complete nearly 67% of his passes.
All you got to do is raise your voice and talk about the Knicks. The New York Knicks.
Yeah, mine
will
would
not
just
win the NBA Finals this season.
You sound like I don't know how to describe that accent.
What's this?
I think you just got to try to sound like Mad Dog or something, you know?
What was that?
Jalen Brunson.
Why are you out of
MVP.
breath?
Well, okay, have you seen? Hey, that might have been more Tracy Morgan-ish.
Why don't you just say
exactly?
You got to do like you just got to do like if you're doing an accent and you don't know how to do it. Just like standard phrases like, yo, I'm walking here. You just gotta
100%.
You just gotta hit it with like standard ones, you know?
You heard? I'm walking here.
You know.
I do think when we're in Pittsburgh, we'll go to a random bar and I'll film and I want you going in and trying to just start talking to people in that accent and see how it goes over.
Someone's had a video series featuring Cody doing man on the street videos where he dresses in local clothes and tries to use their dialect would go mega viral.
That would be
It would also
awesome.
probably get me stabbed.
I want to. How long till someone tries to punch you?
Yeah, how long do I get punched in the face?
Good content. We're all about content, you know?
Yeah,
We
that's
just
true.
took the right person to
That's true.
get
Again,
mad
I think they care. If you punch someone, they care. If you get punched, it's good content.
That's a good point.
That's usually how this whole thing
legal,
works.
That's how legal works.
Yeah, like if you punch someone, it's a big problem. You get punched, no problem, man. There you go. Up next, we'll get to what's trending here on the show. We also will dive back in a little bit to an update on the Hall of Fame conversation involving Bill Belichick plus Eli Manning reportedly not getting in. That's next.
Cody and Gold, brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com. Follow the station on Instagram for ticket giveaways and behind-the-scenes content from the show at The Fan 965.
I'm worth more.
I'm worth a little more.
I'm worth a lot more.
I completely agree. You are worth more, and your car's worth more, and we want to pay more at GiveMeTheVin.com for good cars, because they are worth more, and so are you. And remember, if I don't beat the price on a CarMax or a Carvana deal, I'll pay you $100. For top price, trust, and ease of transaction, GiveMeTheVin.com, America's best car buyer.
Sell us your car. GiveMeTheVin.com. So easy you can do it in your underwear.
Football's biggest game is right around the corner, a little over a week away, and you can get on the action with Underdog right now in Missouri. If you're not on Underdog yet, I got great news, because new customers score $75 in fantasy bonus entries when you play your first $5 fantasy entry. It's easy. You just choose which players will go higher or lower on stats like yards, touchdowns, receptions, and more. And obviously so many players still to choose from with the big game just a few days away, or I guess a week and a half away. Plus there's promos dropping in the app daily, so you can, if you like making entries and winning money, then Underdog is the place to play for the big game. Look, there's so many options. So find over at Underdog and don't wait any longer. Download the app today. Use promo code TAPP, T-A-P-P, to score $75 in fantasy bonus entries when you play your first $5 on fantasy. That's promo code TAPP, T-A-P-P. Underdog. Make plays, win money. Must be 18 plus and present in Missouri. Terms apply. See assets at underdogfantasy.com/web/playing good terms. _DFS_.html for details. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Visit www.ncbgambling.org.
Need to sell your house in Kansas City but not sure what the best option is? Selling a home, especially when dealing with foreclosure, divorce, job relocation, or an inherited property, can feel overwhelming. That's why I don't just make offers. I help homeowners understand all their options so they can make the right choice with no pressure and no obligation. I'm Rex, a local homebuyer and resident right here in Kansas City. Whether you're looking for a fast cash sale or just want to explore your choices, I'll walk you through the pros and cons of selling to me or listing with an agent. If selling directly is your best move, I'll offer you a fair cash price and a closing timeline that fits your needs in as little as 7 days or on your schedule. No repairs, no commissions, no hidden fees. Just a transparent, hassle-free process so you know exactly what to expect. Let's talk. Call 816-330-6000 or visit rexbuyskc.com for a free, no-pressure consultation. Rex Buys KC, helping homeowners make informed decisions with confidence.
When winter's chill hits, trust Hamilton Plumbing, Heating, AC, and Rooter. For a limited time, get up to $2,000 in instant savings on a new HVAC system from Hamilton. Our pros offer expert installation, flexible financing, and energy-efficient options that can help lower your energy bills. Over 40 years experience and more than 8,000 five-star reviews are great reasons to trust Hamilton. But don't wait. This is a limited time offer. Visit callhamilton.com/radio for details, terms, and conditions. License number 2025-11121.
The new era of UFC on Paramount Plus continues. Live from Australia. Featherweight champ Alexander Volkanovski.
He is an animal.
Defends his belt at home in an explosive rematch against Diego Lopez.
You gotta be kidding me.
And the always dangerous Dan Hooker.
Yes.
Throws down with powerhouse Benoit Saint-Denis in a high-action lightweight showdown.
There's never been anything like this. Let's go.
UFC 325, Saturday, January 31st, only on Paramount Plus.
Never have I ever called my sister from the finish line of my first marathon. Hello? You won't believe where I am. Are you running? Mile 26. I'm I'm gonna make it.
Switch to T-Mobile's 55 Plus plan and get iPhone 16e with its advanced camera system on us. Plus, 2 lines for just $30 a line.
Guys, I can't believe it.
I knew you could do it, babe.
That was amazing. Mom, how do you feel? I feel great. I can't feel my feet. Let's take a picture. And then you may carry me to the car.
Share every stride, every mile, every memory on America's best network. Switch to T-Mobile's 55 Plus plan and get iPhone 16e on us and 2 lines for just $30 a line.
With 24 monthly bill credits and 2 eligible port-ins on Essentials 55 Plus for well-qualified customers with autopay plus taxes, fees, and $35 device connection charge. Credits end and balance due if you pay off early or cancel. Contact us. Finance agreement 128 gigabytes, $599.99 required. Best mobile network in the U.S. based on analysis by Ookla of Speed Test Intelligence Data 1H 2025. Visit T-Mobile.com.
Chiefs coverage sponsored by Renner Garage Door. RENNER forward and back.
Hey, it's almost Andy Reid. Who knew a Halloween costume would change my life and lead me to Renner Garage Door? Renner's KC's go-to team for service, repair, and replacement.
RENNER. RENNER.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the DM Injury Law Studios. Mike's got this.
Car, truck, or motorcycle wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
816-888-7500. Mike's got this.
What's trending?
Cheddar, mozzarella, Havarti.
Number 1 on What's Trending, Eli Manning, according to CBS Sports, going to have to wait at least 1 more year to become a Hall of Famer. The 2-time Super Bowl MVP did not receive enough votes. This will not be official until the NFL honors next week when we find out the class of 2026. We're going to talk more Hall of Fame. We all know yesterday the big story, Bill Belichick, not a first-ballot Hall of Famer. We now know at least 2 of the people that have not voted or did not vote for Bill Belichick. We know Bill Polian, after first saying he did vote, Bill Polian did vote for Bill Belichick. He said, I did vote, that I couldn't recall, and then he had the Hall of Fame check the process, I guess, and they have confirmed that he did vote for Bill Belichick, oddly enough, in this entire thing, which is crazy.
That is funny. After all the accusations that he was the one who set it aside.
So we know of one, and his local ties, Vahe Gregorian of the Kansas City Star. We're going to talk about that after What's Trending.
Next up on What's Trending, the Chiefs are hiring Villanova wide receivers coach Nate Pagan as a quality control coach. A source tells CBSSports.com. Produced at least 1 all-conference wide receiver in 6 of 7 seasons as the team's receiver coach. Continues their trend towards looking for some new people on the offensive side of the ball. I like the hire overall. Him, Chad O'Shea, just getting some fresh bodies there amongst the wide receivers. A graphic came out earlier today of how wide receivers fared against man coverage in efficiency. And so just for general reference for statistical stuff, top right means you're the best of the best. Top left means you're great at some things, bad at others. Bottom right means you're bad at some things and good at others. Bottom left of the corner is the worst. You're the worst at everything you do. Rashee Rice, Juju Smith-Schuster, Hollywood Brown, they're all just sitting together in the bottom left corner. Just in the worst conceivable part of that graphic.
No development at the wide receiver spot, that's for sure. All right, elsewhere, the LA Chargers have hired a new defensive coordinator. We know that's because Jesse Minter became the head coach in Baltimore. Well, they've hired Chris O'Leary from Western Michigan as their new DC. He actually was with the Chargers in the past, but he joins them for this upcoming year. He was with them in 2024 and then went to Western Michigan for 1 year.
Okay, well, I mean, just right back.
He got his start in coaching under Jesse Minter, so they're hoping it's just kind of similar, not much
status quo. They're thinking at the very least, it'll be running a similar scheme. Next up on What's Trending, Patrick Reed set to return to the PGA Tour in 2027. The 9-time winner aims to be reinstated after leaving Live Golf. He joins a number of guys who have left Live recently. He seemed like one of the least likely dudes because he's quite braggadocious in his exit. He's also kind of a cheater and a jerk. So, fine, I guess that he's back. That's just part of I was just a little surprised he came back. That's all. But he's the next or most recent to leave Live and go back to the PGA.
That's What's Trending here on Cody and Gold. Someone texted in here and said, by the way, the Roethlisberger burger or whatever it is for Pittsburgh is their normal hamburger, and they said it's just basically in a not a helmet, it's a sack or something. I don't know.
Either way, I'm sure we'll get some good food while we're there.
Figure it out. We got 2 months, Cody. I think we'll be all right. We'll figure 3 months, whatever, 2 months. Yeah. April 23rd.
That's 3 months, right?
Yeah.
Yes. It's the month that starts with a 1, and that one starts with a 4.
We've got some time.
We'll figure it out one way or the other.
Yeah.
I think we will. The Hall of Fame stuff has been very interesting. partially because like I thought the outrage was like, spare me a little, right? We don't have to. There are like I said yesterday, there are real problems in the world. We don't have to pretend like this is one of those problems. Now, look, you and I both follow a lot of sports media people, so not surprising. Sports media people are the ones more upset by this process, and former athletes more upset by this process. But the local tie, Vahe Gregorian, over the Kansas City Star, released an entire article explaining his reasoning behind it. And I've said, like I said earlier in the show, Vahe's an incredibly nice guy. I think he's well thought probably in the way he goes about something before he votes like this. I don't think he does it carelessly or with malice, knowing him very well. None of that to be true. I also have told you, I think you said, not you, the collective you wanted an explanation or some transparency. He has offered you that. He gave the exact breakdown of why he voted for and who he voted for why. You and I don't like the answer he gave, which we're allowed to have an opposite opinion on.
I respect
but at least he gave one.
I respect the fact that he's the only person to this point that has come out and said, hey, I was one of the, as people on social media are calling it, the Belichick 11. He's one of those individuals that did not vote for Belichick. And yeah, I would have voted for Belichick. If you told me the reasoning was cheating, I would understand why you didn't. That was not his reasoning. So Vahe Gregorian said he was one of the 11 voters who didn't vote, and he said that he felt duty-bound to vote for the 3 senior candidates instead of Bill Belichick. So he's saying this was not voting for Belichick, but he explained he chose to cast his 3 votes because he highlighted the voting process in this whole deal, and we've discussed that. The whole voting process
it's messy.
Does need a change, okay?
Overly complicated.
But this is the process that we have right this second, and he voted for Ken Anderson, Roger Craig, and L.C. Greenwood. All individuals he thinks should already be in the Hall of Fame, and he said he felt duty-bound to cast his vote for them because he thought this was possibly their last chance to get in the Hall of Fame. That's his logic behind it. That's his opinion on that. That's fine. I in a weird way, almost think that is worse, only because that signifies, yes, a problem with the voting structure, but also those guys getting in before Bill Belichick, if they have had 15 years or more in some cases to get in, maybe they're not Hall of Famers though. Like they're all these years and maybe they're not. And so that reasoning, and that's fine. I actually think it's worse than if you would have told me he wrote a column and said, hey, actually,
he's a cheater.
Cheating is something, it matters to me. I don't think he should be a first ballot Hall of Famer over these guys.
So it's definitely, like, if I'm ranking the reasons why you don't vote for Bill Belichick, cheating is number 1 by far. He cheated. Like in other Hall of Fames, that is sometimes not just kicking you out for a year. That is a thing that has held numerous MLB baseball players out for their lifetime. So, like, there are other leagues that don't even let in the best player of all time or best coach of all time because they cheated. And, like, so that would be a normal, I think, or the number 1 reason why I would think people would root against it. Do I think this is a particularly great reason? No. Do I think that part of that is he's put in a bad spot because the system stinks and he says that these guys should be in? Yes. The issue, and Vahe Gregorian will be on the drive coming up in 2 hours at 3:45 today.
Yeah.
But when you, like, part of it, I do understand this, like, duty to, like, get players in. And look, and I don't know, he didn't mention this in the article, but, like, you also, so I don't think it's part of his reasoning or he'd mention it, but it is hard, like, in a town like this where we asked for years for Buck O'Neil to get in the Hall of Fame, and then they didn't put him in there, and then he died and he did. And you're like, that's a terrible place to be. You kind of like these people who are alive to still get a chance to be a Hall of Famer while they're alive. And so, and that didn't speak for every player that it gets in these little, who gets in these near the end bottom. But the problem is that if you just think of it from a rank perspective and you ask yourself, who is a more deserving Hall of Famer, Bill Belichick or Greenwood? The answer is always going to be Belichick, even, like from an accomplishment standpoint. So if the cheating is not the reason that you're not doing it, I feel like the reasoning behind not doing it gets very thin. Now, I also think that people.
I guess my thing is just acknowledging he says, all 3 have been long deserving, all 3 have been snubbed for decades. So then why are you're snubbing Belichick for a year though?
But he's saying it's only, like in his time, it's only a year.
I'm just playing devil's advocate. Again, I know where you stand and you know where I stand on this from yesterday.
We made it very clear.
I would have voted, but and I think cheating would have been a valid reason and others don't. That's fine. But if you're saying they were snubbed, aren't you snubbing Belichick for a year?
Do we? I mean,
and I know Drew
guess.
disagrees, like on the first ballot thing mattering, and that's fine. We could disagree on that. Like, I do think first ballot clearly means something, because why would anybody give a damn if Belichick, like this whole thing the last 48 hours, nobody would give a you know what if it clearly didn't mean anything to be a first ballot Hall of Famer.
This just goes to like some of the stuff that I think is being overplayed, and not the first ballot thing, because I think that matters to Bill Belichick, who did not get in as a relation to it. But I'm assuming you guys saw a similar tweet last night with like, you know what sucks about this? This means one more year for Reed and one more year for Peyton. And now they all have to wait an extra year because one additional coach has to wait the domino effect of everybody that this impacts. I'm like, but they also had to wait for 20 years, 10 years, 15 years. So do I feel bad if Sean Payton's got to wait one additional year, hypothetically, by the way?
Did we
don't even know when he's going to retire from the game.
Do we think that Sean Payton was a first ballot Hall of Famer?
No.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's even debate. Like, if it wasn't Bill Belichick, is this conversation even being had?
No, you're right. But that's the whole point, right? For people like that are arguing, is like he's the greatest coach of all time, is what people are like. So they're saying, that's why this is so different.
The tweet was said, but now what they didn't think about is now Mike Shanahan likely has to wait another year to get in, and Holmgren, and Coughlin, and Tomlin in 2027, assuming he doesn't coach again. By the way, if Reed retires, then him. They were just like making it this like avalanche, like it took down the whole Hall of Fame.
To which I would ask them that
they
question.
could still just change the rules in that amount of time and just say,
I think
you
they're
can
going
vote in
to.
as many coaches as you want, not one.
I think they're going to have to change the process here, and hopefully this is actually the thing that comes out of this. Hopefully is a complete restructure of the voting process. That'd be the best case scenario out of this entire thing.
Yeah, because I think that that's a bigger problem than the people who didn't vote for him. And again, the other 10. I've really shifted on this. I think my initial thought is kind of like yours, like I want transparency and all this stuff. Not after I see the way people act. You guys can't handle transparency. Well, not just whoever. The internet can't handle it. You just like blow up. You have to like attack the families and dox them and do all kinds of insane things. So the public can't handle transparency. Sorry. I actually think the vote should remain private, and they should never have to explain themselves, because like, I don't even think you should know who the voters are. It should be 50 anonymous people.
That's terrible. That's terrible. Like, come on.
Like, at this point, it's like, you guys can't handle transparency.
We shouldn't even know who's voting on it?
I agree.
Because my gosh.
Because of, this is beyond just the Belichick thing. We see this all the time. If you miss a field goal, and you know who it is. If you miss a field goal,
when somebody doesn't vote Auburn in the top 25,
insane.
they come after you, man.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not disagreeing that people are crazy on social media and that, people overreact and people think they can do whatever the hell they want and all that. Totally, nobody's arguing that. I agreed with you, Cody. I thought you took maybe a half bit too far when you said, I agree with you on why you would question if transparency is a good thing. I think it'd be a horrific decision if we just had no idea who was voting. Oh my gosh. That's oh man, absolutely not. That's terrible.
If you knew they were like verified, like if you knew that they were in a category of NFL reporters or Hall of Famers or whatever, then I think that's the extent that you know.
Qualified group, but yeah,
it's not like they're just having you and I voting.
I don't know.
Like,
no, we don't know who it is. Cody. No. You said NFL media and qualified. Who's to say that Cody's not qualified? No. You have to at least know who the hell is voting.
I mean, I think people know I'm not qualified, but yes, in general. But Vahe obviously covers the team locally.
Yeah, if you cover a team, at minimum, you know what that qualification is.
Yeah, but I just and look, even if we don't want to take it a step farther, I've just shifted on it a little bit because I've watched like Vahe, for instance, and like part of this is because I like Vahe. I know Vahe; he's a very incredibly nice human being,
super nice guy.
And then I watch the way people go after him online. They're like, ugh. Too dark. Look, you can disagree. You asked for transparency. He gave you transparency. You don't have to we don't agree with the reasoning he gave for not voting for Bill Belichick.
It's okay to disagree with somebody. It's possible to still respect somebody without going after their families or them.
Yes, it just got dark. It got really dark. And it was like, you know what? Actually, less transparency. That's all. Just, it doesn't have to be zero. But less.
Well, and honestly, I think too, because people would complain about that, Cody, but people ruined it. Like social media ruined it. You don't need to blame the NFL Hall of Fame for not disclosing the names or whatever. Yeah. You can blame society for how people act.
Yeah. Look, because if I looked at those, I'd be like, yeah, I don't think I want to be involved in that. The Hall of Fame. Will this be the last controversy of the year on this?
Of the
year?
Are
we good? Are we good?
Well, no, because once the induction weekend happens in Canton, it'll all get brought back up.
Oh,
again.
yeah. Then people have another problem.
So
with
in
it,
August,
100%.
it'll happen in August. Heck, it might even happen. Was it Thursday, the NFL honors, when we find out exactly who got? Because look, Vahe's voted that way
Humphrey's
for
protector of the year.
Yeah, but like Vahe may have voted for the 3 veteran, long-standing guys that hadn't gotten in. Doesn't mean all 3 are getting in. Still, like doesn't you know what I mean? So we'll see who acted. Did it work? Did it get LC Greenwood in, or did you do that and he still didn't get in, and you screwed over Belichick and this guy didn't get in?
That'd be tough.
Well, it's a possibility.
That'd be tough. That can't be great. That would be a bad feeling, I would guess. But like, I do understand this, I don't know, desire for the people who deserve to be in the Hall of Fame. And look, and I'll admit, I haven't looked up if LC Greenwood deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. I don't know. I'm confident that based on their contribution to football, Belichick deserves to be in more. But this is the problem. And this is the problem I was talking about with like the public vote, Drew, is if every year we did the public vote and then we found out the 25 people who didn't vote for LC Greenwood, well, then the Yinzers come out of the woodwork and start causing a problem for those guys. And
Again,
it's like, we don't, I don't need that. I need less transparency.
I'll hear you on
That's
the.
fine if
I'll
you
hear
want to
you
know
on the.
who. That's
I'll hear
fine.
you
I
on the
don't care.
transparency of maybe we don't find out exactly who they voted for.
Yeah.
But I got to at least know who's on the damn committee voting for it. Otherwise, then the whole thing really is a crock of you know what.
I will say Greenwood had a hell of a career. All-Pro, first-team All-Pro 2 times. Never Defensive Player of the Year, but a lot of sacks.
Yeah, and he passed away many years ago as well. So like if someone's using the argument of like, well,
get him in before. Yeah,
he unfortunately did pass away. Quite some
I'm just
time
saying
ago.
that happens
Yeah.
sometimes in the cases of like we look back at that and we're like, boy, that just stinks.
I'll be fascinated to see I'll be fascinated to see of those 3 who got it ultimately. Did all 3 get in? Did Kenny Anderson get in? And
I don't know.
League, we'll see.
According to Pro Football Reference, he had more sacks than Mean Joe Green did.
There you go.
As a Steeler.
Well then, there we go.
I mean, it's nicknames. Better nickname.
Oh,
Greenwood should have got a better nickname.
He had a cool Coca-Cola commercial.
I also just think that it's also just like it's putting total blinders on to think that we don't all have like bias or opinions on some of these things, like the cheating and all the other stuff. We're just pretending like that's not a thing. Like that more often I felt like when I had to go to like really early journalism and communication school, it was like the first thing they taught you was like, hey, you better figure out what your bias is and just like admit that. Start there and then go backwards. Either way, I'm glad that, good on Vahe. If you want to read his explanation, it is up on the Stars website. On the other end, you and I were talking earlier today, Sean Payton. We don't have to play the audio again because it's a little muffled, but
yeah,
Sean Payton had in an interview said, he had this ankle injury in high school and in college, and now here, and if, made a joke, said, well, and if I'd known that, I wouldn't have drafted him. And he said it with like a little bit of a comical tone. Nobody laughed in the room, so that made it a little awkward. But, he did. And then Bo Nix said he doesn't really know what injuries he's talking about. Maybe you shouldn't talk about them. And you and I sense this like early rift where I think Sean Payton definitively is one of those guys that like when he's your guy, it's okay. And kind of like we talked about with Eric Bieniemy, when you're winning gold, it works. If the Broncos fall down to an 8-win team next year, and this is still the way he's talking about players, talking to reporters, and talking about players on his own team, then I don't think his coaching style will play as well then, is what I would say. It'll work now because you won a bunch of games and you went to an AFC title game. Hardy har, he said I wouldn't have drafted him if I knew he had all these ankle problems. But it's like that only works until you get to, like Andy Reid's coaching style works whether you're winning or losing. He's the gentle giant. He takes it easy. Bieniemy's the hard on you guy. And he likes, like Andy Reid's the other version. Peyton's version of coaching doesn't work when it gets south because it didn't work in New Orleans when it got south.
Yeah, I just think what happened was that Sean Payton went out and made the comment that, hey, there was a predisposed condition with the ankle. He was basically going to need the surgery anyway. He had an ankle injury in high school and essentially discussing him as if he has an injury problem or is injury prone, which is no player wants to have that attached to him, and certainly not their head coach potentially create that title for them, their own head coach. And so that prompted Bo Nix to come out and clear it up. And he said that nothing was predisposed, that it's a simple break and it was an easy surgery and 4 to 6 weeks. And, yada, 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 and said that, hey, yeah, Sean Payton shouldn't have said how many surgery I've had because he doesn't know. So this is one of those deals, by the time we get to training camp, it's a non-story, and I don't think it matters.
Yeah.
But I don't know why you would create any potential controversy where why would your own head coach potentially try to make it seem like you're injury prone? That's the weird, like, I don't know. If nobody else ever said that. And your own head coach caused this narrative to be like, well, maybe he's injury prone. So Bo Nix wanted to defend himself, and he did. And by the time we get to camp, it won't be an issue. But it was odd, very odd.
Yeah,
for a coach and quarterback to have
I
that
think
back
that's
and forth.
What your point is. It is easy to wash away this as like, what a season we had. We're great. They won the division. They were the number 1 seed. Their second-year quarterback took them to the AFC Championship game, and then just got unlucky. Okay, you got unlucky. Your guy got hurt. Damn. And you could have told the story of the offseason for the Broncos could have very easily been. Sean Payton's entire rallying cry could have been, we were going to win this Super Bowl, and unfortunately, an injury happened that stopped us from doing that. You know what we're going to do now? We're going to go win it next year when our guy Bo Nix is healthy. And instead, he's cracking jokes at the fact that, I don't know, he's talking about it like it's my superbone in my foot, like he's just born this way. He's going to break his ankle at some point.
Do you think you're predisposed to future foot injuries, Cody?
Well, I was predisposed to that foot problem. Future foot injuries, I don't know. I've never broken a bone.
What's the consequence of this foot problem you have?
The pain, I guess,
Still?
that I get. Well, it like flares up.
Gout?
It's not gout. That's a different thing. This is my bone collation, my additional bone in my foot.
And that hasn't led to much success on
I think eventually I just gotta like get surgery.
Yeah, I mean,
they just fuse it all together. They make it a big club.
Didn't you learn your lesson a little bit? You waited a long time, as you talked about on air.
Yeah, to get a hernia
to
surgery.
have the hernia surgery. You got it. And you're good.
It.
You're good to go. You know about this bone issue in your foot.
The last time
you're
I went to the
wait
doctor,
until it's extremely painful and you're miserable.
No, I'm gonna have to get it sooner than that.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to get it. I'm gonna have to get it before it's.
There have been times where you're borderline gimpy. Walk like you're.
He's dragging it like
yeah. It looks like it's like you're going through it.
Here's how I would describe when it's flared up, which is only like
permanent
now,
gout. Text line says
because I have inserts and like I change my shoes out more often now. Like I get new tennis shoes sooner because like it becomes a problem if shoes get worn down a little bit. I would say when it hurts, it has no mobility, so it feels like you're just like. You can't bend or flex it in any way, which is a problem.
What's a super bone?
And then it just feels like walking on knives. So it doesn't feel great.
That sounds miserable.
So I just I tried to.
You've had
take
that
care
feeling
of it
though, and you haven't thought about. You haven't like.
I've seen a doctor. No, I've seen a doctor and talked about surgery and all that other stuff. They're essentially like, they told me that if they realized that I had this problem when I was 16 years old, they're just giving me surgery then. And now they're like, not yet. But get back with me.
You just have to deal with it.
I mean, if I just said, I want surgery, do it. And they could get the insurance to approve it. I'm sure they do it. But, the question is, do I want to take that step? Plus, am I going to be in one of those, like...
You probably have to be in a boot.
You think it's a boot? I don't know what to post. Oh, man.
Crutches? A wheelchair?
You have to be on one of those rolling
crutches
like,
or a boot.
thingies.
I've been on crutches enough in my life. It's fine.
You'd have to be on one of the scooter things where your knee balances on it.
That's the worst one look-wise. The scooter. That's a tough one.
You'd rather be in a wheelchair than in the scooter thing? I'd rather be in
just
the scooter thing.
Just sitting here on the air. Can I get off the scooter thing to sit?
Yeah, of course.
You're able to sit on the seat.
It's just so you're mobile. Yeah, you don't have to just be.
Someone says it sounds like an excuse for why you can't win a race. Well, I don't make excuses for why I can't win races.
Yeah, he's not going to ever win. So
that's not true. I'm getting back in this year. I'm texting Sam Mellinger today.
Oh god,
I'm getting back in this race.
If you did actually get the surgery, the next time after you get the surgery and you're fully recovered, you have to run in it post surgery and see if it's a little bit different.
Faster,
that should be a requirement. Yeah.
And the fences are in. This is my time. You know what? I'll get the surgery.